2, 1, and go.
Fellas, welcome back to another Plat Valorant. It's episode 176. We're here. We're watching the game Valorant. Bren's watching the game Valorant right now. Isn't that right, Bren?
Yep, I'm catching up on Karmine Corp. I'm on the third and final map.
What's your honest reaction to the current
sloppy,
ongoings?
diarrhea-esque gameplay that I'm
Damn, bro.
and it's not that sloppy, but I've watched so much poo Valorant in the last time. You have no idea.
It is a rough era for the hit game Valorant.
I finished Americas, got on a flight, immediately downloaded 18 hours worth of Pacific VODs, watched some of the like emergent gameplay if it was 2021, and then I watched all of that, and then I was like, wow, that was really bad. And then I was like, okay, maybe there'll be some good teams. And now I'm on the EMEA games, and the only ones that we were left to cover were Giants and Vitality, which, holy moly, Vitality don't understand to play loaders. We're going to get onto that. We'll do EMEA later. But I've been losing my mind watching some of these games. It's just every region is bad. Every region's sloppy. Every region is bad. There's no good region. I'm not batting for Americas here. This is just...
Oh, no. Americas is terrible, too.
Dude, the state of the game's gone down. There's only like a handful of teams that I feel even good about.
Yeah, it's a tragedy. Me and Bren, borderline manic, but we have two hopefully responsible fellas joining us. Paper Thin, John Pacific, CEO of Korea, and Sliggy. Is that not your title?
It is now, yeah, I'll take it.
Official.
Yeah.
He's actually the CEO of the company.
I've upgraded from the elevator guy that's keeping the teams from going to Masters, and now I'm
Korea
CEO.
Pretty big with like having like massive companies, kind of like oligarch vibing.
Yeah, they're called chaebols. So there's like 8 of them, and like Samsung's one of them, LG's another, that are like just so huge they basically run the country. Yeah.
I feel like if esports fails, you should get on like climbing that corporate ladder. I feel like you're the type of guy with some gumption who could go out there, shake hands, kiss babies, and like sell some damn washing machines and cars and phones and televisions and rent property.
I'm out there slapping them. Look what this baby can do. Let's go.
You have a very like old-fashioned mentality of how climbing the corporate ladder works. You think it's like you start off selling washing machines at Samsung and become the CEO. Like that's it. We're not living in the 60s anymore, thank God. But I
think if there's one man who could do it in 2024, it's Clinton. Paper Thin last name.
That's right. It's okay. You know, doesn't. My last name's not important.
Hey, I know another fella from Wisconsin. You've got the gumption there, fella.
That's right. That's right. You know it there, eh? Yeah.
I don't know what I'm saying. Sliggy's
scooch
here
right
too.
on by you there, eh?
Hi, Sliggy.
I'm here. I'm doing all right. Dude, I feel lost today because it's like I've been streaming for what 28 days in a row, and then normally I'm normally telling my dude, I had such a struggle last night sleeping because normally I have like a conversation with my brain. I'm like, you got to be up in like 5 hours. Don't be thinking too much. Don't be thinking of too much mad stuff. So then last night I was like, okay, you go free, man. Like we got nothing to be up for apart from Plat chat till 4. And then I started thinking about all these rounds, man. I couldn't get to sleep for like 3 hours. I was thinking about like RRQ's new fast A. I was like, what if you put the jet up short and you combine that with BBL strat? And then I was thinking about Na'Vi and NRG playing the Brim on Lotus. What if you stimpack someone with Odin, then you're just spamming constantly? I was there for 3 hours just thinking of random strats. It was awful.
I think you should get hazard pay for what the state of the game has done to you.
Dude, I need some structure in my life. I don't know what to do today. It's weird.
That was the most relatable thing I've ever heard as well, because I also couldn't go to bed. I was watching VODs from like from dawn till dusk until I was in bed, and then I couldn't sleep. So then I just took an edible, and then I still couldn't sleep. So I was just high in bed thinking about Valorant until like 3 a.m. And then I just woke up, and I'm back watching Valorant again. We're starting the show, and I'm still watching Valorant.
I feel like we should do a bonus episode where we just all take an edible and just like watch party Valorant and then do a Plat chat. I think that would be a beautiful thing.
I have to drink soju. I don't have the option to have edibles here in Korea, so it has to be soju for me.
Highly illegal.
Highly
Yes,
illegal.
very.
And we would know from an enterprising businessman like him, no
That's
businessman
exactly-
would ever do drugs illegally. They wouldn't
I
do
would
it.
never swallow. I would never.
What?
I would never inhale. I would never inhale.
Excuse me.
Excuse me?
No, not
What do you
not-
mean by that?
Yeah, I would never take the edible and actually, fully ingest it. Yeah.
Well, you heard it here first. Paper thin, only spits. Moving on.
Oh god, dude, I'm fucking dying over here. I'm the first to swear. Dang. Sorry. Oh well. Sorry.
Guys, is this the worst era of Valorant we've ever had?
That's a great.
This isn't a topic, but
topic.
I feel like this is the first topic. Is this the sloppiest, messiest, oiliest, muddiest Valorant we've ever had?
The problem, 2021 exists. That's the issue.
Yeah.
2021, the amount of stuff I got
But
out.
I feel like if
got
we're
away
talking
with.
about like the civilized eras,
Okay, yeah.
this is the worst.
From 22 onwards.
It's
Yeah,
it's
I
pretty
agree.
bad. There's a couple of there's multiple reasons why that's the case. I think that the map pool doesn't really promote much creativity when you have.
Me when I'm playing
we've seen
Breeze and
some
Icebox.
innovation. Yeah, we've seen some innovation on Breeze and Icebox, but we haven't seen too much. Two, we had big sky nerfs right before the season started when we had a massive off season to test changes. Didn't use that. Decided to do it right before, so teams had to like just scrap a bunch of crack and setup and strats that they otherwise would have had. And yeah, I mean that's the major one really. Is
And
that
a lot of
just-
new agents aren't viable. Like, you're not
Yeah.
seeing much deadlock or ISO, right? Nobody's
Yeah,
has
because
anybody
I
tried
think that-
Clove
Has
yet?
anyone in
they're
any
scared
region
of,
played Clove? I don't think
No,
so,
no,
right?
I don't
Yeah.
think so. Not in, I think it Game Changers, but not in VCT.
Which
Yeah.
I understand the balancing philosophy of Riot because they're scared of like another Astra situation or Chamber situation where they release an agent and they dominate the meta for a year plus. Because it's much easier to steadily buff a character rather than
Yeah.
nerfing them because you can just be way too heavy-handed with nerfs.
But I do like that approach, though. I think that's a way better
Yeah.
approach.
I
It is
agree.
way better. Like Astra Chamber meta sucked. Like it was fun for like 3 months.
Do you guys
And
think
went
though
on 4
Yeah.
times longer?
it takes away the excitement of new agents being added?
A little bit.
Because I feel like it does
Yeah.
to an extent. Because we see these reveals, these really hyped trailers, and then the agent comes out and they're fun in ranked, and then little Timmy, aspirational player, I'm watching the pros play, and they're not using any of the new stuff. It's like Gecko was released over a year ago now, and only now is he like prevalent in the meta. Like it's this like incremental nerf. I feel like means there's like a year lag time on agents being relevant.
Gecko would have been played if they nerfed Sky in time though. That's
Sure,
the
sure.
trouble is that
That's true.
when there's just better options available, like you're just not going to run anything else. When they release a duelist that doesn't have like a gap close, it needs to be really fulfilling some other niche, which ISO didn't do.
Yeah.
And what else?
It feels like
Deadlock doesn't
releasing
give
a
you
like
any-
non-dive duelist agent
Yeah.
is just like they'll never get played.
Yeah, and then Deadlock
Yep.
as a Sentinel as well is meant to be super reactive like a Sage, but you don't get any of the passive map control that even Sage has with a wall, arguably. Like you
Yeah.
get some level of
Yeah.
passive map control with it, you do. So yeah, it's just
Yeah.
When you design agents that way, you really need to fulfill their niche really well to even carve out any sort of spot for them.
Yeah, I feel like Clove is the only one recently that's actually been in a good spot. Like I feel like Clove, if it maybe didn't get released in the middle of the split, then teams might have used it on certain maps. So I still have a bit of hope for Clove on like Icebox and Sunset.
Sure.
And I think there's
Yep.
a niche, but
I think they can. They're definitely more viable than like release ISO or something. Like at least you
Yes,
can
for
like
sure.
think about and like justify a way to play them, even if you have to make compromises. Which then that goes back to the format being so close that there's not really time for teams to test stuff like that, and you're kind of disincentivized. I feel like to take those risks with this format.
yeah,
Just
no
just
doubt.
give Forsaken some time. He'll at some
He'll
point
pull
he'll
through?
play Clove. Yeah. Oh yeah. He's got to play every agent. Like that's just in his MO now. He plays a different agent on every map now.
Has
So
Yeah,
at
it's
some
impressive.
point.
So what does he
he's
still
gonna-
need to do? Deadlock ISO Clove?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
that
it?
is it.
That's it.
All
I'm
right.
pretty sure.
I
That's
believe in him.
doable. That's
We'll get him on
achievable.
that.
Yeah.
Before we get into the episode, 10 minutes into the episode, we haven't talked about a single topic yet.
Yeah,
You know
might
this
be a
is
long
gonna be
one.
this episode is gonna be a hosting masterclass by me. Kurt wanted to pull up some cool fan art someone made of Sliggy. Look at this.
Oh, it's
Look at this.
Wingman!
For the audio listeners,
Whoa!
he's Wingman. And finally, Sliggy, he hates himself. And that's so sad.
It's nuts, isn't it? This is like me after being like a 1v5 from Wingman defusing or something, and I'm just like, he'll never win this. And then this is what I have to do as a forfeit. Yeah, look at
This
that.
is what I'm imagining if you went down your Bren arc and you just like took an edible after like an 8-hour co-stream. This is like your like crazy fever dream that you get.
I go back to coaching, just play Gecko on every map to say, yeah, this is the one. Just
Scarred
embrace
by
it.
him.
Oh.
It's cool, dude. The slug is sick.
It is
as well.
good.
Do we know
Yeah,
who
it's
made this?
impressive.
Can we credit them instead of just putting their artwork
I
up and
think
not
it's
crediting
his
them?
Yeah.
Twitter
Yes.
account. It's
Wait,
not-
hold up.
That's the one you
Is
gave me.
it?
It might just
Oh,
be.
is that the one I gave you?
Yeah, I think
It's-
so.
This is a random
I
person.
think so.
Did you just like
Everyone-
hit your keyboard and
Hey.
just
Everyone go
No,
follow
no, no, no.
Casimia or whatever their name
Yeah, no,
was.
I think that's right. Yeah, that should be right.
Oh, really?
be right.
Okay.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
they
it's right.
haven't
Pull
done
back up.
anything since 2018, so.
Yeah, that is not that active.
Well,
Alright,
I mean,
it's
if you want,
empty.
Thank
if
you.
you want the best tweets from November 2018, make sure
Casimia.
you follow them. Cool fan art. Shall we start the episode?
I think we should start the episode.
Shall we start the
Yeah.
episode? I think that would be cool. I think.
Yeah.
Well, we're talking about muddy, messy Valorant.
Oh god.
And we got a match of the week, baby. Talon versus Team Secret. Clint, I just want to start with what happened. What
well,
happened?
I mean, obviously there was a lot of drama coming into this one. So there was kind of that setting the stage for it, and I think it got pretty personal and it got pretty hot and heavy, and it was, I mean, it came down to a lot of hero plays for Talon at times, and Team Secret after their big win against Paper X, you're like, okay, maybe Team Secret's got it together, but it turns out Team Secret just beats Paper X on the regular for whatever reason, and then they come out and they just like they kind of play to their opponent's level sometimes, and this was one of those matches. It felt like Jeremy wasn't playing very good. He was like 14 and 23 in first kills versus first deaths, and like when he's not like kind of as that good entry, then things start to fall apart a bit for Team Secret. Like even though Jesse usually has a pretty good idea on what's going on the map and he makes decent calls, like if Jeremy isn't kind of breaking doors down, things start to collapse. And Envy still had a pretty good game, but it was overall just more like Talon is starting to kind of get themselves together. They're starting to feel what their team chemistry is and what their kind of MO is. And Cruz is really doing a pretty good job making adjustments. He talked about it in the post-game interview where he's like, we kind of got a good read pretty quickly on what Team Secret was doing against us, and we adjusted, especially on Lotus, and that really turned the map around for us. So I think overall, like, it was messy for sure. Do I expect either team to go very far in playoffs? Not really. But there's improvements for Talon. I'll say
Sure.
that. I think they look a little bit better.
I wanted to ask you. You mentioned at the beginning that there was like some like personal stuff about this. Can you expand on that?
Yes.
What's the lore?
There is some beef apparently sometime during kickoff. I don't know. These are just what I'm hearing. I was not a part
Word
of
on
any
the
of this.
streets.
Yeah, this is our word on the streets. That there was some nicknames thrown around by Team Secret about the Talon team that in Tagalog, which is the native Filipino language, that weren't very flattering to Talon, and that Frost took exception to that and went on multiple different interviews and podcasts and things and let it be known that he took exception to that. And yeah, I mean the players weren't super thrilled about it either, but hopefully it's done. To be honest, I think it's a little bit blown out of proportion.
That guy's the CEO of instigating.
Dude,
it's
Frost is
incredible.
crazy for the
It's
drama
incredible.
stocks. I'm not gonna lie. This guy, you need someone like this. You need a little curveball in the scene. He's just gonna say his mind and potentially get fired later down the line for something he says. You just don't. You never know with Frost. You never know.
I feel like the majority of our coaches, I mean this positively, have the Sliggy demeanor of just like, yeah, we played a great game. I mean, made some mistakes. They were good, just soft spoken, chilling. And then he's the exception to the rule. He's
Yeah,
like
just
the one
ready-
guy who gets fired up about everything.
He's ready to flame his own team
His own
publicly.
team, dude.
Like,
Wasn't he like
no one
he was
safe.
clowning on the Furia players publicly or
No, it was clowning
or
on his
something
own
like
team,
that.
saying like
He
the
did, yeah.
Fury. We talked about it in the previous episode, but he was
Okay.
man, yeah. It's dude, that was a crazy statement. I couldn't believe that. I pulled some clips of Talon here because they do have some strengths that I think are working well for them.
Okay.
And it's one, they're putting some thought into like set executes on the pistol round. So I pulled their sunset pistol, which is just this wasn't like a counter strat or anything for what Team Secret are doing, because Team Secret tend to play very passive slow defaults at the beginning of every round. But they got caught by it. This little squeeze play here, sending the paranoia out at a slight angle, so it punishes like a fast take of the main angle, and you take that space if they don't contest it. And it wins them the pistol round in this. And then they also string it together into a bonus round win, which I also pulled a clip for. It's nothing special. They just decided to go for another proactive play using all their initiator util. But I also think that this team really struggles with just macro and their overall like ideas of what they have on their attack side. I think they struggle that a ton, actually, in terms of the way that they work the map, like the ideas behind their compositions. Sometimes it's good like this, where it's really thought out, where they just know that they're going to overwhelm a particular area with util. But then they are so reliant as well on hero plays, like Governor getting a 2-piece because he can't be traded effectively, or Cruz gets a 3K, or Ban gets 4 players because they weren't watching a flank in a particular moment. Like they win so many rounds off the back of that purely because their opponents can't trade them out. And my question is, what's going to happen when they do meet an opponent that are going to be on point with the trading? And I'm pretty sure their first opponent is going to be Paper X, which stylistically, that is, I feel like that's a good matchup for them. We're going to talk about the playoffs later, so I don't want to touch on it too much. But yeah, that's my question for them, I think, as well, is just how much more have they got going for them? Because when the macro's not there and it's just big hero play moments, which, listen, if you can pull it off consistently, good. But the trouble is that's not a consistent way to win.
Yeah, I think that's very fair. And like they're doing the right things in terms of heavy focus on the pistol and the bonus. That's like kind of what you want to do. And then when it gets to like the middle, it feels a little bit lost. And then I would definitely give credit to Frost. Like, as much as he loves a bit of drama, like his timeouts and what they're doing in the timeouts after is honestly like it's pretty spot on in terms of what I think should be happening. So I feel like they need that little help. I think the timeouts are very important in this team. But yeah, I massively agree with the fact that it's just individuals saving them a little bit. I've never been a fan of the 6-person roster as well. Like, they are making it work a little bit, but I still feel like the 6-person roster just doesn't really make sense. Lenny's just sometimes just showing up on maps. I'm just like, well, I don't massively
Well, they need a
get
Sova
it.
player is really what it is.
It's just a role thing, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
What is up with that? Because I'm saying this game, Lenny came in and played Fade, but Cruz also plays Fade. Like, are their roles just boomed? Can anyone like shed some light? Because it's out 3 out of 5 matches this season, they've done this 6-man roster thing. And I mean, judging by the entirety of history in Valorant, it's never been sustainable to do a 6-man roster.
I mean, it just is like it. So from what I understand, at the beginning of the year, Lenny kind of became their IGL and he became their guy. And they said they felt like he was, even though he had only been a sub on Team Secret before, he had played 1 match last year. And so they said that like they felt good with him being the IGL, like things were clicking pretty well, but it became pretty apparent pretty fast during kickoff that it was not. So then they reverted back to Cruz being the IGL. He's kind of also the natural leader of the team. I mean, he's, been around since day 1 of Valorant, right? Like, this guy's been there, done that. So he's kind of taken over that role. So that kind of left Lenny in a weird spot where he's sort of a certain initiator specialist. I guess on this map, Sunset, it must be because Cruz is just the better breach that you need to put Lenny on the Fade. And Surf just might not be up to speed yet. So there's definitely a little bit of question marks in my mind, but I think, I think they're kind of, in my opinion, starting to lean away from Lenny a little bit, even though I don't think he's that bad, but I just kind of wonder if he just doesn't have the firepower to really keep up at this level.
Yeah, I think I back that as well. Like, when I'm watching the stuff, it does just feel like a significant firepower difference. Like, this guy has and still is always like a bit of a beast in terms of like fragging out. So yeah, I think it works and it looks like it makes more sense, and just the whole team just feels more put together when it's these 5. So we'll see if that's something that continues.
Would you guys like to see them just moving forward, like just cut Lenny and just go straight up 5 players with the rest of their team?
I think no matter what, without calling out players' names, I will always prefer a 5 solid roster, because I think it's going back to the stuff that Bren was saying, that might be why some of the macro and stuff lacks, because you gotta catch other people up on other maps. So not if we're mentioning names, I just think that a 5 core roster is just always better. I just don't like the 6-person roster.
Agreed.
Band did something cool though. I got a clip of this.
Lotus?
I knew this was possible, but I never thought about it. And it's the first time I saw anybody capture it in like pro play in VCT, which is the just the Yoru using the Yoru clone.
Oh,
Do you remember
the
this?
Yoru clone to get past
On
the trap
breeze?
wire.
Yeah.
This was so smart.
This was awesome. I actually love this. I mean, this is
You can do it
an
with Fade
example of
theoretically
like,
too, can't you? With the Prowler.
yeah. It's just anything that can trigger the thing. But the reason it was so cool, the Yoru, is because it implies like a lot of teams when they're running the Euro on attack side breeze will just send the clone into halls as a default, and they won't actually follow up with any of it. And so he sends the clone up, but instead of breaking the trip off the back of it, he just uses it to take a timing past it. So nobody is alerted to the fact that he's got past this at all. They don't hear any gate crash. They don't hear anything. They are clueless. And you can see that like the small amount of time it takes for them to calm that there's somebody behind. Ban just able to, he just gets two, just rips away two of them. This is the moments of individuality that are just, that's cool to watch. That's the stuff that carves out a path for Talon to actually be like a top team in Pacific right now. But I just think that it's gonna be rough for them when they go up against a team that's actually gonna hold a candle to them in that regard.
Yeah, I feel like one of my biggest walkaways from this team is always just like anytime I watch one of their games is just like being impressed with Ban. I feel like he was a solid player when he was in NA, but it really feels like he's just stepped up on this roster. Obviously, mostly playing the Sentinel, but you get like the odd Euro game in there and stuff. And I feel like he's just so consistently performing, has great game sense to go for weird timings like that. So there's definitely, I think, an X factor with this Talon roster to be able to pull off upsets sometimes with the level of skill they have. But I want to ask the question, do we have any cope for either of these teams to go on a bit of a run, or is this just like some nice moments in the regular season, but likely a quick exit in playoffs?
I think, because this was a good example of, again, because this was the bonus round, right, that he did that. I think if they can consistently have a good pistol and a good idea on the bonus, some kind of little micro play like we just saw that Bren highlighted, if they can consistently do that on all the maps, you can win a best of 3. So there is a bit of cope. I think that if they manage to get majority of the pistols and they have cool stuff with the bonus and they can kind of snowball, which we're seeing a lot of teams do, I think they have a good chance. And I think it feels like they realize that with the amount of emphasis they're putting on these rounds. So I think there's a little bit of hope. But if we just go for like pure macro and it was like an even 3-3 pistol, I feel like they're going to get a little bit wrecked.
I have a little bit of hope for Team Secret as well, even though they lost this, because I feel like the Paper game from the previous week, which I don't know if we really touched on it that much, but I rewatched it recently, and it was the one thing I was surprised at was just that they had a really good awareness of how to punish Paper X's playstyle. When something would go to like re-clear mid on Icebox, he would break some util on the attack side of Icebox. He'd just back away. Immediately, space is being re-cleared again by Team Secret. They had great ideas. They wanted to flank often. They had really, really great understanding of how to just break apart Paper X's playstyle. And I think they're just they're like a very standard team, just in terms of they have good ideas of what they want to do on their just overall macro defense sides as well. And the issue just comes down to when they get punched, they just can't hit back sometimes. But they did in the Paper X game, which is the weird thing. Like they actually have shown that they've got that firepower. So I don't know. I've got more hope for Team Secret on that side of the bracket than I do for the T1 in their opening match, right? Because I think that's their opponents.
Yeah, I massively agree with this. They look. I never know which version of this team I'm going to get, because like the top Team Secret is like they'll take down some of the big teams, but then you see these other games, you're just looking, you're like, oh, this does not look great. They have they have like a low floor and a high ceiling, and I never know which one I'm going to get. It kind of reminds me of like the old Liquid of like Safe, and kind of reminds me a little bit of that. And it's like, well, which version are we going to get today? So. Yeah, I think if they play at their peak, they can potentially make it.
They could get through there, no doubt. I mean, they have the easier side of the bracket for sure. I mean, I think T1 is kind of a mess right now and really hasn't been able to find the form that everybody was expecting them to at the beginning of the year. I think, I agree with everybody what they're talking about. They make good reads oftentimes. It's just a matter of being able to convert on the back of it. I think the bad news for Talon is that Paper X pretty quickly identified some of the issues that they had against Team Secret. At least when I watched them against Bleed, I felt like Paper X really addressed things like covering their flanks better and doing stuff like that. But I think Team Secret is a very well-balanced team. I think Envy is still an incredible player, no matter what. He's always there. He's like got the most assists per round. He's fragging very well as usual. I think Jeremy and NDG are kind of my bigger concerns. NDG looked great against Paper X, but then didn't look so good. So it's kind of, they always play to their level of their opponents, and it's something they talk about too in their interviews and stuff, where they're like, we don't always consistently perform. They know it. It's just, can they do it? I think so. I think they're going up against 2 Korean teams who aren't playing at their best right now, so there's definitely a world where they get through.
So a little bit of cope for both these teams. We'll get into that more when we do the rest of our pick'ems, but let's move on to some of the other matches from Pacific and talk a little bit about T1, because it seems like there has been a bit of a stumble. The start of the season, T1 stocks, I feel like, were very high, and then they started losing some big matches mid-season. Now they've closed out the end by beating Zeta. How are we feeling about this team going into playoffs? Is it doom and gloom, or is some of that cope from the beginning of the season still alive?
I think this team has a tendency to overcook, personally. Sometimes with their ideas. At least that's the vibe I get from them, like on Bind. I feel like if they just ran a more standard comp rather than trying to like force this harbor, I don't know what it is. It's Excurate feeling like the big brother syndrome. I don't know, just like feeling like he's being usurped by his younger brother, Forsaken, who's just playing absolutely everything or what. But it seems like in Pacific, this comp is like pretty popular, just trying to run the harbor. But you could run a Brimstone and have just as effective, if not more effective, control over the map and the way that they play it, because I don't think they're creative enough with the harbor. When Forsaken plays it, I notice like a massive difference, because he's always like, his coves will be on point to try and like cut up angles of which his team can peek from, or the high tides are all good. And Extra's not awful at those aspects, but I think it just, with so much power and creativity that's at your fingertips when you're playing harbor, you have a tendency to just lean into just overcooking ideas. Like the instances that I'm thinking of the most is when they play Bind and they just fight for the backside plant rather than just going for like a standard showers front side take and just like making sure that they divide up the map. Instead, they plan for backside and then they just like hold from lamps, and they don't have showers control or backside control, because they have to concede backside because they can get peek from heaven. And so they just end up holding a post plan from like one possible position, and they always end up losing it when they go for like that plan, unless the enemy team ends up fumbling a little bit. But yeah, I just think that some of their ideas are just far too, sometimes you got to innovate, but when you innovate too much, it becomes problematic.
Well, it's a comp they've been running for a while, right? And it looks way different than when it started, and not in good ways, I feel like. Like when they started, I loved this comp because the way I described it, they're sort of like cutting the map into like pizza slices, and they're like using the Gecko utility to like stagger their way through those pizza slices. And so they would be able to kind of leapfrog their way into sites, take control of the front of the sites, not go all the way to the back like you're talking about, right? Like, and they get control, they get into normal good default post plants and just kind of bully teams on their attacker side on this map. And instead now they're doing a lot of really weird stuff. Like X-Curate has clearly been trying to imitate his brother, like with the way he plays showers control with the cascades, trying to cut off like 1 or 2 players and then trying to isolate fights that way. And he's just not as good at it. His brother's way better at it. If I'm just being honest,
that's
just
the
truth of it. It's just true. And so like,
yes, he's trying to be exactly like his brother, but he's just so much worse.
Well, he's trying to steal some ideas from his brother. He doesn't play harbor anything like his brother does, but he tried to a little bit, and it didn't go great. But yeah, it feels like, I agree with Bren that they're trying to innovate with this comp, but it's just not working. I mean, what they did originally with this comp like was beating teams left and right, and then now they're trying to see, if they feel like probably they're getting anti-stratted and they need to do different stuff, and it's just not as good.
Yeah, I think they just don't look as comfy. I feel like Zeta had a good read as well in terms of like this comp. Like when people are playing this double initiator comp, I do feel like sometimes they're like very, very readable, and it felt very similar when I looked at Bind. It was like map control into burst, and they wouldn't really create too much pressure elsewhere. And you just saw Zeta be like super proactive on the defense. So it felt like Zeta had a pretty good read for this one. I still love their Lotus. Like, I still think their Lotus is good, but I do think it comes down to like map pool doesn't fill me with too much confidence when it's this team. And I think the switch up from Carpe calling to Excuret is like I think it looks better like overall instead of like the mid rounding and stuff. But dude, Carpe needs to be fragging out heavier than this if he's not calling. Like it somehow it looked like he was fragging heavier when he was calling it. So normally it should go the opposite way around. So that's kind of where I'm at. It's like you don't have to do the IGL duties anymore. You need to see a significant kind of increase that's at least noticeable, and I would say it's the same if not worse than it was. So that's like my main worry at the moment. Is just like where's that element of firepower gone? But yeah, I'm still kind of confident in some of their maps. But yeah, other maps I don't enjoy their bind. I think it's too readable.
For sure.
What's the win condition? What's the cope if this team is going to go on somewhat of a run in playoffs? Is there one?
They just get hot. That's I can't think of anything else.
It's a form thing, I think, because I don't really take issue with some of their macro ideas. I think they have a tendency to overcook sometimes, but the biggest problem for me was, and it was again highlighted from the match that they played versus Talon, was that they were just letting some of the Talon players get away with murder, and they just weren't hitting back, which is the exact same problem that Team Secret had. This is why I feel like those two teams, like T1 and Team Secret, are going to be quite closely matched almost.
Sure.
Just in terms of, I don't know, when I categorize teams in my head and think about what the strengths of them are, it might be firepower, like the way they play off each other in terms of like the gunplay, and like macro calling, and then maybe just like overall ideas, like how well they can execute certain ideas. And they do a lot of that well, but then they were just losing to individuals doing crazy shit sometimes. And yeah, I put them and Team Secret kind of in the same boat with that. So I think it's form. If they come alive with the form factor, which we know they can because they played. Listen, they've played. Yeah, they played Paper X close as well. When Paper X come at you with high tempo gameplay, that's very difficult to meet them at that kind of pace and not make mistakes and slip up. But they were one of the better teams to do it even in kickoff. So they've definitely got it in them. They just
And I think my biggest concern with T1 is that they got gifted rounds against Zeta. Like this is one of them that we're seeing right here, where like Zeta's just not reading situations correctly. Like Sugar Zero has 2 TPs and he just dies in a corner to mollies, and then they get the showstopper and everybody's just like playing in perfect showstopper range, like they're not giving him space, and they just lose the round because of it. It's just like Zeta was just like not mentally engaged. They haven't been really this season at all at times, and that's like gifting T1's round. And that's what's really concerning me here with T1 is that some of these rounds they have absolutely zero business winning. Like this round right here, I'm pretty sure is the one where Izu gets a 1v3 and it just should have never happened. Like Zeta just completely just gave him these 1v1s for free and they took it over. But in general, like I'm very, very concerned about T1, and Izu as well is starting to concern me a little bit. Like everybody I talk to in Pacific is so high on Izu as a fragger. They're like, this guy is nuts. Yeah. His skill is through the roof. And I've heard this from like a lot of people whose opinions I really trust. And I at times do see it, but it hasn't been consistent. And I don't know if that's a team thing, if he's just not fitting in well or what, because it is starting to get a bit concerning here overall.
Yeah. I think you touched on great stuff because, dude, this is the same game where there was like a 1v3 on A, right? And Wingman just diffused out and they didn't get the spam on him. Like Zeta should have won this game. Oh,
that round. Yeah. Oh my God. I forgot about that round. Oh.
Dude, it was this whole game was just like littered of just rounds that Zeta should have won. It's like one of the worst VOD review maps they'll probably ever have to do, hopefully. But I agree with that. I think individual form, it's just like, where is it? It used to be like Rossi winning loads of clutches, which he still does to an extent, just maybe not as many. I think Izu is the big one because when I'm watching Izu, like, is it Breeze that he played? Is it Breeze that he played the Yoru? Where I'm just like, damn, he looks incredible. And it is like you're saying, he has these games where he just wins outright. He's just an absolute beat. I mean, look at this round. Like this round is sick.
Just should never happen.
Yeah. So I mean, Zeta just the whole game was just full of just rounds like this, where it's like, how have we lost that? But yeah, I feel like the Izu consistency is a very good point. It's true. He at the start of kickoff was like, I'm watching him thinking, holy, where's this guy been? Like he's a beast, and they just has these games where he's like relatively quiet. So yeah, if they wanna win and they're in the better side of the bracket, so they can do it. It's got to be individuals stepping up to the peaks that we've seen them.
Okay. Well, let's move a little bit forward, and we were already talking about it a little bit, but the first match of Pacific Playoffs, the knockout round, this is, remember, the early on single elimination. It's single elimination, right? It's the same thing as kickoff?
For the first,
The first
two
game.
matches. Yeah,
So
yeah,
some
yeah.
big games here. We were just talking about T1. They're starting off by playing Team Secret. Let's see the Preds. Wait.
There's
Okay.
gonna, there's gonna be a
Waiting.
someone. Yes,
Okay,
respect.
okay.
Not
Wait,
a
wait,
guarantee. Thankful,
Yeah.
Did I
thankful
Yeah,
speak
you
for
it
did,
that.
up,
Bren.
Bren? Is it a guarantee?
Nah,
or did you
you-
No,
pick it?
in
did
my
this,
head,
Bren.
I was thinking I would have Team Secret as.
Nah, I
Let me
don't think
double
so,
check.
Bren. I
I've
think you
been
went for
making a lot
this.
of mistakes.
I
Yeah, you
also
definitely
did
picked
no,
this,
Kurt, but I
yeah.
also did this at like 2 a.m. So I could have
Yeah,
just
Kurt, you don't make mistakes. This is all
giga
Bren.
beefed this. You don't want this to be a guarantee.
No,
I
dude,
want this to be a
I'm going out
guarantee.
avoiding guarantees today. We're getting no guarantees
this one
today.
is very coin flippy, honestly. Like,
There we
I
go.
think in my head I would have gone Team Secret, but I'll bite the bullet and go T1 if you want me to. I just have.
I feel like
I
that's
just
so
have big
fake,
issues.
though. If you meant to say Team Secret, be a man of your word, Bren.
and
No
actually
one,
go
no one
for Team
means what they
Secret.
say anymore.
But we're just
Yeah,
saying,
you're
remember
right.
them at, whoa, Brent, hold up. remember them at their peak, man. Izu on
At
your
their
just
peak?
killing everyone. Yeah, just think about
Yeah,
it. Rossi,
no,
experts
No
so-
on
male
chamber.
manipulators
So
on this
this is-
podcast. Let
This
Bren
is
be his own man.
literally. This is a coin flip. This is a coin flip
That's
game.
what I'm
because
saying.
both
So you
these
might
teams-
as well get the
Brent,
free win here.
You predded Team T1. I'm looking at
Yes.
it right
Yeah,
now.
There we go.
I'm pretty sure I messed up.
Trust past you. That
Yeah.
guy was smart. That guy
Yeah.
knew what he was
Past
doing.
me was not smart. Past me was rolling around in bed off of an edible, just unable to sleep. When I was making these breads, man, I wasn't making sense. There was nothing tangible in my mind
I
when I was
think we
making
can
these.
make the agreement, though, that if you stick to T1 and T1 win, you're not allowed to post a screenshot talking about how smart you are because you literally were not in control
I'm
of your
going
body.
to do that
You-
because
you
I'm
could
taking.
not-
I'm
you
biting
couldn't,
the bullet.
if you couldn't operate heavy machinery while you made the prediction, it's not a valid prediction.
I will be doing
if
that.
you
I
can't
will
get
be.
in the fucking tractor and drive it, you can't post it on Twitter.
I will be clout farming if they win this. I will be clout farming, even if I didn't intend for it, because it is a coin flip. I feel like this is a 50-50. Both of these teams are very evenly matched. And it's not just that. I feel like both of these teams are, unfortunately, they're in the wrong map pool and metagame for where their strengths lie right now. You're seeing, this is the rise of teams that have very good fundamentals in terms of how they play off of each other with shooting, and also just clear-cut game plans, good ideas of how they want to attack on certain maps. I think that suits like Breeze, Icebox as the map pool. Ascent we really haven't seen much of really at all as well, but you can make an argument it kind of fits there. And then when you get into Lotus and Sunset and Split as well, I think you actually have to have good ideas in terms of your like macro and execution. And yeah, it's just maps that teams can ban. I feel like just the map pool is going to be trending way more to teams that if you can shoot back and you have those players that can step up in big moments, you're going to be able to get wins as long as you have a few things going right for you. It doesn't feel like a good meta for them. Anyway, I still think it's 50-50. I'm getting off the.
It'll
off
go
the
to
point
3
here.
maps for sure. I mean, it's probably going to be Breeze Lotus for the first 2 maps, and then I don't know what the third is. They're both not great on their third maps, like, so it's going to be really, really close. I don't know who I think Team Secret probably just has a little bit better macro game. I think Jesse's still a pretty good IGL usually. I mean, it could be that they're just not in good form and they just lose, but I think T1 is in a not good state right now, and I don't know that they can recover in a week.
Cool. I mean, I feel like it's
That's it.
50-50. We've
Yeah,
talked a
pretty
lot
much.
about these teams already. Let's move on to a match we haven't talked much about. The other single elimination game to start the playoffs is Paper X versus Talon.
Oh, it was gonna be there eventually.
This won't come back to
Yeah.
haunt us, I think.
Yeah.
For audio listeners, it's a full sweep for Paper X. Plat chat guarantee. This. Okay, hear me out. I'm not worried about this game.
You're not worried?
Yeah.
I'm not worried about this
There's
game.
Oh, that's-
some level of worry.
Playoffs,
I've heard that
Paper
before.
X.
Yeah.
You don't know what
Yeah.
Paper X is
can't-
going to show up usually. Like they could.
But is Talon in the form? Even if Paper X show up looking like Dookie, they're at least going to have one player who's owning. And I don't know, even with that, if Talon is up to snuff to beat them.
I think they've got some hitters. I think Talon have got
Okay.
some hitters, and I think they can
what's
shoot
the
back.
cope for Talon?
What's the cope? Governor gets 2 pieces without being traded. insane hero play moments from a player not being cleared when he gets really scrappy in some crazy moment in a round, and then they just absolutely clutch it up because, again, just sometimes, I'm just saying it, sometimes Paper X come into matches and they are out of sync. It happens once in a blue moon, but it does happen to Paper X. And when that happens, it's their biggest win con just peters out of existence. Do you know what I mean? It just goes. So I don't think it's a guarantee. I don't think this is like, I wouldn't feel strongly about this. From how I've been watching Talon play, where they're coming into maps with good ideas on the pistol round, good ideas to convert bonus after they win the pistol, and on fact that they can actually hit back against heavy hitter teams as well. I think that they absolutely have the firepower to put down a team like Paper X. Just comes down to how well drilled Paper X is going to be on a given day.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I'm kind of confident within Paper X. I feel like when it matters, they pretty much step up to a high level. Single Elim's a little bit scary, and I agree there is a little bit of hope for Talon in terms of what Bren was saying. But yeah, out of all the Plat chat guarantees today, I reckon this is the most confident. But I also said this for the Loud Sentinels and Loud ones.
Yeah.
So
I've heard that one before.
You got to double down on one of them, and this is my one.
Oh.
I mean, I think what's really scary about Paper X right now, real quick, is that Devi and Mindfreak are playing out of their minds, and all it takes is like something or Jing to step it up a little bit, and it's just actually over.
Yeah.
Like they're such a difficult team to beat when at least one of their two, usually duelists is playing well. They're insane. But they've been having some troubles on those front lines, frankly. Sure. Like something hasn't been playing as good. I mean, he's still good, but he's not as good. Jing's kind of been playing a lot of Sage. Teams are trying to force out those maps onto Paper X where Jing isn't playing the Raze, I think wisely so. But then like Devi and Mindfreak have been insane on the back lines. Like they are just destroying people on lurks, doing a great job in post plants. So they're coordinating well with the people in front of them. It's a very scary Paper X team right now, I think. I think they learned very quickly from what went wrong against Team Secret.
I can't believe they play Sage on it. I mean, it's Paper X. I can believe it.
They used to do that. That was one of the older comps on Icebox.
I was talking about Ascent. I don't mind it on Icebox.
Dude,
they played it on Ascent, yeah.
Dude, I'm loving the Sage. I mean, the Sage is good at the moment.
Sage is the new meta.
Everyone's, yeah, it kind of is, because everyone's going towards double initiator, and it's all about popping. If you take a little bit of map control and you just throw a slow behind when they're trying to send the Dizzy through, they don't get Dizzy and Wingman back. I'm telling you, Sage is like a good counter to the current meta.
You're talking about Icebox, though.
Talk about all the maps, pretty much. I'm talking about Icebox, talk about Sunset, like all the maps.
What about Ascent? What about Ascent?
It just suits them. It just suits them more into the Ascent. Ascent's a little bit different because it's harder to like mid round when there's a Sage. It kind of exploits the IGL if the IGL isn't good at like mid round, because you actually got to go break the wall, or you've actually got to have a bit of presence elsewhere,
or count down from 40.
Yeah, all that. Yeah, this will be gone. In
but it's
40
specific,
seconds.
so that's
it's hard to do though. I completely agree with that.
I joke, but you are right. It makes you change the pace of the game quite a bit.
Again. Yep. That's what I want to see.
It's so good on Sunset.
But which is crazy to say, because Jing's playing Raze on the map, and it's like me. It's like saying, "Oh, take Jing off Raze to play the Sage." But I completely agree with you, Sliggy, as well. It disrupts the really meta comps right now on Sunset. It rolls teams that are just playing like heavy retake protocols with the double initiators.
Remind me, which team was playing?
Fuck a bit heavy when they were playing.
Which team was playing
Icebox
really good, with like KO Gecko?
They'll figure it out. I'm sure this won't be a backfired guarantee. What's going on?
We both just had a full conversation over each other, and I don't think either of us realized what was going. Can you hear me?
Why can't I hear Mimi?
Oh, really?
I hear Mimi.
I hear you both.
Guys?
Yeah, I hear you guys.
Fellas?
Yeah,
I can't hear Mimi.
I hear it just
fine. He muted me! Unmute me. Free me, Bren.
Did you mute her?
Is it just on my end?
Can you hear me, Bren?
Yeah, I can hear everybody.
I think you may have locally muted Mimi somehow.
How the hell? What?
Wait, you can do that?
I don't.
Yeah.
Let me get on this.
In the bottom right-hand corner, there are buttons to mute people. Yeah,
that's sick.
Yeah.
If you rejoin, Bren, I'll probably fix it.
I mean, Mimi doesn't even show up in the list to me.
Oh, that's weird.
Oh, rejoin them, bro.
I'm gonna restart.
Yeah, that's a real problem. Yeah.
That was so funny.
I love this talking.
Dude, I thought he was done with his point, and I just kept talking. he just kept going at it.
I did. I kept going. Hello, I'm back.
Nice.
Now
I'm
he's
gonna-
muted. Oh,
no,
it's
no,
a
I'm
tragedy.
muted now. I can hear
No,
Mimi.
I can hear him.
Oh,
Wait,
think we need to rejoin as well.
No, this is a bit.
Wait,
It's
you
not a
both of you
bit.
just.
I
Wait,
am not
he shows
trolling
muted
you.
on my end.
It's not a
Just
bit.
rejoin Mimi.
Did we block each other?
No, I mean, I don't think so. Oh, she's gone. No, she's gone.
Hello?
Yeah,
I
hello,
hear
can
Bren
me?
again.
There we go.
Are we good?
You can hear me?
Wait,
Yeah?
I can't hear
Can you
Bren
hear
now.
me? No,
Yeah.
you're
No fucking
joking.
way.
No,
You're fucking
no.
talking.
This little-
Oh my god, okay.
Technical difficulties. Okay. We're done with predictions. Let's move on
No,
to
we're not.
Pacific. We're not? Yes, we
Well,
are.
I mean, we're kind of done with predictions, but we're doing a pick-off.
Well,
pick
yeah,
'em,
but that's
pick 'em.
different. That's not a prediction. That's a pick 'em.
Pick-off. The Pacific pick-off. Playoff pick-ems. I'm freaking...
I think you should take another edible. You need to calm down.
Yeah, me too. I'll be right back.
We're gonna do our predictions, pick-ems, pick-offs. Okay. We already talked about the first two games. That's locked in. Team Secret, Peeper X winning. Let's talk about Gen.G Team Secret. Surely this is just lock Gen.G, move on.
Hello?
Oh god.
Bren, don't. I made that joke.
Oh,
already.
she's actually muted again for me.
I've already done that joke.
Oh
Come on.
my
Let's
god.
move
Hello?
on.
Hello?
No, she's back again. Dude, what is going on? What is going on?
I don't know. This
Okay,
has never happened
right,
before.
we're talking.
Classic.
It doesn't matter.
Everyone, everyone lock in.
No, no, no.
I'm locking in.
Wait,
I'm
you
locking
guys
in.
can't hear each other and we want to do a podcast?
I can hear Bren. Bren,
I
can you
can.
hear
No,
me?
it's fine. It's fine. It was just a moment. I can
Okay,
hear Mimi.
Gen.G
Dude,
Secret.
you're trolling.
Discuss.
Go, continue.
Oh,
Please.
God.
That edible hit you hard, bro. It's lasting long, man.
Continue.
I
What's
think
rolling?
probably Gen.G because they spread the map. They play so well in their individual battles. I think that's going to be tough for Team Secret to really kind of do what they need to do. Now, that being said, Gen.G's been really static, I think, in their positioning and how they're holding, and they're kind of getting outguessed on timings and things like that. So I could see Secret winning this, but I'm slightly leaning to Gen.G, and not heavily.
See, I would, yeah, I'm on board with that, and then I would just say I'm a little bit more heavily on board with Gen.G. I think a little bit of a slump, like in some of the weeks, but I don't know. I feel like when it matters, they're just gonna come in swinging with this. The individuals are just too good, man.
I think Gen.G are losing a bit of that magic, though.
Okay.
I think
Feels like
when you see, like, when they were really in like that white hot form, it was like you just see moments where if it was Texture and Care on last live, I'd be like, oh, I believe. I'm believing in them. You know what I mean? Like, they're gonna play off each other so well. They're gonna find openings. They're just gonna get those weaknesses, and they're just gonna outskill people. But there's been less of that, I think, with time, and like you've been mentioning, like they've been worked out a little bit in terms of just how proactive they play on maps. I think teams are starting to hold quite slow defaults usually at the beginning of rounds, and it's disrupting a lot of what Gen.G were doing. That was really, you know, the best part of them was just how active they were getting on the defensive side and taking those fights with just really well drilled but seen before set plays. Do you know what I mean? Like talking about like the ascent proactivity you do with the standard comp that we've seen.
Yeah,
many,
just
many times
executing
before.
on simple
But they were
stuff
doing it
like incredibly
they were-
well.
And I think that's a recipe for winning right now as well, just with how many teams are currently taking steps back as well with their own understanding of the game. So, but the magic, I don't know, it just hasn't been there as much in terms of that form and them hitting the shots and playing off each other. It's been missing ever so slightly, and it's not as good as it was in the kickoff quals, which, you know, I thought it was going to end way, way, way before. You know, they made it all the way to the finals of Madrid playing in that type of form, so they could just get it back just like that. I think it's shown to be a consistency for them, but I'm just concerned because I think if Team Secret end up winning versus T1, chances are they've probably come into their own form, and at least they're playing quite well to the point where I would say that they would stand a decent shot of beating Gen.G. Gen.G should still be the favorites, but yeah.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Yeah.
I agree.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, they should probably win. Dude, I'm dialed in. Let's move on. We're locking Gen.G. We only have 2.5 more hours of this podcast. DRX, Peeperex. Let's talk about DRX a little bit, because we didn't get a chance to earlier. They had a pretty solid group stage for the most part, right? As in, they won every match, which I would say is solid. Though, they were in the group where they're playing Bleed and Global and all those guys. How high are we rating them off the group stage run? Are they back to like world beaters in Pacific?
I think they're pretty high. A lot of the stuff I'm seeing is very impressive. Dude, they're using like some normal comps and then coming in with new strats that no teams have ever done on the normal comps. Like their AX sec is on the Sentinel is like really impressive. And my only like real worry was Bane maybe not being like a heavy fragger as I thought he would be. But then he had this week and he was just fragging out so heavy. So it's like my only concern in the actual team kind of just got cancelled out from this week. So yeah, I think they're very legit. I think they're in really hot form right now. I think individually they're all looking crazy good. And I'm scared of this team, man. I think this is a strong team.
I was gonna say, bring these stats up. Look at this. Your two top fraggers are Bane and Mako. If in terms of KD right now, they're doing better than Buzz. I mean, it's crazy. Mako is the GOAT. Mako is the GOAT controller.
He's incredible.
Period. End of story.
You watch this guy
insane.
play, he's single-handedly winning them rounds. He's getting 2 pieces when he's being pushed by like initiator util and a duelist dashing in his face, and he's still taking them out. I think he's every week I mention how good he is when he switched to this Viper role.
He's really good at Viper,
Yeah.
Do we think this team?
Dude, I'm
Bren?
Just make me talking.
Bren?
Oh no,
Yep.
no.
There's no freaking way. There's no way.
I think I know how to fix it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it
It's
on
gonna
me?
work.
Okay.
No.
I'm gonna ask you guys a question while Bren works on that. Is this team making top 3 in Shanghai?
Top 3?
DRX?
Yes.
It's close.
They can.
Because they're the only team right now of all the like top teams out there that like people expected to be good and are having a clean season thus far. They're primed to win Pacific, it looks like. I think it would be a massive shock if they didn't go. All the top teams that were at Masters Madrid haven't had much turnaround time and have been struggling. They had time to just practice dial in themselves. It seems like they're primed to make a run.
Well, here's what's weird about that, right? Is that Bane came in at the last minute before Stage 1 started.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he was not practicing with the team until 4 or 5 days. Like, I think they told me that he had 1 day to practice each map before they started the stage with the team. So the fact that they're able to play like this, the fact that he's playing like this, I don't know if he's going to come down to earth, in either the playoffs or at Shanghai if they get there. Then maybe that's where the concern lies with DRX, is that him and Foxy9 can't keep playing up to this high level. Foxy9's doing a great job on the edges of the map. He's doing a great job holding sites. He had an insane ace against Bleed on Bind the other day, holding the tube on B side on B. I think they're good. I mean, it seems like once again Termy's found that magic. It does feel like 2021, and like you guys have been talking about with the way that teams are playing, but also with the way that DRX feels right now, it feels like it should be a strong team. But I'm worried they're going to come into Shanghai and that kind of newness of the roster is going to finally catch up to them.
Okay.
That's yeah, I agree with that. It might be the little inexperienced bit. It could be the classic fourth again, to be honest for them. I would just say, because you mentioned Termy as well, I would just say he's loving everything about him this year. He's doing good, man. He's the timeouts are great, the suit's off, the shirt's on. He's got the hoodie out on some of these as well, and the timeouts are on point and they're at the right time. And yeah, overall everything looks good.
How does Alice feel about DRX this year, Bren?
That was so fucking back. Because
she was screaming for Termy's head last year.
Yeah, she was. Now I won't ask her for her opinions on Termy. She's in the bedroom right now. But yeah, I mean DRX are looking so damn good right now. I'm sure you've already mentioned the usual points, which is just the role switch up working out for them. You can't hear me,
guys.
Yeah,
I mean he's talking.
He's talking.
Dude.
Oh, I hear him again.
Dude, I'm gonna lose my
what are you two doing?
Dude, I have no idea what's going on.
I'm gonna lose my mind. I
think you're lagging out.
I gotta lock it. DRX. They're gonna win it all, man. They're gonna win it all. They're playing so defaults. The macro's looking great. The roll switches looking great. Mako's my fucking goat. I'm locked in.
Dude, I don't know if you can hear it on the podcast, but he's fucking auto-tuning for me while he's doing that rant. Just, my God. What is going on? He's muted again.
I'm not
Bren?
muted. I
He's
just
not
haven't said
talking.
anything. That's just
You
me
two
not
are-
I think it's on your end.
We're fine.
I've looked at this on my end completely. It is not on my end. It's one of
Yeah,
you
I'm
two.
gonna,
getting,
I'm gonna do the fucking Joker dance. I'm gonna go up on the staircase.
I'm getting moderate connection issues apparently, but my upload's fine. But
Okay.
I'm getting a little thingy. So I don't
Okay,
know.
this is fine. Lock DRX in winning Pacific.
Yeah. They're gonna win it all.
Well, I think
hold on.
What do
I
you
think
mean,
Paper
well?
X might come back. I think Paper X might come back and beat him in the finals. Is something I'm kind of.
But you
I-
think DRX beat them match 1?
Yeah.
See,
Okay.
I have it the other way around. I think Paper X win this, and then DRX win from the lower bracket.
Mm.
Because I think when it matters, Paper X are the ones, and then they kind of get confirmed, and then they're like, okay, well, we're kind of chill now. Who gives a hell about the champs points?
Yeah.
But they obviously don't after how they played against Gen.G last time. So I think that's where I view it. But I'm open for anything.
So the teams in the lower and upper finals auto make it, right? That's how that works. You just have to make lower
Yes.
final,
Yep.
mid.
So top three, yeah.
So
Top three.
DRX has to win
One.
Um,
one
match.
game,
One
no
game.
matter what. One
Yep.
game.
One game.
That's crazy.
That's why first seed is so. That's in every
Yeah.
region.
First seed's the one.
First
Yeah,
seed
that's why
rules.
it's so important to get the first
Dude,
seed.
Crew is winning Shanghai.
Yeah, they might.
DRX
Yeah,
Crew
they
grand
might.
finals. It's going crazy.
actually
Dude,
might.
it's gonna be a weird tournament. It really is gonna be cool.
Okay, so what's our conclusion? Is DRX making
conclusion, they're
finals
winning
through
it all.
uppers
I
or
think-
lowers?
I would have them winning versus Paper X. I would have them winning versus Gen.G. I
Yep.
think they would win it all.
Cool.
Sure, I can get
Yeah.
on board with that because it's
Yeah,
it's the
I
same
can- I can go
outcome.
with
It's
that.
just a different way. Yeah, I'm in for it.
So then I feel like there's not much discussion. Paper X should 100% win that game against Team Secret, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
I think they're on back. Yeah, they will win.
Yeah, and then we have Gen.G
Could be-
Paper X.
could be
I
close,
feel
though.
like this one could go. I feel like this one is very form based, based on how both these teams step up for playoffs.
I will say if we actually get this, the Team Secret Paper X lower bracket winner takes all is going to be nuts because Team Secret seem to have the read of Paper X, and that could actually be huge if that happens. The lower round one,
Hype.
Yeah.
that could be a close game.
If Pacific are sending Gen.G Paper X and DRX to a tournament in
They're winning.
Asia, is this
We're
the
winning.
best chance for
We're
Pacific
winning.
to win a trophy?
100%, no
Yeah.
doubt in my mind. I know
It's
they've got
gotta
to
be.
finals before, and we've always said like this is the best chance, but this is actually the best chance.
Guys,
These-
for real
these
this
three
time, I
teams look
promise.
sick. Yeah, dude, it literally is that. Dude,
Having
Paper,
flashbacks.
Paper X are winning Shanghai.
He's not
man.
on the team anymore.
They're winning. They're
Who's
winning.
not?
They're winning
So
Shanghai.
bad.
Pacific is
Yeah.
winning Shanghai.
Dude,
I think it's
Paper
going
X
to be
got
one
it.
of the RXs
Flashback.
winning Shanghai. I think it's going to be one of the
Yeah.
RXs.
Yeah, that's a safer bet. I might switch over to that.
There's people in chat saying we're disregarding Paper X as well. I don't think we're disregarding them. I think it's just
No,
we know
I think they're
going
going
to
win. I think they're going to win the comeback.
Disregard. I
against
just said they're
DRX.
going to win Shanghai.
Yeah, we do.
What do they want from me?
Yeah, I just think that DRX should match up pretty favorably against them. Just the way that DRX is playing right now, it's so standard and bare bones. But I don't hate that at all.
I mean, I feel like it's just like classic, like really good, simple ideas executed well, players hitting form. It's like it's
is the most-
pinnacle of Korean Valorant.
It's
like-
it's so cookie cutter in terms of just like you said, slow play, and then slow play stops working. They'll take a timeout. They'll immediately increase the tempo because they've
But
conditioned
remember,
slow play.
Gen.G damn near won Masters Madrid playing that style. DRX has had a flawless season playing that style. Look at Americas, looks inside, are the only flawless team. Playing not super dissimilar a style to that. Like, I feel like those teams that are just really fundamentally sound, play slower attack sides, and have crazy individuals that are winning out on clutches, and aren't overcooking their comps or their ideas at all, are feasting right now with how so many teams are stumbling around, not able to figure out what ideas they want to go for. I feel like those are the teams that are thriving in this muddy men era.
Yeah, I think that's fair. It is a legit just wait for them to make a mistake kind of thing. It really is. It's like it feels like it's never been truer in terms of the team that makes the least mistakes wins. Because it's this week especially was crazy muddy.
Yeah.
Like it was
Yes.
like
The
every
last
other
2
game.
weeks have been
Yeah.
insane. Just
Yeah.
insane.
You look like you've seen some shit, Clint.
I'm so fucking tired right now. I have just been grinding Pacific almost every day, and it's just like I don't get home until past midnight most of the time, and I'm exhausted. I just get home and I lay in bed and I watch like bad TV from like the early 2000s, and then I just pass out. Like that's it. That's my life.
Dude, this is
I
why
go
I'm
to
saying
work and I come
Samsung
home.
should make you the CEO.
Yeah,
You have the grind set.
true. Yeah.
You'd be a good company man.
Oh yeah, that's me. True and true. Yeah.
You're a Riot Games company man right now. All right. Well, let's look at our final bracket. DRX winning the grand finals against Paper X. Is that our conclusion?
Yeah, because
Dude.
I think they'll want
Sure.
the points more. That's why.
Yeah.
Sure.
The DRX are playing like they got something
It definitely
to prove.
means more for DRX to win than it does for Paper X.
Yeah.
And also, I think what we were saying already I think someone already made this point, so I won't reiterate it more. But in terms of punishing mistakes, I think DRX will do a good job of that against current form Paper X. But that wraps up Pacific, folks. This is what's happening. There's not going to be any upsets. DRX, Paper X, Gen.G going to Master Shanghai. And Pacific's lifting a trophy. Clint, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yes, we
Thank you,
appreciate
Clint.
you.
Thank
Go
you guys.
watch. Go watch Pacific Playoffs, where I imagine you will be casting a bunch of those games, Clint.
Yep. I'll be there almost every day.
And follow him on. And it's.
I'm
Okay.
actually really excited, but I'm so tired today. I'm
Let's
just
let
like,
him go to bed. Let's let him go to bed. Follow
Go
him
to
on
bed.
Twitter,
Go to sleep.
Paperthin here. Thank you so much for coming on and giving us your insight as always. We're gonna move on to EMEA. Kakuka's gonna be joining us. We'll be back in 5 minutes.
Break
Yippee!
time.
Yay.
Yippee.
Break time. Go
We'll be
get
back
your
in a little bit.
snacks. Go get bathroom
Thanks,
break.
Clint.
You know how
Thanks
it
again,
is.
Clint.
Thank you guys. No,
Enjoy
thank you
your
guys.
rest.
Bro.
Oh, I'm fucking falling right asleep.
I feel like every time.
I was gonna say hi to Kukuga quick, but I guess she's not in yet.
Every time we do an episode with me, Clint, and Sliggy, we haven't had any rest. Every single time without fail. We always
And I'm
open and we're just
also-
talking about how little sleep we've had. We're
Yeah.
fucking around the water cooler trying to
Dude, viewers, let me
Wow.
tell you, podcasting is the hardest job you could have. Watching
I mean-
Valorant and then doing a podcast, hardest job you could have.
hardest job
Dude,
in America
Kurt,
right now.
Kurt, pull,
Oh
up,
my
pull up
God.
that video of those like greasy, oily men like gripping the spinning tube and putting it in. That's us. Our job is
No,
actually
us.
much harder than that.
All
Oh
right,
my
Clint.
God.
See you later, man.
All right, I'm getting out of here. Take care,
Hey,
guys.
Clint.
I'm gonna
Goodbye.
turn Kakuka on so you
Bye,
guys can
Bia.
hear.
Oh,
I
hello,
miss
Bea.
you.
Hello, Kukuga.
We're living
Alright.
the dream.
Should be able to
Good.
hear her now.
You're gonna be the voice of reason for us.
Am I?
Yes.
Yeah. You're gonna
Man, I
have
don't
to
know.
be.
Sliggy
Okay, I'll try
is
my
like
best.
is seeing Valorant in his sleep.
Hear me
Bren
out. I
hasn't
do not.
slept at all.
I don't even know how he's getting any sleep. Every single time I turn on my PC and I go on Twitch, Slee is live. I know that Valorant is going on if Slee is live, and he's live all the freaking time.
There's no breaks.
Not for him.
No, it's just no breaks.
Slicky's just not even. Is Slicky even here right now? No,
He's
not.
probably gone to
He's
bed.
an
He's
empty
just
chair.
pieced.
This is his time
He's
to get
left.
some sleep.
I wouldn't blame him.
I'm gonna use this.
I'm gonna use the
3-minute
restroom
period
real
to
quick.
chill.
Be right back. In 3 minutes, I'm gonna put on some wonderful copyright-free music. Oh my god, it's gonna be so loud. I'm sorry. All right,
Oh, whoa.
there we go.
That's all right.
Be right back. Oh my god, this is so quiet. All right, be right back.
Dude, this is my favorite song.
Bren and Alice hot mic incident. That was the voices inside my head, chat. Don't worry. Yeah, don't worry. It's all good.
Whew. All right. I'm back. Welcome, everybody.
Hello, hello.
Yippee! Shall we
All right.
podcast?
We shall podcast.
We shall, yeah.
Surely.
Yeah, the pod. I was born the fucking pod.
Huh?
Start
What,
this shit.
what does he mean by that?
I was
What?
born the pod.
All right,
Some people
well,
are born for great things. Me, I was born to talk about conspiracy theories in Austin, Texas.
I think
that an
that
edible?
you could be. Do you
Is
know
that your
Joe
Roman
Rogan?
Empire?
No, not really. I'm just
Dude,
gonna
I
make
feel
shit
like you
up.
guys are tight though, right? You and Joe.
What?
You call him Joe, right? Not Rogan.
Mr. Rogan?
No, you call him
I
Joe.
have to refer to him as Mr. Rogan. I'm his blood boy. He pays me to take my blood plasma and just transfuse it to become
That is
younger.
the craziest thing to me that people actually do that.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
my
it's
point.
a real thing. It's a real
Hi.
thing that the rich billionaires do. Anyway,
Me and Bren are going to continue to just be
Yeah.
idiots and mute each other the entire podcast. We have someone who's hopefully sane and knowledgeable. Kakuka, hello.
Try sometimes. Hey guys, how you doing?
She's very quiet.
hello.
How's Americas? We
Oh
haven't
my
talked literally
God.
since Madrid. I feel like.
No, we haven't. The men are covered in grease, Bea. The men, they're greasy in Americas.
They're greasy. They are greasy.
No match has gone the way it should. It's silliness across the board.
Yeah. I feel like in every region has been a little bit of the same. Like Valorant is so inconsistent right now. It's given my mental health. Like it's bad. Like you cannot like for surely say, oh my god, this team is actually so good because so many things are changing. I feel like.
Well, we're going to be doing that this episode.
Yeah, that's
And I
pretty
expect
much what we do here.
I
yeah.
expect you to have correct predictions. But we're gonna get into EMEA before all the little Timmies at home start complaining. If you want more about EMEA, go back and watch the last episode. We covered pretty much all of last week's episodes there. The only thing not covered was the last day there. So we're gonna talk about those last day matches and then get into predictions for playoffs. So it might be a little bit of shorter EMEA talk this time. But if you love Europe, go back and watch the last episode. Let's start though by breaking news. Riot demands chaos. They want the men to be muddier. They are nerfing Viper, and me when she's getting the Sky treatment, just slowly chipped away at patch after patch, like the budget of an important U.S. institution. Slowly, it is being increasingly decayed, and now they've changed. What have they changed?
This
One
needed to
Molly.
A bit of everything.
Yeah, they just tanked every part of a kit pretty much.
Yeah, it's basically less time on the smoke or the wall or combined, and then you got a smoke now. You can't pick that up, so it's like wherever you throw it, that's where it's committed to. You can't pick that one back up. And then Molly, in terms of your Viper Molly, Viper Spit, whatever you call it, there's only one of them. But it does last for a second longer, if that makes you feel any better, but it also costs more. So
I think this is a great change. I think this
it's
is
unbelievable.
yeah. I think this
we
is a
should be
great
singing
change.
the praises.
Honestly, this post plant meta that we're getting into on Sunset
Getting
post
into?
plants in B, getting into. I mean, we've been in the swing of it for fucking ages.
Say.
Yeah, but it's been like it's been amplified by some maps that went out of the pool or changes were made to it, but now it's just like it's rearing its head again because Icebox is back and Breeze is back.
Maybe just
and
remove Icebox again.
I would love that. I would love that for
my
more than that. I mean,
question-
I've been saying it from the rooftops. I was in the Riot Games office talking to Riot employees saying we should telling them to change the map pool. I was the one advocating for it, and they were like, oh yes, smile and nod and don't say anything and hope that the crazy fucking contractor leaves us alone. Just asking about the map changes again. That was me. I was pushing for those changes.
Is that I don't know if this is going to be the solution we want it to be if the map pool stays the same. I think we are currently in the most Viper reliant map pool we've ever had. She has like what, an 80% pick rate right now across the international league, which is ridiculous. The most played agent in the pool. And I think she needs changes and needs to be phased out. But when is this, my questions, when is this going to be instituted into pro play? Because if this is in effect for Shanghai, there is no time between playoffs in Shanghai. That is going to make that event so chaotic. But because the thing is, the schedule is so short this year that there is no good time to make changes like this. This is like, I think the biggest mid-season change we would have ever had to the game if this comes into effect. Because I think this really diminishes the power of Viper on a lot of the maps, and we're an incredibly Viper-dominated meta right now. If this happens midway through, I feel like the teams that end up going to Shanghai get kind of owned by a big change, and it's very comparable to like Sky disappearing at the beginning of this season. So I don't know. I like the changes for the state of the game, but I'm kind of worried at the future it presents, depending on when they institute this into competitive.
I think that the entire year is being very unforgiving with many things, right? Like we had, as you mentioned, the Sky change. I think that the conversation is just too wide, right? Because every single team came with a different proposal of what they wanted to do. Like especially in EMEA is like where I personally have seen the most outrageous, like kind of different perspectives onto things. And there's literally no time. And especially even there are some teams, like for example, Giants and Koi, that how much are they going to put into all of this? Because the rest of the year is already mostly screwed for them, right? But the changes from Viper, I think that she's still going to be playable. I think that it's mostly on timings and understanding how to work around everything. And especially because of the situation that we had this year, I do not think that pick rate is going to go down dramatically. I don't think so.
Yeah, I can see it being, I can still see it being like a really heavy pick, especially with the timing of it. So I can see it maybe going down to like a 60, maybe a 50. Some of the teams that like aren't going to Shanghai obviously have time to experiment, so we'll see that. I think like on the maps like Icebox, it doesn't really change too much. Your smoke pretty much goes down in the same place, especially over towards like B on defense, on attack, it's kind of the same thing. So it's very map dependent. But I'm still like, dude, I think it's sick. I think it's not great timing. That's like the only thing that I don't like, and it's the same thing as the Sky, right? Everything needs to be more organized. Like you finish champs, and then we do these big patch, and then everyone has the off season to work out what they're doing, and then everyone can actually cook up with some stuff, and then we don't have to talk about how Valorant's just muddy because all these teams are like scrambling around. We've got 3 weeks for 7 maps, and it'll be even worse for Shanghai. So the people go to Shanghai, you have 10 days for 7 maps if you don't want to play Viper. So yeah,
do we know if it's going to be that patch?
I mean, it should be, right? So it's kind of up to them in terms of what they call, right? Because it's like new agents is meant to be 2 weeks, right? And then new maps is like a month for when it's implemented. But when it's like new patches like this, I think it's up to them of what they want to decide. So I imagine playoffs is the same in Shanghai. Maybe this is implemented after this might be implemented, but we'll see. It's crap timing.
I feel like people will probably still pick her. It's just the duration changes is tough. It means your execute window on maps is low when already there was like that shadow nerf that made it lower, and this is now going even lower than that. So your execute window is really slow. I think things that I'm looking at as just a net positive of this, one snakebite change. I really like that. I think limiting stall is huge.
Right?
Yes. But in my opinion, I think that I don't mind Viper as a consistent force in terms of like executes and like having her smoke is like consistent conditioning, especially with the map pool we have. I think the real issue with the agent was how extreme the stall time was, and I think the snakebite changes fix that. I'm a little concerned about the smoke timing changes and how that's going to affect teams having to change comps and things in a short period.
Yeah. I mean,
It affects no, go Connor.
Okay, I was gonna say they addressed all the right issues. I agree. They fully like the after plant stuff of like if you want your smoke there, you now can't pick up your smoke and put it there. So the after plant stuff's good. So viewer wise, that's incredible. There's nothing worse than it's like, wait, why we're watching a duel and like why are they not defusing? Then you have to have like a little picture by picture. And it's like, oh, the smoke's up and there's mollies going out. Like,
I love those changes.
Oh, yeah. So those changes are good. And then now it kind of means like the agent's still viable on a lot of maps. And I think that's good as well. It just means that it's more playable to play against, right? You want to now get that molly out of them on defense, right? You can kind of just do a bit of pressure, find out where the Viper is. Let's see if you could do like one kind of set play to actually try and get the molly out. And that's a big win. And now you know that site's weaker. So yeah, in terms of like playability, like it's everything about this is sick, apart from the timing. That's it.
Yeah, I think that it's going to be good. We also need to think about how it affects the defense and how it probably changes the nuances of the sentinel part of the Viper, you know, as a strongholder and as Leaky, you were mentioning, like not picking up the orb. In maps like, for example, Icebox, Lotus, I think that we see it a lot, especially on to see when you're able to retrieve that orb and then use it for the retake and all of that. None of that is going to be in place. I do like the changes, though. I agree the timing is not perfect, but as I said, the year... It's I understand that it's being rough on teams, especially with all of the changes that we've had to stay on top of everything, like how the meta is changing, how everyone is doing in the season across regions as well, and then you have to seek all of these changes.
Yeah, I think this is also a great change because of the general trend that I've seen, which is teams that can't attack well. And the reason they can is because they don't pull out a lot of the mollies, because there's just always been an abundance with these comps that have been played. Like the amount of times, how many times have we seen a team like try and late hit into a site with 30 seconds left and they haven't pulled out both the snake bites?
I think of Lotus especially, where teams like try and late hit C
through,
and
the rotating
lose.
door on either A or C, and they haven't pulled out the snake bites, and then they just get stalled out massively. Because as much as those maps, like a Lotus is an attack side of the map, right? Because it's so easy to snowball your advantages with the easy orb access. It also does make for some very, I'm thinking mainly a bind, where bind is a map where it's pretty straightforward in terms of the macro, but you can just get stalled out if you don't play the map well enough on the attack side. And so I think it will open it up to make it hopefully more even now, because it was just, it was so accessible. I mean, $200 for like a molly that vulnerables you and does the damage, along with the threat of decay,
especially
was
with the Odin and everything. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's insane when it all adds up and how good teams have actually gotten around using the utils. So
yeah,
I'm excited for these changes. I think Shanghai is probably going to get treated as a tournament as well. If these changes are in for Shanghai, a lot of teams should be going into it as just like it's a boot camp sesh. Do you know what I mean? Like the only thing there is to play for is going to be the championship points at the end. Arguably, I like that we put a lot of prestige
at the
on
end
Masters,
because you will only get them if you win.
You only get it if you win.
I mean, while you're bringing up this topic, I wanted to bring up this tweet from Zeiss, coach, the one that coaches on Karmine Corp, about this exact issue, where he's talking about the turnaround time from these Masters tournaments being so slow that it disincentivizes players and teams from wanting to do this. We can paraphrase a little bit here, but we'll read the second paragraph. Look how most of the teams that went to Masters Madrid are struggling, because no one had time to reset/prepare and work on new stuff for stage 1, when teams that didn't qualify had 1 month to work and catch up to these teams. And it'll be the same situation for teams who qualify to Shanghai. We can skip ahead then a little bit and talk about the fact that, I mean, just the next paragraph, he's saying that on top of that, when you add nerfs or changes to the actual meta on a lot of maps, the actual teams that will qualify to Shanghai won't have much time to work towards stage 2 with those major changes coming in. The thesis of it all is that looking at these changes coming in last minute and continuing throughout the season, at the beginning of the season, the Sky nerfs coming in with not a lot of time to prep ahead of kickoff, then going into Masters Madrid, and now currently with these Viper changes, it means that our teams that are going to Masters are struggling when they get back to the international leagues. And I think the question of that is, does that disincentivize teams from wanting to go to these tournaments and play out all the way? I think it's an interesting question that the how shrunk this format has brought on.
I think that it wouldn't be like that if we hadn't had the Sky nerf at the beginning, right? If there hadn't been 2 major changes, maybe they wouldn't have this perspective. It's also based on the result on how the rest of the year is going so far and how teams are really struggling, because it's very difficult. Last year, for example, we saw it with Fnatic. After the entirety of the season, they didn't manage to win EMEA. Just because of the burnout. Like it's very taxing to play only 1 game a week, but doing it for such a long time that at some point you're going to be very, very tired. And if you add on top that if your team is doing super good, like you're smashing the rest of the region, you do want to go to this kind of tournaments. You want to like, you want the trophy on your back. You feel like you deserve it. You feel like you're working towards the right destination. But right now, I don't see many teams, especially I don't see a team in EMEA who would die to win Shanghai. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I think that's fair as well, because it's like it's weird in this game because obviously like a lot of people compare it to CS, but it's just not the same as CS because like the meta doesn't change and it's like so much the anti-strat is so much deeper. Like the anti-strat is so much deeper that you can show like 2 games on a map and then someone could literally just completely wreck that. Whereas in CS, it doesn't matter how many you play, because I've seen a lot of people doing that kind of talk at the moment. In terms of this, it's how you put it. Like because obviously the Masters trophy does mean a lot, and it's like it's pretty much this perspective, like where do you view everything? Do you put Masters up there or do you put champs so much higher? And definitely for sure Riot did a lot of emphasis this year to try and mean that champs mean more, but in return they have kind of nuffed the fact that Masters doesn't mean as much. Like Tokyo last time, you come 3, like you qualify to Tokyo, you get into champs, and then you have a week, like then you have a month after, so you can literally show all your stuff, and then you have that comfort of a whole month after where you can change all your stuff. So it's like, well, damn, we can go 100% here, and then we can chill, change all our stuff, and then go 100% again. Whereas now it's like if we go to Shanghai and we go 100% here, we're a little bit wrecked in the mid ground. Like, do we then like essentially just accept that we aren't gonna either win champs if that is the goal, or like even qualify? So. Yeah, I don't know. It's up to you where you kind of view it. I personally in a team, it would more just be like, obviously if you went to Masters, you want to try win it. But I would just be like, at the moment, if I don't qualify, I would just be using it as cope to just be like, doesn't really mean as much anyway.
I think you can see that.
It's also very important that this year we have 2 stages. We don't have LCQ, right? And you remember, for example, last year, the teams that were in Tokyo, most of them, they don't have to go through the last chance qualifiers. So then they will have that break. But now, no matter what, you won't have it. It won't exist. So you either take everything or you do as Lee was saying. And
we've already seen that from teams, right? That didn't go to Masters Madrid. We've seen, we saw kind of the fall off and the struggle for Loud to rebuild themselves, only really starting to hit their form at the end of the season. And on the flip side, we saw a DRX that looked rough in kickoff, take the time off and come back and look so much better in stage 1.
They got a little bit lucky with the way their roles worked out, because Flashback ended up... because of stepping back and away from the roster because of personal reasons. Sure. So they did get quite fortunate. But I see your point. I think it's still valid. And I think it also goes back to the format discussions that we were just talking about non-stop.
Yes, the whole year.
Non-stop, but and it is going to be better next year. That's the thing to keep in mind, because it's like you said, Kukuka, it's been ruined because of the Sky changes at the beginning, which they just did beforehand, which ruined the prep for all these teams. And it's also compounded with the fact that there's no adequate breaks for teams that actually do attend these big events. I hate this aspect of it because I don't want Masters to become a Mickey Mouse tournament. I want it to be something that we actually look forward to every year, and as a bit of a, the teams actually look forward to going to it and actually want to win it.
Yes.
But unfortunately, it's just it has fallen to the wayside a little bit this year with all the format changes, with the fact that we only saw 8 teams at the first one and now 12 and then 16, because they are trying to build up to champs being the big crowning jewel of the year.
I think we have something very special in Valorant with Masters meaning something, right?
Yeah.
With it being such an important tournament. You look at a lot of other esports. For instance, I'm going to use the League as an example. They have 2 international events a year. They have Worlds and MSI. People don't talk about MSI winners at the same level whatsoever as Worlds. Worlds is the crowning achievement. It's the big thing. You look at Counter-Strike. Winning an ESL Pro League is cool, but people look at the majors as the big thing, as the major thing. In Valorant, the community almost holds Masters and Champions to the same level. People use the word world champions to talk about people who have won a Masters tournament.
Or just title winner, right?
Yes, title winner, whatever that is. Yeah. But I think fans almost hold it to the same level. And I think that's something that we have in this esport that is uniquely special.
Yeah.
We have 3 big international events a year, and every time people feel like they mean something. You look at the fans, you look at the players, you see the emotion. It shows that these are not just Mickey Mouse one-offs, but a tournament that really matters to the sport and matters to the teams. And my concern, my biggest worry is that this format, with the quick turnarounds, with things like that, if there's agent changes going into these tournaments, it'll just continue to put little asterisks in front of these events.
Yeah.
That'll then, over time, degrade people's value of Masters tournaments.
Yeah,
There's been that at prior Masters events, though, when you've had visa issues and teams haven't been able to attend. So it
But
has been
look
the case
at Masters
before.
Madrid. People are holding Sentinels to such a high level, even though there could be that
Yeah.
stuff. I
It
think
was
it's
a sick
something that
tournament.
it'll, over time, be degrade if this continues.
I don't think it will, though. I think this will get corrected next year because we're going to have a more spread out schedule, which they've already said. And I hope as well that they've learned from their lesson of nerfing Viper and Sky. And they've kind of said as well, they hinted at it in the Balance blog post where they were saying they're going to slow down with a lot of these big heavy hitting. They're going to do some heavy hitting nerfs and then they're going to slow down and see the effect on them. But I think that it's just, unfortunately, the growing pains of having Valorant as an esport where they've just taken time to work out all of these things. Because last year, people were complaining about not seeing teams in between Tokyo and Champs because you could qualify for Champs off of the back of Tokyo. And you just didn't witness some teams for the month plus, which is excellent for the teams because they get to prep for that event. But there was always complaints about there not being enough regular season games overall. And then we have 2 splits now this time around, which I don't think actually works out as more regular season games. I could be wrong. I mean, it is because there's one more team, but they've split it out over
This
2
season seems
stages.
better for the fans, worse for the teams. Well, last year's format with the big gap was better for the teams and much worse for the fans.
2025 should be better for the teams because they're going to give them adequate breaks, and also the fans should still be winning as well because you still get to see your team play in between these big moments, in between the big tournaments.
My biggest question
in theory
is how do we do a better job? How does Riot? Great question. How could the format do a better job of rewarding teams who win international tournaments? Because right now, I feel like it can be somewhat punishing in the lack of turnaround time. Is there an argument to be made for giving international tournament winners buys or like easier runs in group stages, something like that?
Yeah, you got to do some kind of point system. You got to do something. Winning a Masters cannot be the same. And I mean, no disrespect to the teams because these 3 teams are losing a lot. Winning a Masters cannot be the same as beating Bleed, DFM, and GE in your region. It shouldn't be the same. And it doesn't even mean that much. It's actually 3 of the bonus points that you can maybe get for 4th. It doesn't even mean the actual 90% of winning, beating those teams that it actually does. So it needs to have some kind of emphasis on the rest of the year, not for 4th place, but in terms of like actually getting to the events. And I get the whole thing that you want like the teams at the end of the season to be like a good form, and winning a tournament early on shouldn't like make sure you get to champs, but these teams need to get compensated for the fact that they go into these events. They're showing all of their stuff and then they're coming back and they're getting wrecked. They don't have that extra 5 weeks. They have to get compensated somehow for that. You can't give them free champ points. That means that you can maybe come 4th, but you probably won't come 4th because then you don't go to playoffs where you can get those champ points anyway. Like it's
just fixated on the number 3. They just want you to get 3 points for things. They just 3. For it doesn't matter when during the year, you just get those 3 points. I think that Riot in this case this year has missed the mark in many things. I feel like, especially with the conversation that we're having and the realization throughout the year, Masters, Shanghai right now and how it's being perceived by the rest, it's going to be an exciting tournament, but as we're saying, people are not really scared to be missing it. But then what happens when we come back and the fact that the group system ceases to exist, and some teams are going to be playing for nothing for the rest of the year, it messes up everything with like the point system and everything, because it's not as fair, if that makes sense. Like, for example, if Fnatic is really hungry for points and they're playing against the Giants that has nothing to play for the rest of the year, is that really like, do games in stage 1 matters the same as stage 2?
Yeah, I mean, it takes into account stage 1 and stage 2 for the playoffs, I think, for stage 2.
But stage
right?
1, you don't. Stage 1 winners don't get a champ slot. You do for stage 2. Like there is inherently higher reward for top placement in stage 2.
So when we spoke to Riot, we spoke to Riot about the format ahead of time, and one of the things, this was like my major concern with running this system, was that you don't scale the rewards adequately for actually getting deeper into the season. Like, you want to reward teams, that they have a balancing act of wanting to reward teams for like attending Madrid and winning it, but then also not too much so that they make the rest of their season redundant, but also you want to encourage teams to go. And I think they've kind of missed the mark on that. But I know that they ran simulations to like work out what would happen in this scenario. Like, if a team won this, and if they ended up attending the first event but didn't attend the rest of them, or this, that, and the other. And they ran a lot of simulations to try and come to a format that would work with all the limitations that were also being applied to them, just based on scheduling. Because that's another thing that they had to work around, which is the scheduling of these events at these particular times. But I mean, we've been over that as well in prior episodes and talked about that.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's annoying that this year's worked out like this, but I don't mean to glaze Riot super hard here, but I do know that they have capable people that are aware of the mistakes, and I know that they are looking to actively rectify them.
Yes.
It's not a case of that they're working on a product with just a level of apathy and they're willing to phone it in, and they're like, this is it from now on.
We're
This
not
is how it's
overwatching
going to
it.
be. It's a shame that the year has, that caveat added to it with these major events, but I don't think it's going to be the case moving forward.
I think this will be the worst year of
No, I agree with you.
John Riot, are you listening?
John Riot.
Please, I need health insurance.
Bren, Bren trying to climb the corporate ladder is what the crowd says.
Yep.
But I do think this will be the worst year in terms of format. Hopium.
Yeah,
Because
no, I
next
agree.
year they're doing the big stretch. Hopium. At least that's what they've said. There should be more time off between events for the top teams, and they should be rewarded more. And I'm very hopeful that they learn from these patch changes. We still don't know when these Viper changes will be instituted and how much that might own some teams. But I think that if we can look to history, Riot has tended to the path of history is slow, but it tends towards a better format.
Yeah, exactly
which is nice at least. And I will say that Riot is pretty receptive to feedback. Me also trying to climb the corporate ladder and glazing Riot, but they do ask a lot of people in the community for feedback on the format and stuff. And I'm hopeful for the future, and I love my corporate overlords. Let's move on to the next topic. But that is serious. But also, I keep giving me a job, guys. I really like that. Let's talk about EMEA. This was the EMEA topic. We're 30 minutes in. We haven't talked about EMEA. Bea, what the fuck is happening in EMEA? Team
man.
Vitality, are they doomed?
Oh, doomed? What do you mean doomed?
Just a
Expand
very
on doomed.
reactionary title. We decided to go overreactionary with the title.
That's what we
Are they
did.
Wait, do you mean reactionary or
fucked?
reactive?
Overreactionary.
Me when I'm a reactionary and I'm pushing conservative policy relating to Vitality. Okay. Yeah. They've beaten Giant X.
Mhm.
It's still possible that they make playoffs,
Yes.
but it
Permutations
seems
are
like this team
crazy.
had such high hopes at the beginning of this season with Safe, with Trex coming back in. People were really, I was really high on this team, and I think they've stumbled a little bit. Is there any hope left that this team can still clinch playoffs and live up to the hype?
I think that for me, Vitality is a prime example of, I mean, if they make playoffs, good for them. I'm looking forward to what they can do on stage 2. There are many things that I like about how the team is working and it's evolving, but there are some other things that are lacking. I remember before the season even started, and I'm sorry to bring back the Sky changes, I was talking to Salah, and they were one of the teams that thought the Sky nerf was not going to affect them at all. They had already worked out the entire plan, and they were not willing to change anything. And remember that Vitality is one of the teams that changed almost everything, right? And they also had a player joining in later. So they had the player joining in later, changing the initial plan that they had, and these new players that are new to tier 1, and this kind of constant pressure, plus every single team doing different shit and a different meta being established. So it's a very long to-do list. In my head, I am looking at some of the new players like qu'ils. I think that he has a lot of potential. I think that him on the get-go has given some surprises. I do think that they are still not consistent enough. I think I see how they can make playoffs because they're almost there. But I do not think that if they were to make it to Shanghai, they would be that big of an opponent, because in every single match that they play during this stage, they've been winning their map picks, but they've been struggling. I don't think they've won a single one of the opponent's map picks. And they go to that third map, they manage sometimes to get the wins, but sometimes it really falls down to individual performance of just Safe having a 4K, or just them literally holding angles for 1 minute and then acting onto something. I think that it is a team that with some more time could be a surprise, but to me, not yet.
Yeah, they have some weaknesses in the map pool, I think. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, Sliggy.
No,
but,
you go.
Dude, their Lotus, I was looking at it, and I think they've made changes to it, because they were playing a meta comp on it a while ago, and they've switched to the Neon comp. But there's plenty of footage to look at about how teams play this Neon comp, but it was just, it was bizarre to me. I think they're trying to find their footing on certain maps like this. I pulled the pistol round, which was on the second half for Vitality, and I was just so confused in terms of what they were going for with that, because I don't know. It's if you want to pull it, Kurt, and I can just talk through it because it's a pretty long clip. But they go for an aggressive rubble fight with the Neon, which is pretty standard stuff. Like, you can contest rubble, and you can contest most areas actually with the Neon really effectively. That's why teams play it on Lotus. But they lose grip of reality, it feels like, because they just overpush, runner dies, and then they hold with an A setup that isn't even particularly set up for fighting for rubble control in the first place, because their Viper wall is set up for like BC. If you want to pull the clip, Kurt, I can show you and talk through
sorry,
it.
I'm having some troubles, but I think I got it now.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, you can go into minimap mode when you pull up the clip as well, Kurt, just to see what I'm talking about. So runner goes in, runner dies. They're trying to fight aggressively here. It's not a crunch or anything. They were given A control. They back up and concede the space. And you can see that they set up their Viper wall for, it's just a pistol round strat where they're going across B and C for the retake. And they go for this triple hold over towards A. And B's entirely open. They could have, Giants, if they had decided to explore somewhere else, could have just had a free takeover towards B and C, but instead they choose to refight A, which honestly could have been best case scenario for them. But in Vitality, they don't have the Viper wall to exit out. It's not like they can fight over this and then Trex can take contact and TP behind their own Viper wall so that they can escape out of here. They just have miles and miles of no man's land to cross if they want to contest into this. And they are so overcommitted into this rubble fight now, which I think is always going to favor the attack side when they can pick and choose the timings with their own Viper wall to put up and down. And it's so fucking scrappy, and it comes down to just like, again, hitting shots, because Giants aren't a particularly great team anyway at using their util and understanding of how to work the map. But moments like this highlight to me that they still have these weaknesses with their map pool, I think, especially with maps like Lotus. And some of them are a little bit better, but just it's never convincing with Vitality. There's always a bit of dodginess to it, it feels like, with every time that they win, that just make you a little bit uncertain for them. But I don't know if that's just because every team is also feeling like that to a certain degree as well. Like, the map pools are just, the teams don't have, it's not like the end of champs where you're seeing teams of like 5 map pools who are winning it all, like EG and Fnatic. Because of all the changes we've had, teams are being set back on a regular basis. So I don't know if I'm just getting ahead of myself, but I'm watching this Vitality team, and I never feel good about predding them. I never feel good at all, like that they can win a match.
Yeah, I think so. I got like 2 things with this team. First of all, so what I was hearing rumors like at the beginning that because obviously they were meant to be banging in Prague, is what Magnum said in an interview, and then from what I heard, they were playing like Deadlock on like 3 maps or something, and then I think they lost their first game on Deadlock, and then I think they just kind of just went, well, this plan doesn't work, and now we're not really seeing it, so they're going back to like more standard comps. So I think kind of what you're saying, Bren, where their map pool doesn't look great. I think they probably had an idea and then they like bailed on that idea. So then they're kind of playing catch up a little bit. And I think that's showing. I think my main worry about this team is sometimes they'll like lose a bad rounds and then they just look mentally boomed. And I feel like they're like a proper momentum team when I watch them. And it looks like when they're kind of out of it, unless they have that like hero play to boost them back up, I just kind of see the lacking of just like, I don't know, just confidence in a lot of their like play style. So I think they're like a big momentum team, or they need like individuals to bail them out a little bit. But yeah, I think maybe the whole Deadlock experience, or it was a massive setback to be honest. I think maybe they went for something and then now they're kind of trying to claw back to get all their map pools to a decent level.
This map also, like Safe was just waiting playing against a double duelist, Safe was just waiting here in shop, just ego peeking the operator. They would get the first kill, they would freeze for 40 seconds, and then they would just rush onto side, which is all right. But it was like the constant for like 5 rounds in a row. I don't know.
Yeah.
Look,
Well,
yep.
Was this the map where the round before this? Where was it? The round before this, or was it like the second round where they won pistol and then they lost the second round because Safe bought a rifle? They did the FPX buy, right, where you get the rifles, and then he's in A main and he has a rifle on his own, and then they just push him and then they just take the rifle. Like people are like the little stuff like that, where it's like the FPX buy is like super sick, but when it goes wrong, and if you don't have like the discipline and like the kind of a lot of set protocols and where people should be with the guns, it just kind of it kind of falls apart a little bit. And I think we're starting to see the cracks on some of these rounds, I guess is the easiest way to say it.
So pretty unlikely that they, I mean, even making playoffs unlikely, almost impossible that this is going to be one of the Shanghai teams for EMEA.
I don't know about
I don't
that.
think so, really.
Yeah, I don't know.
As much
Yeah.
as we've been shit talking them, this is the thing. Like
You guys think?
we
I
could
mean,
do this to
EMEA is
every
such a
EMEA
crazy
team.
with a
region
lot of
right now.
these EMEA teams.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. Everything that we just said here, I feel like you could copy paste that for so many
Yeah.
teams.
Yeah.
That's the issue.
I mean, Fnatic is.
All I can tell you is we're not winning Shanghai. I don't think so.
I think that's fair.
It's
I think
not
that's
looking
very
good.
fair.
What I was going to ask though is, let me take away that modifier. Who knows? They could win Shanghai. They're looking fine. They could win it all.
Guys, it was a joke.
It was a joke. It was a prank.
It was a prank.
But time off. They have a month to watch Shanghai chill out. Presumably, is this a team that is going to be like a top contender with some time if we
think so.
look towards the next stage?
Yeah, I think it will suit them well. I think having that extra time to get everything right, I think it will suit them well. Maybe the Viper nerfs might hit them a little bit. I don't know where they'll go like with that, but good amount of time. They're in that's like the best spot to be if you want to make champs, really, like that kind of fourth. Let's say you just make playoffs and then you just miss out, or like you just miss out to the playoffs. That's kind of like the best spot to be, where your score's not too bad. You'll probably make playoffs next split if you have like a good performance. That's like the sweet spot, to be honest, if you want to peak coming into champs. So
Yeah, best thing for them would be to make it to playoffs, win the first match, and then lose. And just
Which is
get that
mad
extra
to say.
point,
It's
not go
mad
to
that we say
China,
it.
and just
Yeah.
use the rest of the time, take your points, hoard them, and just wait a month.
Okay.
Yeah, I think they'll benefit from time. They could still make Shanghai. Honestly, they are like week to week kind of looking better. And the Gentlemates one, I don't want to look at too much. They just got annihilated. Like that was just unreal coach kind of did a little bit on that one. But they had two maps to kind of anti for, so I think that was maybe always going to happen. But yeah, I think I don't know, dude. It's like everyone in the only team that I have confidence with in EMEA is maybe BBL at this point. It just looks so good. Like BBL could win Shanghai. If you ask me who's the most likely
No.
to win Shanghai, it's BBL or
BBL.
Fur.
Wait, guys,
and they're
okay.
not reinventing the wheel. To me, that's the most crazy things. Like
Guys.
especially against Navi, you would just see them holding the sides, just not doing anything aggressive. I'm just gonna wait
Yeah.
on you, and I'm
They're
just gonna win you
structured.
on pure fundamentals.
Spitting.
I'm just gonna wrap you up, playing perfect trades. Everything is falling onto place. Literally, it's crazy how so many like. They're the other side of the spectrum. We have the teams that have innovated so much, crazy comms, crazy executes, this and that, and then there's BBL playing EMEA Valorant.
I mean, I
The
feel like
exact
that's
same in Americas
consistent
with Crew.
across the same. DRX, consistent,
Yep.
normal, Korean Valorant. BBL,
Yep.
good, honest EMEA Valorant. Crew,
Yeah.
the most honest America's
Yep.
team. They're wearing their blue jeans. They're fucking out here. And all those teams are owning. But, okay, this isn't a topic, but I've been in
can make it a
the
topic.
soup. I have not had time to watch
Wait, we
EMEA.
should make this
How
a
the
topic.
We are making this a
Yeah,
topic.
let's make it a
Kurt.
topic.
Okay, the topic.
What's the
How the
title?
fuck is BBL good? That's my question.
Whoa.
Wait. Let me put in context. Let me tell you. First of all,
Whoa.
Turkey, you guys are awesome. Your country was super cool when I went. Nice, great work out there, fellas. But I have not had time to watch EMEA. And as far as I could, this team was always so, like mid-maxing. What changed? What has been the spark to turn it
Simple.
around?
Simple.
Yeah.
Is not,
Fundamentals.
Simple hasn't joined the team from CS, but Simple is best. Like in this context, like it's keep your game plan simple. You will win if you just have just good ideas, basic ideas. You don't have to reinvent
Did
the
they
wheel.
always have this potential? Do you guys think? And it was like a matter of time.
They showed a little bit in the off season.
Yeah.
Like at least the new players coming in kind of looked right. Like Riazi had like a really good event in an off season. I can't remember what event it was. And I was like, individuals like not looking too bad. And then it feels like the individuals kind of hit really high levels there. I tell you what, the coach and Pora really deserve like a lot of credit because their overall game plan against teams, even when I was looking at Koye on Breeze, like the overall actual anti and how they want to play macro against this team is like really, really good. Like I can see the overall bigger picture of how they want to approach it against this team, like half to half, and it's impressive. And they are just great at trading. Individuals are stepping up and just making sure they make the most out of util. I'm watching Brave on Split just having like the best Omen flashes every single time when they're coming out. It's so well timed. It looks much better than Charles doing it, and everyone's playing off it. Like we always have people swinging off it. Same with Riazi with like Sky flashes. Everyone's playing off of it. They look like they look one of the most together teams in EMEA, and it's just it's essentially just like the basics well done. It's nothing too extreme, but I will say the anti-strat and how they approach matches is really impressive.
Did you like my writing?
Yeah, it's solid.
I did it for you because they told me that it was super annoying for you.
I'm gonna have no job soon. Everyone's just taking my stuff. It's crazy.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
No, but going back to BBL, I think that they hold some similarities to Gen.G during like kickoff. I think that the silent work that they're put in there, because after kickoff and after the first week, everybody was like, okay, BBL is going to be the same as they were last year. Let's just count them out. Let's just put that team at the bottom and let's keep going with our predictions. But it is surprising that they are the team that has, even with everything changing, they decided how they wanted to play the game, and that it was not going to be affected. Like the change was not going to be in changing compositions, giving people different roles. For example, something that we're seeing a lot in foot, to put the two Turkish teams one-on-one. And it's actually working for them. And it makes you think that even if they don't make it to Shanghai, which, they probably will at this point, for stage 2, if they manage to keep doing this, it could be a great progression for them.
Sure.
Yeah, I think we did a similar thing with Heretics and BBL, where we kind of just went, last year that this was this team. Even though they've changed it up, we kind of hold them to that like standard. And I think that's where a lot of us kind of messed up, because actually, like those two teams especially look like next level compared to last year. And K-Corp.
Well, I'd like to apologize to BBL. I wasn't familiar with their game. I wasn't familiar with their game.
You should watch it. It's actually very enjoyable.
Yeah, they do good stuff.
Man, when I have time, I would.
Nowadays, saying that a VALORANT match is enjoyable is saying something. So
that is
go watch it.
And she's right. And she's spitting. Yeah. I just wanted to take a minute to bat chest that we've done some whining this episode about the muddy men, the format, the future, the changes. But I just think one thing that's so fucking cool about VALORANT is how you get like countries that had no representation, basically no top level teams in other esports, just start owning. Like this year in Americas, both the Latin American teams going crazy. Crew from 0-10 to now the only flawless team left, beating the best in the league. You have like both of the Turkish teams, honestly, after like the narrative around Turkey being so like, oh, they have potential, but they're never making it there for so long, turning it around. Like Foot, I have watched some Foot stuff and they've been pretty impressive, especially early in the season. We're talking about BBL being good. I feel like it's just kind of sick how often like we change the tone of like which regions are on top. It's not like CS where it's just
we take it for granted.
A million Danish people always winning. There's like so much diversity in top players and top teams that I think is really cool about this esport.
Yeah, no, I back everything there. It's great for the game as well in terms of like viewership and people that kind of get interested.
It builds so many fan bases that other games don't have.
Yeah, does make it impossible to follow every region.
Yes.
but it's cool. It's very awesome that we have just like a global game. But we really do sound like Riot representatives right now.
Bren, great work out there.
It's so awesome that Valorant is such a global game. We hope all of you
that is actually like
it.
a slide deck ass thing to say, but it's true.
It really is.
But it's true. I actually really love this esport, and it's cool. Okay, let's
your format sucks.
Yeah, well, I mean, yes,
we're fucking great.
Yes.
The format.
Riot Games, I love you. Please, God, fix the format. 11 teams. Oh, we didn't even talk about the groups format. Don't look at the qualification methods.
God.
Oh, I'm gonna eat my notebook. Next topic, chat. Karmine Corp, c'est la meilleure équipe. Je vous jure qu'ils sont toujours bons. Sliggy, qu'est-ce que tu vas penser à cette forme du Karmine Corp? Form.
No, dude, that took me back to like when I was taking French GCSEs. Dude, I really let down my teacher. We're doing like you have to do a listening exam. You have to do a French listening exam. I'll be honest, I didn't pay much attention to it. So, so then when we had to do like the actual listening test, and pretty much did what you did. She just spoke for like 30 seconds in French and then looked at me and like expecting an answer, and I just shook my head, no, and she just looked so disappointed, and I was like, oh, okay, yeah, this one's not going great. So yeah, that took me back a little bit. Jesus. What was the actual question? Any translators?
The translation is the title is what I said first, which is Cope. Karmine Corp is the best team. I swear they've always been this good, or I swear they've always been good. And then I ask you, Sliggy, what do you think of their current form? But I don't know the word for form in French, so I just said form.
Said form. Yeah, I mean that works. I mean, do you know what? We saw them cancel a strat, and I think that's big progress for them. I'm watching this team, and I've never seen any kind of mid-rounding. And there was it might have been like, honestly, I would expect most people watching to say, guys, maybe we shouldn't hit here because it was a real dumper util, but it's still progression, and you got to take that big win. So yeah, I think heavy fraggers. The coach does a lot in terms of like actually just making sure they have new comps which keep it fresh so that teams can't work out how they like to play and what their weaknesses are. But in terms of like the actual mid-rounding, dude, NRG should learn from K-Corp. They're in a similar spot, to be honest. Like NRG should really learn from K-Corp. Like this is how you handle the fact that your defaults maybe aren't too good and you essentially can't mid-round too well. Like this is a prime example. New comps, nice new strats, not old strats, refresh, new strats, and just different comps, and people don't know how to play with it. You're good for a season, and then you can switch it up. So in terms of K-Corp, I'm still worried for them, because I think they just have a massive mid-round issue. Like I think that the calling's starting to get exposed a little bit, and that worries me. But they're getting bailed out by new comps, new defaults, and heavy fraggers in terms of narrate. And Martin's been lacking a bit, which is worrying also, because I feel like he needs to be fragging higher than he is.
I felt like this series was quite fraudulent, though.
This series was a struggle. I was casting it with Lauren, and especially this map. There were many rounds where, honestly, props to Koi, because they managed to bring in some new stuff that, you know, they were very close to winning this and probably changed the entire fate of their year. But maybe it was a little bit too late. I agree, and I also said I mentioned it during the cast that the mid rounding for Casey in so many scenarios, you just see that it's just not good. I think it's something that they can work on. There were two pauses that Eng and Zaish had that were literal gold. Like the outcome of like the effect that he can have just saying a couple of things to them, it's crazy. It reminds me of when Sliggy was in Liquid.
It feels a lot when I'm watching this team where it's just like, oh, they're lost. You need to give them new direction. It does.
Yeah, literally. That's what I mean. Like you can close this. They could perfectly close this map, but they were struggling a lot. I think that the honeymoon period of what happened in kickoff already, like it's over. Yes, you came in with a plan. It was a great plan. Like, as you're saying, all the set rounds and everything that they had at the beginning of the year is just crazy. It's good that they can still fabricate some more and keep surprising us with that, but they have to build further, right? Like that is already in the past for me, at least in my head, and I think that they should do the same and try and find new ways to feel comfortable with what they're doing, especially when the plan changes.
Sure. I want to keep this moving because we're 15 minutes into EMEA and we've covered two topics. Oh no!
I have something to say on Karmine Corp.
Okay.
I think you do need to shoot them a bit of bail after this series. Not in the sense that, like, I don't know. I think the doom and gloom. Look at the broader picture. Pistol rounds won. They won one pistol round. It was on Icebox, the map that they lost because they couldn't hold back A hits over and over again. Bind, the amount of gun rounds they won versus Koi, dude. Koi were fucking, I don't know what they were doing. They were hanging on by a thread, man. Because the amount this team saves, they are just never trying to win rounds. They're never trying to win rounds. And also, the gun rounds, they can't shoot. They can't shoot. Like, Karmine Corp were getting first kill advantages left, right, center. I'm pretty sure it was like 5 gun rounds, I think, that Koi won, by the
But
way, in
throughout
this
the
map.
year, we can count, and I can tell you is like at least 15 or 20. Like, it's just crazy in how many situations it's still like a 4v5, and they're like, nope.
Yeah, we don't want it. We don't want it. We're gonna go back. So
Yeah.
so like Koi permanently had money, but it just felt like they were never winning, even though they had guns almost on every other round, because they would lose a player, give up on a round. But not to say those issues aren't still there for Karmine Corp, but this particular series, the way it feels, just like on paper, feels way worse because of the fact that they lost so many pistol rounds and bonus round conversions. Like when you lose that many, you should be losing the series, to be honest. Koi should have won this shit. They absolutely should have wrapped this up, but Karmine Corp still managed to win it out, especially on Bind. They managed to really just absolutely diffed them in a lot of ways. I mean, go to performance on this tab on Bind.
4Ks from narrate.
Oh, sorry, economy might be. Go to economy, and it will show you buy rounds at the end there. 21 played, 14 won, 15 played by Koi, 5-1, and it went to OT. Went to OT in the map, man. Like that's unbelievable. I mean, I was speed running it at the beginning when we were covering Pacific when I was watching that map, but I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it, man. But yeah, I think they've been made to look worse because of that aspect, and I'm not as worried.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Any team that can win a map when they lost double pistol, like, you got to give them full props, or you need to start looking at the other team a little bit. But,
I think a
yeah,
good
it should be
example
full
is
props.
BBL. Like BBL, I'm gonna rock the numbers because I think I have them here. But at the beginning, let me see. Right now, right in the first, I divided the halves in 6 rounds and 6 rounds. BBL has a 38% win rate on the first 6 rounds. On the last 6 rounds of a half, they have a 72. It's fucking
so they're just gonna get
outrageous.
started.
It's just like,
Yeah.
you know, we just don't care about the beginning. It's all about warming up and then destroying you.
That is
Wow.
a crazy stat. Yeah.
I have them numbers, Bren.
Yeah, the numbers. I was
numbers, what do they
listening to the
mean?
cast with Lauren, you pulling out the statistics.
Dude, the
Oh,
Navi
it's
one
even
is
crazier
the Navi
now.
one's the most
Navi
mental.
right now, throughout the entire year, is a 75 win rate in bonus round. Right now in the stage is 88%
Yeah, they're
win rate in the
crazy.
bonus after winning
Bonus,
pistol.
that's
Because they do
rounds,
the old FPX buy, which they
They
came up
are.
with.
It's
Yeah,
them.
but
like,
I'm
they
giving
do it
people
really
the
well.
freaking numbers. Can someone
Yeah.
do anything about that?
Yeah.
Why are teams not picking up? Why is it something that just, you know, some teams started doing, some teams do not
But it's
invest the
'cause-
time
I
in
actually think
in creating the
every
protocols
team-
so you know how to play that second round and the third round. Does that?
It's definitely some big focus, because it's like going back to the Vitality game, because they tried to do it and they got wrecked because of it. It's a lot hard, like it's a lot harder to pull off. Like it's very impressive what they do in terms of the second round anti-eco, like three guns going through. So it's one of those things that like most teams should be focusing on. I fully agree, but it's hard, dude. We couldn't do it in our team. We like the discipline
It's
in
very
our team.
complicated.
We
yeah.
like the
I
discipline.
mean,
like,
they've
no
been
rifles.
perfection in it for like 3 years, so you know, good for
Yeah,
them.
no, they're beasts. Yeah.
Let's talk about who's going to make it in EMEA playoffs, because every region is up in the air, but I feel like EMEA is especially up in the air. It is
Good.
ridiculous, the amount of
Sentinels.
permutations. Right now, only 2 teams are technically mathematically eliminated, Giant X and Koi. Everyone else still has a chance to make
Team
it.
Liquid does
And every
3%
team
chance.
left technically has a chance to be first seed, except Team Liquid. Shout out to user I'm Serb on Reddit for putting this nice graphic together with some of the permutations. If you scroll through, Kurt, I mean, these look like fucking spiders. I don't know what's going on. They're like, what is this? Bea, you're so smart. Please explain this to me.
Can I like disregard the graphic and just tell you, because I have the permutations in front of
Sure.
me that came very nicely. You wrote down for us. Okay, so if BBL win either of their matches, they're locked 100%. If KC win, they lock. If Fnatic win, they lock. If Vitality win and at least one of KC or Fnatic lose, or BBL loses both of their matches, then Vitality can lock. It's very complicated. Like just think about what team you wanted to make it. Foot wins a map, they lock 100%. Like that's how simple it is. They don't even need to win the entire series. I think that also the map differential, this is going to be crazy because I fully think that we're gonna end up qualifying teams on round differential.
I think it's
Because-
going to be the same in Americas too. It's going to be
Yeah,
ridiculous.
it's gonna
Yeah.
be close. Yeah.
And they're
Yeah.
gonna think of all those rounds that they lost, that they threw.
Yeah. Staring
Oy,
at the
oy, oy.
ceiling in your bedroom.
Yeah, it hurts. But honestly, they still got the thing of the fact that Shanghai is probably a disadvantage, so maybe they're celebrating.
Honestly, I'm just very happy that we got to the last week of the stage, and the stakes are so freaking high for for most of the teams, and
Are
especially
there
we have
any
games this
impactless
week.
matches?
Sorry?
Are there any impactless games?
Doesn't look
No,
like
I mean, I guess
if
games
Foot
can
win
be
a map-
made impactless.
If Foot
later.
win,
Yeah,
a- win their
maybe-
first map, then the rest of the series is useless, right?
Sure.
But it still
Yeah,
kind of has
but-
impact because it's like the both groups go combine anyway.
it's even if
Exactly.
Foot-
Since
look-
it's cross group, what happens in one affects in the other. Like
Yes.
Foot can win a map, but then also BBL can be helped on their side, you know?
Yeah,
and
but
we
if
have
Foot wins a map and then like loses the series, there's still value there because of the championship point. Copium.
Yeah, of course. But we have Fnatic, Navi. We have the Team Heretics KC, which was the finals that we had a kickoff. We have Foot BBL. Like, I think we have so many good matches that I'm happy that they hold value because I think that last year there was so many instances where it's like they're playing
it's the worst thing.
for reps.
Yeah.
Yay!
Like literally a game that didn't matter. You could have first seed against last seed, but it would still matter because obviously they need to get through to the top 6. You could argue that that game would be more important than every game apart from the Masters final, to be honest, and you'd be right as well. It's mad. You could literally have a game that in theory doesn't mean anything for group stage into Shanghai. You would get more from winning that game than
It's
you would.
crazy that you get
any
more
other game
from
in
like
Masters.
beating beating like DFM than you get for like winning the semifinals at Masters.
Yeah, it's stupid.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Definitely,
Yep.
Definitely applied
Yep.
that feedback. We gave the feedback early on, but yeah, I don't know.
It's okay. Next year will be better.
Next year,
it
every
comes-
issue
Yeah,
will be
baby.
fixed, and we'll
Yes.
live in
Yeah.
society.
Best of
if-
ones next year. Best of ones.
Could you
No.
imagine?
No, babe.
Yes. Yes. I'm gonna pitch a full plan. You'll see.
But Bea's gonna become our. She's in her like. She's in her Stalin era. She's format Stalin, and it's gonna pitch a 7-year plan to fix everything.
I
No.
don't want that.
I don't know what that means. You're not Stalin.
Anyway.
Let's move on. Jesus Christ. Predictions, fellas.
Dude, it's a BB hosting masterclass. Let's go. I'm down for it. Let's go. It's a Bren's. It's the Bren's.
Dude, every episode that's me and you, Bren, dissolves into fucking chaos.
It really does.
BBL Giant X, and our predictions are.
No
Yep.
surprises, really.
Yeah.
Just peg the picture, but okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
can we say about
Man.
this? I mean, yeah.
We've been
There's not much to say
blazing
about it.
BBL for a bit now. Giants are yet to win a game.
Yeah. They've won some maps, but I think that they have core issues that cannot be fixed from one day to another. It's like every individual has to work on different things. Pipson was very vocal about it, about them looking back and just going based off of individual performance and what every player was thinking at the time and just making mistakes, individual ones that just add up to a huge sum of them not being able to win rounds. So it is what it is. I'm sorry, but
Yeah.
it is what it is.
This isn't like straightforward though. I would say like Giants can definitely win this because just if we just look at the history of how EMEA has gone, like this isn't a set deal. But I'm still not ever going to predict Giants.
This is actually one of the
They
ones
look
I'm
better.
more
It is one of
confident in.
Oh really? Oh boy.
The teams that just don't overcomplicate stuff, and you know
yeah.
that they're going to have that consistency with the way that they play off each other. I love that right now. I think there's a reason that DRX crew and BBL are doing well. And
It
it's
depends
because
on
of
how
that.
many times Redguard TPs to his own death.
That's what I mean. Yeah, dude, I was watching some of that and I was like, holy moly. I mean, he goes from one round where he's like looking like a god, just taking people out on the pistol round, and then the next he's TPing into mollies, and I'm like, oh, it's the Red Guard classic. Anyway, yeah, I'm pretty confident in that.
Cool. Reasonable choices. Our second match. This one should, I mean, you'd think it would be a banger. It's Karmine Corp versus Team Heretics.
Love that from
Ooh,
And
you.
it's
Okay.
3-1. I'm the only Karmine Corp predator. Everyone else on the Team Heretics train. I want to start with the case for Team Heretics.
And they just look
Wood,
sick.
Yeah,
they just
wood,
look
good.
sick. Woot,
Right?
woot. Yeah.
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 You go on
Equals
now,
good.
Mimi. How is Casey going to
Yeah,
win
I think
this?
you have more to talk about than us, surely.
So, guys, my case for
What color
Karmine
is it?
Corp. is they lost him up to call. Why did I do this? Do I believe this?
You can swap
Is
it.
this real?
Nah, you shouldn't swap it. This is good.
Because
Yeah,
the thing is, I don't think it's a guarantee for Team Heritage, but I
It's
think
not.
they're favored.
Yeah.
But the thing is that Karmine Corp, I think at any time could have a step up. I think some players have been struggling to hit the form, but we know how sick this team is. What you guys were saying earlier about this last week, we're finally seeing them have a little bit more variety in being able to like cancel strats and find some ideas in the mid round, which is a good improvement. The other big thing for them, I think, is it's kind of a team where you never know what you're going to get in a week. They change a lot of their ideas around. They change a lot of their comps. They're super proactive with like counter-stratting and trying to come up with ideas like that. And in a situation now where they're close to being locked, but they're not officially locked for playoffs, this is a match that really does mean a lot for, well, both these teams, but for KC especially. They're going to come in with a good game plan, and I'm just kind of hedging my bets on the fact that we're going to see some of these players step back up to the form that we know they can hit, that we saw in kickoff, that we saw in the run through Madrid. So yeah, it's a bit of a punt, but I don't think it's an unreasonable punt.
Nah,
It's not
honestly,
unreasonable at all.
I think that's solid because I think when I think of this team as well, it is just like when it matters, if Eng has enough time and they even bring like a new comp, like they could look at the map pool and go, right, it's 100% they're going to pick this map and we can just change like this comp and we have a really good chance. Like, I think that's a solid
Yeah,
bet.
and I mean, even with the struggles this season, you look at the games they lost like 2-1 to Navi, 2-1 to Foot. I think that all these games they've been playing consistently throughout the season have been really close, have had opportunities for this team to have maybe even gone on like an undefeated run or something. Like, I don't think the doomerism about Karmine Corp should be that deep. They're not in their kickoff form right now, but I think if they win this match, if they hit playoffs, this is still a competitor to make Shanghai and go on a run.
I think that with how the season ends and all the changes and everything, is very difficult to determine a team's like peaking moment. I feel like last year it was very easy to identify when teams were peaking during the regular season. But I think that KC does have a very good chance of winning this, because if they can maintain the individual performance and just go off on all the maps that they lost and just review and spot all the mistakes and everything, I think that they're the kind of team that can sustain that a bit longer. So I do think that this is not a 50-50, but it's not as outrageous as Team Heretics is going to smash them.
Sure.
Yeah, and I just want to kind of just echo a little bit of things that we said last week. Like the fact that Heretics are looking this strong firepower and they keep bringing new stuff to the table is just very, very impressive. So it's hard for me to feel like it should go another way when, dude, some of that Omen stuff on Bind was like brand new. And like we had multiple things that were brand new, and Omen's been played on Bind like sometimes from some teams for years. Yeah, the one ways, the trap Omen flashes, like they had some really, really cool stuff. And like you go back to, I mean, Gambit used to play Omen loads on this map, and we'd never seen some of that stuff. So yeah, I just think coaching staff and then whoever's coming up with the ideas, I think they're really going hard this year.
Well, I think that is reasonable to favor Heretics here. Let's move on to our next match, which is Vitality versus Koi.
I mean, this. Yeah.
I knew it was coming.
I mean, it's a bit obvious.
It's a guarantee for Vitality.
I don't think anything that happens in EMEA could be an upset anymore, but Koi definitely did look better last week. Yes, there were some rounds that are just unforgivable, but there were some other plans that I actually really enjoyed. You know, I thought that this would be the team, because honestly, last year was fatal for them as well. So I was just thinking that we were going to get into that kind of situation way earlier in the year, and just imagine like what the players have to go through after that. But Ayadov, the assistant coach, said that they're trying a new way to prepare for matches and prepare for teams, and that they were happy with what happened against KC, you know, in the regards that they could have actually won the match. And, you know, we maybe should ask them about what is it that they're doing different, especially if they win against Vitality, because this is not a guarantee at all.
Oh,
if they can do a similar pistol start, like if they can get the 5-1 pistols like they did in the other game, then yeah, I think they got a good chance. It looked better from Koi. That's like the main takeaway. Like it did look better from Koi.
Yeah, I was just looking at the map bans just to see what these teams picked the ban, because I don't know, but I was thinking maybe if Icebox and Lotus slip through, but Koi perma-banned Lotus, and I feel like it should just be Icebox banned for Vitality. I'm pretty sure they've been banning Ascent mainly, but dude, you take out Icebox away because you were looking pretty rough on it. Like Gentlemate's just exposed a ton of shit, and you have a lot to work on from the Lotus game, which I think there's a ton that you can just VOD review and work on off of that, like of stuff they were doing wrong. So
That's actually true.
I feel pretty good about Vitality, but there's no such thing as feeling good about Preds with this.
Yeah, that's very true. You could definitely copy and paste a lot of what Gentlemates did against them. That's very true. Like, but it's a bit like you know, when Loud were playing that comp on Ascent, and then EG just kind of highlighted all of his weaknesses.
The shit out of them with the
yeah,
Cypher.
it's pretty much the same spot as that. It's just like, dude, you just copy paste that, and you're probably winning a map at least.
Yeah, I mean, it would be pretty funny though if Koi, who's mathematically eliminated, just finally
They can do
win
the
a match.
funniest thing. They can do the
They could do the
funniest thing.
funniest thing. Win a match that means nothing for them, just to screw
And
over
this
Vitality.
match could be maybe the difference. Well, I have to count, but this could be the difference between them even making it to playoff stage 2 or not.
Sure.
Yeah, every win actually does matter. Which
Yeah,
is
I forgot
a
the
weird thing
carryover
you got to
there.
keep into
Yep.
your head, but it's not even cope at that point. Like genuinely, you should be trying. You should be trying hard again every
But I
single
still
stage one
think,
match.
like, in terms of just motivation, this match means so much more for Vitality. They
Yeah,
should...
but that also comes with pressure.
Sure,
Yeah.
absolutely. But
It's nightmare fuel.
But this guarantee's never gone wrong. Vitality's
No,
winning this
never.
game.
That's
Let's
true.
not talk about it anymore.
There's been,
No.
There's no reason why Sliggy's
No
been asking me
upsets
to
have
change,
happened.
like,
Nothing
not change my
strange has
spread
happened.
Yeah.
to the heavy
I'm
favorite.
gonna be doing this to the Navi game, surely. Is that
Navi
next?
versus Fnatic.
Someone go Fnatic, please.
No! What have we done? What have we done?
Hey, someone.
4 people pick Navi. It's a tragedy.
That's so fucking
No one can
brutal.
change. The screenshot's taken.
No, Bren, you gotta change up.
No,
Bren, you
no.
gotta change.
Man, I've been a Navi believer like all this year.
Okay, Mimi,
I
you gotta
can't
change
switch
up.
I'm not changing it. I'm not
You're not changing?
Fnatic have been
Kuku
so...
No,
lost
hear me
Navi,
out.
you
I'm
got
Shao's
Navi.
#1 fan. I can't do this. I'm sorry. I mean, I can
we're
give
fucked.
Fnatic some leverage. Mini's coming. He's going to be here. You
Like,
know,
Mini's
everybody.
flying out.
Yeah, I think he's coming.
Damn. Finally, get him to do some work.
Yeah, exactly. But you know, I think that one of the things that makes Fnatic not as scary this year, besides everything that we already know, is to me is just a bit jarring that they're the kind of team that has a permaban, because they've been together for so long, but they still, you know, choose that way of like interpreting the map pool. The difference is last year, any map from Fnatic looked so can I swear? Fucking scary.
No, you're
did
fine,
it before
you're
you got
fine.
the answer. You're okay.
You can swear now. It's 2 hours, 10 minutes in. You're fine.
They looked so fucking scary no matter the map that they were playing, right? So you can always play that to your advantage, because there was no right answer of what to choose onto them. But now with the map pool weekend, them having a permaban only makes them weaker. Does that make sense? Because they still have a lot of things to fix. And I think that probably it's just one of the reasons why I don't think, you know, but it also depends. If Navi decide to stay on a lobby, use all the utility and nobody goes onto the side, and just this kind of things that Navi do, Fnatic can win this perfectly.
But it's a guarantee though.
But it is
Yeah, is
very
it though?
But
I mean,
Navi
yeah,
are winning.
sure.
But
Navi are
fellas,
winning.
Navi have been in great form. Their players have been hitting. They've had a great
They
season thus
definitely
far.
haven't tossed certain games.
We don't talk about the
Yeah,
last
Hasn't
game.
been close. Hasn't
We
been
don't.
convincing, really.
They haven't had to rely on like what an 11 round and 1/2 come. That didn't happen.
No,
I don't know what you guys are talking about.
We'll
They win
ignore this
here.
game as well.
96% chance of locking. They can
ignore
still
that
hit
one.
first
Ignore
seed.
this
They're going
one.
to Shanghai. They're winning the tour. It's fine. Don't look at the
fine.
BBL game. It's not real. It can't hurt you. It didn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
The Fnatic's winning, and we're gonna look
I
at
don't
the
feel great about this one. We're good.
But there is 0% chance Navi is winning this game. I'm so
Dude, Fnatic might be the new Loud, where you just doubt them and then they just make you look
Yeah,
silly.
they do it.
yeah.
It'd be nice though. I kind of hope that happens.
Yeah.
'cause- Man, I can't watch.
It's
this
such a
stuff
sad
anymore.
world if Fnatic is bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude,
I
especially
agree.
when it's the same. Especially when it's the same lineup. That's the
Yeah.
most depressing thing about it. It's like it's literally the same. Like even the coach is still an assistant coach. Like it's just every piece is still there. How does it look like this?
All right, 2 more matches. Team Liquid versus the mates that are so gentle. That wasn't even a joke.
Whoa, wait,
Not
whoa.
a guarantee.
Whoa.
Not a guarantee.
You were ready for the screenshot,
I
Bren.
was putting my phone up and everything.
I was ready to get
pose.
Mimi to predict every French team to win, but she didn't. Why is that?
Wait, you're right. Put me on
I mean,
gentlemen.
they have Enzo. They have Enzo.
Is this just a punt from you, Sliggy, going Team Liquid?
So I decided to ignore last week. That's a big part of it, to be honest.
Okay.
What about the other ones?
I've ignored last week. So they did okay, and then Navi game. I've decided to ignore one half the split and the ascent.
Okay.
So when you
Yep.
take them out of it, Liquid are favorites.
Yeah, I can see the argument.
Yeah, when
I
you
can see
forget
it
how they play.
materializing.
Yeah, when you
They
take out
can
half of their
actually
games.
win.
When you don't watch their games, they're actually the favorite to win.
Yeah, that's where I'm at. I don't know. I've got faith. I'm looking at Gentlemates, and I know Existence is going to come out with some big anti, which is probably going to wreck them.
Yep.
But I'm still looking at the Vitality game. That's 4 pistols. It's a snowball. As long as Liquid change everything about how they played, and they want to do that anyway. No. Think about it. You're not going to play
As long as they
Sunset
change
the
the
same.
roster, the staff, the stats, the map pool.
You're gonna play completely different anyway because you just got banged. So like your normal way of playing is awful anyway. So that you want to change it up, and then you're looking at Gentlemates. They're gonna anti your normal stuff. So you double want to change it up. You would change up so much. Fresh new Liquid, 2-0.
Okay, 2-0. Bang him out. Yep.
Wait a minute.
Where
Wait
we
a
go?
minute.
Oh, there he
There it
is.
is.
Wait a
There
minute.
he is.
This
Dude,
is
they
the-
got some,
I will say this is the first week I've ever done this, so can't
they
shoot
got
me too
so
much
many
wrong.
content creators.
Yeah, we're wild out here.
Dude, that's crazy.
Make an
Like, how much
academy
VC?
team.
Can we jump on that?
Yeah, you want to
They
come?
want
You want to come
sponsor
join?
Plat chat?
Are they profitable, Sliggy?
Yeah, they are, right? I think. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure they were last year.
Next
They were bragging about it.
Okay. Love
Looks
that for
impressive.
them.
Dude,
Shout out
I
to
love that
Liquid.
for them. Yep.
Love my capitalist kings over at Liquid.
Liquid is literally
signing.
my favorite org in the entirety of it.
Yeah, dude, honestly, sick org.
Dude, we've had enough glazing this
not
episode,
even
guys.
memeing, like honestly.
No,
like honestly, they treated me incredible.
That's amazing. They're like
Now their
facility-
team.
Okay. Now their team.
Hmm.
Oh my God, there's
One more
another
game,
match.
Mimi.
There are so many
more game.
EMEA
One more
games, and we're
game.
predicting
One more
every
game.
one of them.
We're almost there.
Well, they all
let's go.
matter.
Sorry, it's so fucking hard to focus. BBL versus Foot. Turkey.
No, guys, someone,
Oi,
Oh,
oi, oi.
shit.
Wait.
someone, Bren, I keep
Wait.
Bren,
All
Bren.
of us went Foot. Wait,
is actually
where are
fucked.
my BBL Glazers now? Where
Yeah,
are my
Bren, come
BBL
on.
Glazers? What
So
happened?
hear me
Egg
out.
Egg me on the
No
switch.
team has won both matches in the week that they've played 2 matches. So if they win the first one, they cannot win this one.
Oh.
Okay, Bren,
Easy.
ignore that. Think about what we've seen. Think about what we've been talking about from BBL.
Yeah, with
They're-
the majority
they're
of our
looking-
guarantees getting wrong.
Yeah, they're looking
And what we're
good.
talking
We
about with
always
BBL,
get
but
this
also
wrong.
you could attribute a lot of those traits to Foot, though, no?
Yeah, but dude, think of the Lotus comp. That can't win 3 times.
I
I
think
know
it
we said
can.
it couldn't win the
I'm
first
not-
time.
I'm not
I know
gonna
we
lie.
said it couldn't win the second time.
I'm
but it
coming,
can't
I'm coming
win
around to
the
that
third
Lotus
time.
comp. I think teams.
Come on.
I think teams have gotten good enough that you can clear rubble now without needing an initiator.
Oh, we lost him.
I genuinely, I'm going around to the Lotus comp. I was trying to make the same argument to
He has
Josh as well
Stockholm syndrome.
recently. We were in the green room and Josh was like, "You're just beyond belief." You
Yeah,
couldn't
you're
believe,
lost,
you couldn't
man.
believe what I was saying. But like the amount of times now we're seeing like the meta shift over time to just late clearing rubble as the attackers, just using the Viper wall. Dude, I think you can do it.
Guys, I
What
need
if
someone
they
to change.
simply switch how they play because they know they're playing a no initiator team, and like play up forward on rubble and know they can't get flashed or pushed off lines at all?
But they can get quadruple faced as the walls up and down. And then they'll lose
So
the
the
fights
only
because
way
the
to
gunplay
re-clear
comes into
rubble
effect.
is to send 4 players.
Yeah, but then Bren, you just put a Viper wall there, and when they drop their wall, you put up
Oh,
your
like
wall.
they can't who's doing that?
Or
DFM.
you cycle your Omen one ways and your Viper util, and you're just they're permalocked, and they have no way to break through that without just getting owned.
Yeah,
'cause
these
they
are
have
all
no
valid
flash.
points, but I'm going to ignore all of them and just still keep playing Foot.
Dude, I would love to change, but I've already recorded my YouTube video, so I don't want to re-record it for one pick'em. Like someone's got to change this. We can't because BBL have been antiing everyone. I don't want to re-record it, but I know I should go BBL.
Okay, I'll change. I'll do BBL.
Yes,
if
no,
that makes
no,
you happy.
Love that from you.
It's a
Love that
guarantee.
from you.
This is fraudulent. You can't. You need to be a woman of your word.
You know what? actually, yeah, I'm gonna listen to Mimi. She always tells me to live my fucking truth, so I'm living my
Bea,
truth this
you're
month.
so strong. You're so independent. No man can tell you to pred BBL. No man can tell you to pred BBL. Pick foot.
This is such a bad omen. Oh my god.
No, it's fine.
Foot's winning, guys.
It's
Foot's
fine.
winning. It's fine. What's the
It's fine.
problem?
Food enjoyers, yeah.
That's me,
It's
baby.
Mimi, you gotta calm down. We're on the internet right now.
It's crazy.
I have health insurance starting 2 days from now, guys. So we're gonna be stoked.
Don't worry, the meds will come
back.
soon.
Yes,
The
they
meds
will.
will
They
come
actually
soon.
will.
I swear,
We'll be
I
so
swear.
back.
I swear.
Copium. Are we done with the EMEA?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Holy shit.
What a trip.
Thank
Jesus.
That was,
Yeah, it was a wild one.
that was a ride. Bea, thank you so much for coming on.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Give yourself a little plugger.
Plugger.
Plug your
Plugger.
socials. I
Plug
think.
your socials.
Is that
Like you. Who
translation?
I mean, it's
Why
on the
are you
screen right
here?
now. Or Kurt has already done that job for me, so thank you, Kurt. Just,
I got
just
you.
gonna follow
Kuka
Kurt.
and watch her on the VCT EMEA broadcast this weekend for week 5, which is, as we've established, important for pretty much all the teams. Goodbye.
Bye, Kukuka. Bye.
What if I just close this tab?
Normally the host will tee up
Oh
the next
yeah,
part.
I'm supposed to do that. So we're taking a 5-minute. We're taking a 5-minute break. Sean, Gares will be back after this. Jesus Christ, I'm gonna go make myself a coffee. That's him. Thank you, Bea.
Yep.
Thank you for
Thank
coming
you.
on.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
I'll see you around.
Yes.
Bye-bye.
What a segment.
All right, we're gonna take another 5-minute break, and I'll get Sean in here. Oh my god, Mimi, go get a drink or something like
I'm
water.
gonna take
Get some
Preferably.
giant bit of water.
Yeah,
Should
Oh
I
my-
host the next segment?
if you want to.
Should I host?
Like, if you
I
want to
mean,
save Mimi's professional career.
it's like a slow motion car crash. I can't look away. It's just I can't look away. I can't look away. But I feel like we should. I mean, listen. You've done 2 out of 3.
I mean, you guys can discuss it.
We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it. I'm also gonna take this 3-minute period to take a break.
Yeah,
and
let me
listen to
get
this
Sean in
royalty-free
here. I
music.
think he's trying to connect, but I need to figure it out on my end. Hell yeah, this song really got me going. Let's go. Let's go! Yeah! Woohoo! Sean's gonna join with this fucking song going. Oh. Hello, we got some cool music going on. What's up, Sean?
Hey,
This song makes my like head feel nice.
I feel like I'm in a game of Sonic, right? I'm gonna go collect some rings.
All right. I think I got everything ready. Hopefully your socials are correct. Let me know if they're wrong, Sean, when we come back. Oh my god, it just keeps going.
That's a banger.
This is how we feel when we go to Americas. Time to talk about energy, everyone. All right. On the real, I'm getting sick of this shit. I'm switching it. It's like 2 more minutes long. All right. This one's a little bit chill. All right.
This song is in City Skylines.
Really?
Yes.
Nice.
Yes, it is.
They used
Or The
a
Sims,
royalty-free
one of those
song in the
games.
game?
Probably. Those devs are greedy little guys.
Dev's greedy? Oh.
City Skylines 2 is a tragedy of a game. It could have been so good.
Okay, elaborate. You have 25 seconds.
Well, it's just they released it in like an unfinished state. Constant performance issues, like AI pathing that's really bad. It's a game that's largely like a traffic and like movement simulator.
Are you talking about my Valorant play? You sound like you're talking about my Valorant play. It's like AI pathing is so bad.
It'll like randomly spawn trucks out of no. It's really just nonsensical. Okay.
Bren was
Hello.
saying he was going to host and he's not here.
Yeah, here we go.
Hello, welcome back to Plat Valorant episode 176. We've made it to our third and final segment. I've eaten a snack, drunk some water, and sanity has returned to the episode. And we're ready to talk in a level-headed and honest sense about VCT Americas, a league that has had level-headed and honest results and no weird games or upsets whatsoever. We have Sean Gares joining us. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, no upsets, no blowouts. Definitely
None.
no blowouts.
No weird games at all.
No lopsided games. All close, 13-11 affairs, and the favorites are definitely coming out on top with Crew sitting at undefeated 5-0. So.
Yeah. Dude, that's ridiculous. Dude, I was watching your co-stream for a little bit, Sean, and it's you're on the crew train.
Yeah, I've been on the crew train for a minute. Dude, I've been on the crew train for a minute. Since like kickoff, I've been on the crew train.
Yeah.
Is he wearing the shirt again? He's always wearing the shirt when I tune him.
No, so yesterday, yesterday.
Dude, it's crazy. You're watching 100 Thieves game. You don't even like put on a 100 Thieves hat or you don't even balance it.
Stop.
Bro.
Go back to my VOD yesterday. I started with the 100 Thieves hat on. And I
feel like that's worse. If you watch them play and was like, nah, fuck these guys, I'm taking off the hat.
I took it off at 6-0 on Sunset. And honestly, I think I'm the only reason they got 7 rounds. Like, I took the hat off. I put the crew jersey on. They won 7 rounds. But that's all I could get them. You know, that's all I could get them.
I mean, it was nice of you to do that much for the boys.
For the boys, of course.
Here's proof. You switched it out for a normal non-100 Thieves hat.
Yeah, I mean,
so you were still wearing a hat.
Still wearing a hat. Just
it wasn't like a taking a hat off thing. It was just a taking off the 100 Thieves rep.
Yeah, I don't think half of my chat even realized what happened. They're like, wait, weren't you wearing a 100 Thieves hat a second ago? I was like,
hold on.
No, I'm supporting my favorite team right now, Vamos Crew. What are you talking about?
They're gonna switch up.
Well, we'll talk more about Crew in a second. I don't know when Bren's coming back.
Wait, before Bren gets back, wait. I hate glazing people to their face, but I need to glaze this cast from Bren. Hold up. Wait. Fuck. Dude, you gotta get on this quick, Kurt. Before he gets back, we need to talk about this.
I don't know what I'm supposed to do.
I know. I'm sending it to you. I'm panicking. I hate glazing people to their face.
You need to get on this quick, Sean.
Do we want audio for this, I'm assuming?
Yes. The audio is literally like 90% of what we do.
Is this the Jojimo round?
Yes. This is the best clip in Valorant history.
This was the best clip, honestly, ever.
We just need to listen to greatness right now.
Good.
Crowd.
Hurry! Load!
Load now this play. Jojimo with the bucket in his hand. He's even dodged the flash. APM off the bloody charts from this guy. And that wants to pave the way.
shooting the dart is crazy.
I'm not gonna lie, guys. When I was watching this the first time, I had the epic pen out. I was drawing lines. The second, third, fourth, fifth, millionth time, I had a different pen out. And it was fucking awesome, bro. This is the greatest clip in Valorant history. This is literally why I love esports.
Right, it's incredible.
So good.
It's so good. It has it all. It has the
Dude, I cannot
underdog-
believe it starts with him updrafting, dodging a flash because he's above it, then dropping down, one bucking someone, shoots the dart with the knives. Does he have one knife left at that point?
No, I think he has more.
No, he has more. It's just the quality was low.
But we get it all. The observers get every fucking kill. The casting's
Sapphire.
on point. The crowd is going crazy. The mixing is perfect. He's using a fucking insane skin that no one uses. And it's a guy that won champs that everyone's sleeping on. Somehow they're the underdog team. Like, this clip has everything to me. It's why I love esports.
And it's to beat energy. Like, just all the context of it makes it even better.
Yes. It's fucking insane. That clip is gonna live in my brain forever. Like,
Yeah.
it will literally live in my brain forever. It's so good.
That was awesome. Do you want to know something more important?
What's up?
Go on.
Skins.
Yes.
Oh boy.
And
Alright.
I'm glad Bren got back
Good
right when we're
timing.
getting into the meat and
what are you
potatoes
talking
of this
about?
one.
We're talking about how much
Skins.
Yeah, you fucking
Skins.
suck. You fucking suck. What do you think about
I
this next skin
suck?
set? Yeah, you're
Yeah,
casting's
Sean was being
terrible.
really mean to you while we were away.
Oh. That's
No,
okay.
he had,
I
we
was
had to
late.
calm him down. He's finally back to
Yeah.
normal.
I actually, dude, I sent Bren a DM after I saw that clip at nighttime, and I was like, bro, this is amazing. Like, I love this. I love this so much.
I love this for you.
I love this so
For the
much.
cast, I appreciated that, to be honest. It means a lot. Whenever I get positive feedback from like people in the scene, that means the world to me, because that's when you know you're doing something right. I appreciate you,
Yeah.
Sean.
Smile.
I mean, no, like, I just got to let people know, like, everything came together in this clip. Like, the crowd, the observing, Bren's casting, the star player, the switch back to the star team, and you
Yeah.
get, like, the pop back from them. It's their map pick. You're, like, rooting for Potter. She has this insane game plan. It was so perfect. And you let the crowd breathe, and Josh let you deliver it all. Like, he didn't interject at all. That takes, like, immense confidence in yourself as like a color caster for even Josh to allow you to have that moment. It was all amazing. Like, honestly, that's why I love esports, that clip.
Yeah. Oh,
Aw.
thank you. It was all
Yeah,
me.
Nailed it.
Well, that was a really sweet and happy
Ooh, yeah.
start. And I hope that nothing devolves as we get clear. But let's talk about the important stuff, though. The real reason we love esports: revenue, skins,
Yes. Okay.
money. There's a new one, Mystbloom bundle. The streets have been pretty positive about this one thus far. It's like a crazy flower skin. The kunai's animation is sick. It's got this ridiculous finisher. Are we copping?
I'm
Or
copping.
dropping?
Yo, I'm copping that. I didn't see this yet, but this is looking
Yeah,
like
I
an
haven't-
Insta purchase.
I haven't seen this yet. I'm not a skin buyer, so I'm not gonna get this, but it looks alright.
I don't like the sound of the sheriff.
What even what's the
It
other
just-
stuff with it?
It sounds very it's like what is this? This is a phantom, there's a knife, there's a judge, there's
Was it
a
judge?
sheriff. Yeah, there's a
Oh, yeah,
judge.
maybe
The knife's got a nice animation.
maybe
I'm not gonna
change
lie.
me.
This
Dude,
is nice.
Whoever's doing these previews, they know what the people
It's
want,
nice.
and it's you got to spam the animations when you're pulling it out.
Yeah.
By the way, can we talk about how clean the preview guy is? Like
it's a
some of the shots
flower.
he hits.
Look at the reload.
Yeah,
Wait, that's sick.
Yo.
there's a flower.
But what's
Wait.
the
Oh my-
judge then?
God, dude.
Oh,
Wait, what's this? Op.
That's an
Ooh, it's
op,
got
yeah.
dude. It's got the main 4.
oh,
Oh,
the
sick.
inspect is clean.
The variants are what? Okay, Brent's talking about the only
I just
sound
don't-
I'm
I
not
just
gonna
don't
like.
like the
Here we
sound
go.
of
Yeah, the only sound I'm not gonna
What's
like
the-
is the sound of me telling my wife we can't afford another date this month. I'm buying this shit for sure. This is definitely getting purchased.
Which
Nah,
one of your
I'm-
kids isn't going to college for
Exactly.
the skin bundle?
That's what I'm saying.
I'm out again, Kurt. The judge didn't live up to the hype.
What?
Oh,
But everything else
Yeah.
is decent though. But you got to base it on the judge. It's not.
Dude,
It's
there's
not
not
the
a
one for me.
what judge skin are you using? There's not a lot of good.
Dragon.
the Dragon Balls,
No.
the Dragon Balls.
Get him off the
yeah.
show.
Dragon Balls.
We
Dragon
couldn't
Balls
say
is
we
legit,
couldn't
man.
say dragon without the Dragon Balls, bro. Come on. It needed to be
Dude.
dropped in some kind
Dude,
of way.
that skin is just. There's so many phallic skins, and that's just the worst
Bro, it's
offender.
incredible.
It's the most phallic.
It's
Just
sick.
giant inflated balls, like
Yeah,
like the hamsters,
it
like
is
in
outrageous.
And the fact that you can get a stiff variant is just
Stop!
the worst.
Dude,
Go to the next topic, man.
How's
happened
that
to
the
the
line?
break?
How's that the line? We live in a
Right, like, you
fucking
can't
world with
advertise
double
our skins
standards.
anymore. We don't want it anymore. Don't put it on your show. No more skin reviews.
All right, are you
Oh
guys buying or selling? Because I can just do it real
I'm
quick.
buying. I don't know what road we went down. How are we down this road?
Oh, dude,
Mimi, are
were
you
the guys
buying
talking about the
this?
Dragon Balls?
I
Mimi,
don't
are
blame
you
me for
buying
this.
this?
No,
Yeah, I
I
did
don't buy
nothing.
skins anymore.
Bren?
I'm
Bren's
not the
buying
problem
this.
with this
I'm
generation.
not buying. I don't like the sound of the sheriff.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
I think I
That's
would
crazy.
consider the knife. The rest I feel like are they're too busy for me. I'm fine with a busy knife. I'm not okay with a busy gun skin.
Mm.
There's just too much going on. Just
Maybe you were fucking eating. You ordered DoorDash and left during our fucking premiere game. What do you mean busy? What do you mean busy?
I need less distractions in my life. I need less. Dude, I try and cut down on things that like suck my time up. I installed a cracked YouTube so I could remove YouTube shorts because I had no self-control. I deleted TikTok and Instagram off my phone. I'm slowly cutting away digital distractions until I'm a monk in the forest. And this skin is part of what's leaving.
Oh God!
All right.
You've
Anyway.
had some
it.
legendary premiere ruining moments, Mimi, as well.
Dude, we're playing Premiere again.
Dude,
We are not
haven't
playing
played
Premiere
since, we haven't played Premiere since
We're
then.
playing Premiere again.
You-
We
you-
won the season,
you
guys.
would regularly. You would
You
regularly.
kicked
This
my
isn't just
power cord
one-
out.
You kicked the power out, not
It was an
once, but like
accident.
multiple times.
No, it was and really, it's Premiere's fault for not having a tech pause feature.
That's very true,
That's true.
actually. It's
That's
very
actually
true.
true.
If
Fair
I'm at
enough.
my home setup, I have a UPS because I'm responsible.
What about insta-locking deadlock?
Okay, we were all trolling that game.
I mean, there was.
We were. Pull up the mod. Look who picked it. Look what ball. I'm just saying. Look what Balla picks that game. Look
What about
Balla
what about a
picks.
drink on the keyboard?
Drink on the keyboard. I'm just a silly little guy. Guilty as
You know what I
charged.
mean?
Guilty as charged. But if you look at the work and the gumption I put into that team,
Gumption.
I put
Yeah.
in work. That team would be.
I'm down to
nothing
play
without
Premiere
me.
again. They made it so that you can get promoted. We didn't talk about that
Yeah.
in the in the
Dude, I
Viper
swear to
Patch
God, we're
changes,
making challengers.
But you can get promoted
Don't
now
laugh,
in
Sean.
Premiere, which was like our number one concern with it because you'd put all this time into winning like Div 17 or whatever the fuck it was, and
Yeah.
then you would just stay there. You would just stay there.
Yeah,
They've actually,
it's sick.
but it's a good step forward because now they are fully implementing the Premiere system into. Someone from Indiana's calling me. Don't know who that is. Gonna ignore it. They're fully implementing the Premiere system into challenges, right? To have that like connection there for like qualifying. Just gonna turn my phone off.
Anybody got any links for me? I don't know where this information is.
It's just in the blog post about the update,
Oh, okay.
the Viper update.
Premiere Valorant update.
Yeah,
I got
so they made it
Kurt.
so
I'm
you can
putting it in
get
the chat.
promoted. But now we just need coach slots. Now we just need tech timeouts, and now we just need.
I
can-
really
you can
like the
call actual
system that
timeouts.
CS has with tech timeouts, where if you DC, you like what is it? You auto get 2 minutes of tech timeout per
Yeah,
game.
it's like a minute 40 or something, or 2 minutes.
I think that's a very reasonable amount because that just gives you the amount of time it takes to reset a computer. Generally,
Yeah.
like I think that's right on the money with what is needed. And I do. That was probably my biggest gripe with Premiere that you
Mhm.
don't have. You didn't even have normal timeouts. There's no timeouts, no coach slots. I think that could really put the next level in. But they're making good. They're continually making it better, which I appreciate.
So
Sounds
was-
exactly like coaching in 2021. They got nothing, but here you go.
I don't, one of you guys can maybe answer this because it's probably in this article. So like I was asked to play on BNN's team, which was in like the highest division. We had so many forfeit losses that we needed to like win out by the time we started playing. But every week we played the same team in both of our games on Sunday night. Like that needs to be fixed, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
And then
sucks.
also he was like, if we win out, we can qualify for playoffs. But my chat was telling me we couldn't make challengers even if we qualified for playoffs because we wouldn't have enough points. So like it's not an open bracket playoff. Is that correct?
I don't really know.
I'm not sure.
I
I
thought it
was,
just
I
made
was
the
hoping you
playoffs,
were
could-
going to come in with these facts, Sean. I got no
Yeah,
idea.
I
so
don't know.
you were in the highest division, but didn't they make another division that's like
They
invite?
made an invite, which is above that, right?
Yeah,
What were you
But
playing
that-
in, Sean?
whatever the highest one was before this.
Probably
I don't know, 20?
contender.
What is it? I don't fucking know.
Because
Yeah.
it's
I don't know,
5,
they've
10,
changed it
15.
up.
I think 20 was elite. I think contender and invite are both like the new additions, right?
Yeah.
Contender
Yeah, that's
eligibility
right.
is given to players who are ranked MO3 or higher, have played a weekly or playoff match on a team in contender or invite, and have earned playoff team finalist or winner crest.
So do they say like how many teams are going to be in contender? And then the other thing, any team placing top 32 in the contender division standings.
So this will be available episode 9, Act 1.
How do,
Teams can still earn a promotion to the invite division.
how do the playoffs work though? Because remember when we did playoffs, it's like a group of like 8 teams and like
Yeah.
50 teams win Premier, you know? Like
Gotcha.
how do they decide which teams then
goes up?
can qualify to challengers? Like how do they decide that when there's like West Coast, Central, East Coast? You know, like
Well,
you see what
okay,
I'm
so,
saying?
so you can see how this works, Kurt. If you scroll down, there's a graphic, the America's promotion path. It's based off the server you're playing, so you can select US East or US West already. That's how the system currently works. My guess is it's like a certain number of slots given to each from what they're saying here. Like I imagine it's like 8 East, 8 West teams that then get combined into the NA division if they're going out. Well, obviously 8 teams aren't going to make it, but the X number of top teams.
I don't know what Ashburn is, but that's where I'm qualifying from.
Isn't that North Carolina?
I think it's Virginia, actually. I think it's Virginia. I'm qualifying through Ashburn and Oregon. Those are my qualification zones.
I don't know where that is.
I don't. Well, you can't choose the server, unfortunately. You just choose the
damn it.
zone and it
Region.
just like.
I'm going west then.
I don't get how this
you-
works. I don't get how this works in EMEA as well, because all of the EMEA stuff, like you have a set 3 people from a certain country. So does that rule just get scrapped when these teams start going in?
So, yeah, there's a lot of questions that need to be
A
answered
lot
here.
of
they
I
need
feel
to-
like.
questions.
I don't know.
Yeah.
They probably are being answered.
Probably would have
we're just
helped if
not
any of us
reading it.
read
Yeah,
this.
probably.
Yeah.
Probably all there.
That probably
Who's
would have
not
helped.
reading it?
Like, I want to be
But,
spoon-fed these answers.
They
We're
are making
updating
good
the
changes, at
structure
least.
of both invite and contender divisions with episode 9. Our goal is to provide a hyper-competitive environment where the players who are the best winning teams rise to the top.
Yeah, so they're making it so that if you play in Premier, you can get promoted into contenders, even if you don't meet the immediate requirements.
Okay,
basically.
so this is a good change. Matches will be made between teams with a similar record with rematch protection enabled.
Okay, there we go.
Okay.
So that fixes one of our big problems.
Rematch protection. That's like the
If
whole
an-
thing where not queuing the same map in ranked and you just get like breeze 3 times in a row.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've made it sure you can't get the same map, and then literally just the first rank games I play in like the whole year is just back-to-back breeze or something. So, well, that didn't last long, did it?
This is another good change for the top 2 levels. So remember previously it was based off your score. You accumulated points and you had to hit a points threshold to make playoffs. Now, quote, playoff contention or playoff qualification will not be based on premier score. Instead, top teams will qualify for playoffs based on their standings after weekly matches finish. So now it'll be more like a normal format where like X number of top teams are in the playoffs, and it'll be more similar to Challengers or Americas with a standard group play into playoff format.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like progress.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, everything I'm reading here, it's great that
good.
none of us read this ahead of time and knew anything and brought this topic up anyway. A premier podcast, by the way. It seems like a good change. I think Premier's in the right direction. Starting to get to a point where we actually have these teams playing for challengers is pretty sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be really cool because I think we'll be able to see like rise through the ranks in a way where there's not like nepotism, you know? There's going to be none of that. Like a team of up and coming players could legitimately just make challengers in a format like this,
Yeah.
which is awesome.
That direct path to pro is so important for
Yeah.
keeping the esports sustainable. And I think Riot is making good inroads to get that right, which is positive. We're 2 hours, 40 minutes into the podcast, and we're starting Americas now. Great sign, fellas. But we're going to do it. We're talking about Latin America
No
on
way.
this podcast.
Holy
It's
fuck.
fucking
It's
crazy.
finally here. They
It's
only
here.
had to win almost
Crew-
every one of their matches.
Crew is the best team in their group. Leviathan is the best team in their group. LATAM has never been more back, fellas.
I agree.
Pretty insane.
I'm in agreement. I mean,
Yeah.
Next topic.
next
True.
topic, guys.
Let's start diving into these teams though, and let's start by discussing Crew. They're 5-0, and I think if anyone was a doubter of this team, this like last match, these last 3 matches that they have played, have to be the proof that they are legit. They beat Loud. Their Loud has gotten a little better in form. They beat 100 Thieves that was in, I think, solid form, and they're still flawless. They have at this point locked playoffs, and I believe locked the #1 seed as well.
They just look so good. Like I want to really highlight like Heat and Kesnet. I feel like the whole meta suits them very well at the moment in terms of like having this kind of pop flash kind of play. A lot of the players suit that, especially Heat, just on the actual initiators, looking incredibly good. On a role he literally hadn't played, just learning, picking it up, and he looks so good. He's putting up crazy numbers, really has a point to prove. The thing that I really want to focus on is all of these teams, when they play against them, when they play against Crew, they'll do a bit of map control, create a question mark, and then they'll go join up and they'll like exec a site. I'm trying to think of like Breeze, where Kesnet plays over towards A, and it was like they did a bit of map control, and then they went over towards hit B, and Kesnet, here's the map control, and then he dry swings into A main and clears all at A main like 5 seconds later. Like teams are doing map control against them, and they're doing the most disrespectful, confident plays to get info back. And then he's just holding an angle the whole time, and everyone else can go rotate over towards B. Like the confidence in this team is through the roof, and they're taking like smart risks. And I just feel like their whole understanding of the meta right now is maybe beyond all of the other teams that I watch. I just think they're really on top of like the whole double initiator and how other teams are kind of playing that, and how other teams are controlling the map, and what their next step is. Like they've taken this. What is like the next step that we do? And it's not like, it may not even be like normal teams would like fundamentally push elsewhere. Like a lot of times they're just taking back the map control instantly. It's really, really cool.
Holy fuck. Like you just we're playing volleyball right now, bro, and you just fucking hit that shit off us. Like, Kurt, cue the clips. Fucking Kurt.
Which one? There's like so many.
All of them.
Dude, the Crew ones. The macro is incredible. Round 15.
Okay.
Bro, this is insane. Like, because what Sliggy described in these back-to-back clips is exactly how Crew play, right? They have these dual IGLs with Melser and Klaus. Melser IGL'd throughout LCQ. Here you see, round 15, right? Watch the macro on the mini map here. Sliggy's kind of blocking B for a second. So you can see they blocked off B with a trip. They have a high cam, which is difficult to break, second info. Unbreakable trip is slipped in mid after the barrier drops. That's the weak site, right? So imagine what it's like getting into that weak site. It's going to take a lot of effort. You're going to have to break that trip mid and break the trip B, which 100 Thieves does. Props to them. But the camera is still holding Heaven and B main, and there's still a one-way cage blocking B main. So as both of those trips fall, look at the rotations and look at Melser. So this is the benefit of having like one of these like cerebral players as a secondary player, not your IGL, because he is willing to take that cutoff line on A to allow a heavy stack here on B. 100 Thieves thinks they did all of the heavy lifting. This is an immaculate read from Crew, given like what they had on the map and what happened and the reactions to the actual things that are occurring, and not a game plan. Now go to the next round, Kurt. Watch what they do on this round. It's like a very similar look, slightly different, deeper in the game, and they're reading the game to an insane level. Like Klaus and Melser on this dual IGL shit, which Melser, again, proved he can IGL defaulting a team, win LCQ. That guy's not the IGL of the team anymore. It's Klaus. But this guy still definitely has impact in the mid rounds. And you can tell he's here. He felt an A default. He was at the heavy site. Go back a little bit, Kurt. Go back all the way to before the Viper and Cypher push mid. You can see it's the same base setup, but the feeling, the comms coming from those A players are very fucking different. And it causes the Viper to say, come mid. We should aggress this. This is worth taking a risk right now. So they drop the orb and they're aggressing mid right now because of the comms at A. In this mid round, they're dogging out A. And again, Melser gets on an advanced line and they end up in the same scenario in a very different type of round. Like I can't even say how hard it is to do shit like this.
Yeah.
Like it requires such good communication, such good in-game IQ, such good trusting of your teammates, and just like a lot of preemptive talking about what the other team is trying to accomplish. Like they are a fantastic team. They have 2 IGLs. They have a star Raze/Jet player, which is super rare right now. There's not many of those. You know, like usually the star duelists are good on one, not the other. They have no flaws in their map pool. They have a great flex player in Heat, and they picked up Shy on Senti.
Yeah.
Like
I feel like
I'm not saying they're unbeatable, but it's gonna be really hard to.
Yeah, you look at this team and you're saying like 2 IGLs with Melzer and Klaus. They've said in interviews they did with Dan Dryad that on the LATAM broadcast that it's also Kesnet on their defensive side is a super vocal duelist player who's asking for a lot of these setups, these re-clears in the mid-round. They're just a team that I feel like we've seen like this history, like last year EG is a great example of this. Some pro player put out a tweet about this, but the teams that just innately understand how each other play and have like a super high level of trust and like are super willing to just independently make proactive plays in the mid round and have an IGL who can react off that information super quickly are just so hard to beat. I think this team is a nightmare to play against on your attacking side because of what you're talking about, Sean. You give them any gap, and they're really good at re-clearing and setting up on forward off angles without having to use that much utility or having to sell heavily like there's that kind of walk-up. It means you constantly have to be pushing back, re-clearing space, and if not, if you don't catch on to that, if they get that forward info, they're really incredibly proactive at rotating their strong side. So Kesnet and Heat will almost always be in the position where you're hitting into, ready with stall, followed up by their site anchors, which is either likely going to be Melzer on smokes or Shy, who are both like guaranteed to at least get theirs. And then you have these super fast rotations because of how proactive they're getting info on the defense. And it seems like a nightmare to call against this team. They're so mobile. They have so many different looks. It's just incredible stuff.
Yeah, pretty much that. They just look so good. Like it is just everything is perfect. They always seem to have good reads. I feel like the coach is putting in solid work as well, and they just look like the most put together team.
Adam, I think, is like a hyper underrated coach.
Oh, dude, he's definitely good, man. When I saw his, dude, I knew he was good when I saw Last Chance Qualifier. They did a one and done comp that was. It was Chamber and Killjoy and Haven. As soon as I saw some of the stuff, as soon as I saw some of the stuff they were doing with like the aggressive Chamber trip to like clear garage and stuff like that, I was like, someone in this team knows what the hell they're doing. And
were they running like Viper too?
Yeah, I think so. I can't remember the full comp because all I remember thinking about was the Chamber, Chamber Killjoy, and just how they were using it on attack was so impressive. And I was like, someone here like really has a good idea of what the hell's going on.
Yeah, dude. That's what I see. Whenever I watch Crew, I'm like, okay, they have a fundamental understanding of how to play this game.
Yeah.
And I feel like they can transpose ideas to different comps. They don't do that, and they stick to the meta comps, which makes me slightly worried about all these Viper nerfs. Like, can they reinvent themselves? Because there's going to be I wasn't here for the segment, but we're about to see a lot of frauds. Like, because you're going to learn who can reinvent themselves when a key agent is changed and who has to copy. And there's going to be teams that fall off, and there's going to be teams that rise to the top. I mean, you might see Vipers stay in the meta, but it's going to require tweaks. And the teams that win are going to be the teams that understand what tweaks to make.
Yeah.
And those are the ones that have a fundamental understanding of the game itself.
I don't think there's a problem though with keeping it simple for now. I keep describing Crew as like a simple team, and I don't mean it in a negative way. I always say after the fact that it's so tried and tested at this point, and they're so consistent with it because of what you described and what you pointed out, Sean, with the mid rounding, and with them so eager to take up the space on the defensive rounds to just give them the right idea every single time. You can only do that if you have really confident players.
It reminds me
so
of
it helps that Kesnet is like looking. I mean, dude, Kesnet is in top duelist form right now, without a doubt in my mind. Like, there's only what Aspas who's holding a candle to him, I think, at the moment. In
You can tell by his plays that he thinks he's the best right now.
Yeah.
But, like, you can actually tell by the plays he's taking. Like, this guy thinks he is the best right now, and that's scary. When you've got a talented person that has that much confidence, they do mad stuff.
It reminds me of like the finesse era of like Optic/NRG core, right? Where they're playing really simple comps, but they just have such good ideas in the mid round, and they're so proactive with their calling that they just execute on everything so well. Plus, just have a ridiculous number of players just in white hot form. It feels very similar to me to that.
Oh, dude, one more thing that Giga sold me on crew. It was the last concern I had. And unironically, the interview settled it. I was like, I don't know what the internal environment would be like with Kesnet and Heat. Like, I just don't know them, and I know they could be like hotheads. He has had those issues in the past. And then you guys did that interview with the sports psychologist, and I was like, bro, they have a traditional sports psychologist because of like Messi and Sergio.
Aguero.
Whatever. Yeah, I don't watch. I'm sorry, I don't watch soccer. I'm literally brain dead. I just watch crew. But dude, that guy. When he talked, I was like, oh, all my anxieties are settled. This guy's the GOAT. Like, they'll never, if they fight, he'll fix it. Like, he'll teach them how to communicate. They are in a really good spot to like get better and better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. I mean, crew is looking ridiculous. But the question is if they can make the flawless regular season happen, because they're playing Lev, and we're glazing LATAM teams. I think it's time to turn around and do the same thing for Leviathan. Because this
Lev's
team
gonna body him.
has also
You
been
think Lev's gonna body them?
Oh, okay. That's such a change around for what I thought you were
think
going
Lev's
to
gonna
say.
we
body
just
them?
spent like 20 minutes glazing crew.
Yeah.
Why is Lev gonna body them?
Because crew was a team that is used to losing, and now they think they're the best. And like you said, Kesnet's overconfident, and this is the humble game, and they're about to get fucking humbled by the experienced players coming in this overconfident. Like, I think it's like the perfect game for crew to lose. Like, I want crew to lose this game. I literally want them to fucking get bodied as a crew fan.
And that's as the crew jersey guy.
Yeah. I do not want them to win, because if they go into playoffs overconfident, they will not make Shanghai. But if they get bodied here, it'll be nice.
Part of the reason they're so good, though, and like, is the fact that they have the confidence to make the plays that they do.
Yeah.
But I think
arguably.
that I kind of agree with Sean. I think that is going to get punished, because not to ruin anything in the future of this, but I thought the same thing is once Lev, any map really, once they take map control, they literally just hold Aspas at either anti-flash or just holding with an op. Like, they're going to re-clear this and he's going to get a kill. Like, I think there's so much stuff where Lev should just be able to exploit how they're playing, really.
Yeah. The other thing to keep in mind here is that crew has nothing to play for. They're sitting at 5-0, 10-2 in maps. Even if they were to go 0-2 here, they're still getting a bye in playoffs, right? They still locked it in. So they're kind of free rolling on like what they could do. And so is Lev, I think, right? Lev have that shit locked in too at this point.
They've got the #1 spot locked, but
yeah, it could get sketchy actually with 100 Thieves.
Someone has definitely done the maths for it. I'm pretty sure.
Kurt, I sent you
was
the
Lim Serb, right?
permutation sheet. Could you pull that up, please?
Like, I think 100 Thieves could steal it from them potentially, like with a lot of things going right.
Hold on, Kurt. It's in the chat. There we are.
Yeah, there's a
crew are confirmed first percentage, or no, they're confirmed first seed and confirmed into playoffs. Lev are confirmed playoffs and 90% confirmed for Omega Group first seed, but there's a 10.75% chance in some permutations that 100 Thieves could yoink the first spot. But they both will make playoffs no matter what.
Yeah, but it is super important to get that bye because, I mean, you guys kind of alluded to it, but the format is actually dog shit. The fact that you can play an entire regular season, crew could potentially, go, or I guess Leviathan could. They could go like 3-2, look really good, but they could lose this last game, not get the bye because they lose the last game to crew, who's an undefeated team, and then get one and done in playoffs. Just like how NRG did it in kickoff by losing to Sent, right? NRG was 2-0, and then they lost a 1-2 to Sen in a knockout one-time best of 3, and they didn't qualify. And they won 5 maps and lost 2, and they didn't qualify. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. They will make first seed unless they lose the crew and then 100 Thieves,
And then 100 Thieves win.
a map.
It shows how
That's
bad
it.
the format is. If someone
Yeah.
can come first seed with a free 2.
I mean,
That doesn't make
dude,
sense,
we're
really.
we're actually very fortunate because we avoided the scenario of the hypothetical scenario of, say, like Group Alpha going fully undefeated, Group Omega going fully winless, and then you end up in a scenario where you're fucking dividing seeds out based on like map and round differential on opponents in another group on a different day on a different map. You're like, what the fuck is this? Like, how are we determining that one team is better than the other? We're lucky we avoided that. Like, we're super lucky. Another thing is that would cause you to perceive one group as terrible. So why would you want to even tune in for the second stage, which is coming? So it's like, man, there's so many things wrong with this format. Like, I hate it so much. But we avoided a lot of the pitfalls, thankfully.
Yeah, it's at least cool that the games all matter. That's like the main thing that I was kind of worried at. It's like every game at this point matters.
I feel like we got lucky that both
we did
EMEA
get
and
lucky.
Americas have pretty much all games mattering.
Yeah, no, we really did.
Like, there was a real world where both regions could have just had a Mickey Mouse week 5, and it would have been it would have been booming.
Wouldn't
Yeah,
have been good.
I will say this Lev crew game, I'm so hyped up for.
Yeah,
it,
this is
though.
gonna be good.
Like, it should be
It's gonna
so
be
sick.
good. My only like weird thing with Lev is like some of the role comps, like some of the roles are like a little bit weird. With I love the common switching over. Well, I say switching over. They're only doing a few maps, right? Where he's like playing Sentinel. I think that's like really sick. That he's going Sentinel, and then was it Texas on Gecko? So I'm liking that kind of stuff, but it seems like a little bit flip floppy. I don't know if they're trying to like convert it or if it's just a set few maps that they do it on. But I kind of want to keep an eye on that progression, really. But other than that, dude, I'm pumped for this game.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we'll do our predictions for this game later, so we'll save that discussion for now. Sentinels.
What do you mean, Sentinels?
Sentinels.
Sentinels.
Oh, that's a topic.
Do it.
How do they do it?
They can do it. Pull up the graphs. Pull up the graphs. Pull up
There's
the
no
numbers.
way.
Dude, it's not
Pull up the
happening, man.
graphs,
Can we
pull up
just
the numbers.
accept it?
Nope,
Dude,
it's happening. All they need to do
no way.
is 2-0 Furia, and then NRG needs to 2-0 EG.
How are we back
Wait,
here?
Did these games already happen?
This happened last year, didn't it?
What's going on? What is this? Wait, Bea's not here to save us.
this
Please,
the
someone
wrong
tell me how
graph?
this
This is
works.
11
don't
months
know.
ago.
This isn't right. This is not right.
This
Wait.
is from 11 months ago.
What's happening?
Well,
This is
so
Wait.
there's
this is
been
from 11 months ago.
I'm at the flat.
We're looking at the.
That's why I thought we'd been here before.
Yeah,
Guys.
we
We are
actually
lost.
have been here before.
Yeah, we
Kurt-
actually have.
Kurt is literally gaslighting us.
We are
damn it.
lost.
dude, I think I'm just stupid, actually.
Okay, so that happened then. No, it didn't. It didn't happen then. They can still make it though,
How
guys,
do they do
right?
it?
There's like a 1% chance. Wait, Kurt, let me find them.
I favored it. It's Will Minder tweeted. Will Minder tweeted it.
Will
Look
Minder.
for it,
Wait,
look
did
for it.
Kurt? I sent you the Will Minder tweets. I didn't. Where are they? Where are?
Just every Sen fan
Save
right
us,
now.
Sean.
Yeah,
Oh,
just-
here we go. Here we go. Okay, so if Sen wins 2-0 and makes up a 25 round difference, then Sen qualifies. But they also need G2 and NRG.
25.
G2 and NRG both need to lose 0-2. So G2 need to lose to Loud 0-2.
Guys,
and
that's-
NRG need to lose to
wait. So
Furia.
if it's 25 rounds, they
Wait,
need.
who
They
does
can
energy
only
play?
lose. Are you telling me they can only lose one round?
No,
Yeah.
because then the differential also takes into account
Oh,
the
it's
people they're
from the other
competing
team.
against.
Other team.
Okay, yeah.
Oh,
So
okay. So
other
the
teams
other
need to
teams
lose
need to
and they can make
need
it a little bit
tank.
easier.
Yeah.
And
But yeah,
Sen needs to
ideally,
stomp.
you're hoping for a 13-0 from Sen
Yeah.
to have a chance.
And they need
which-
G2 and NRG to both get 2-0'd.
Yep.
So looking at this, there is only one permutation where Sen makes it. The scenario is C9 beats MIBR and Crew.
Crew wins a match.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
C9 beats Crew, and then I think separate to that is
Oh
Crew
yes,
wins a match.
Crew wins a match
or enough
enough
matches to
maps.
qualify. So that's it. That's making those assumptions. Which
Okay.
could happen, but knowing Cloud9, they have a tendency to roll around and ride in the
Cloud9
mud like a fucking
no, Cloud9
swine.
should beat MIBR.
Yeah, you say that, but honestly,
They
haven't they
should
played
beat MIBR.
twice now this year, and both times it was close, including one of the times I'm pretty sure they lost? No?
How insane is it, by the way, that we live in this shit and we're still just like lost in the sauce?
Yeah,
I want
no.
I want like a casual Cameron on the show and just like ask them like the permutations, just literally like a full casual, just like be like, yo, who do you think is gonna make the playoffs and why, man? Like, what's going on?
They're just like, man, I have no fucking clue.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really know. That's so. But can we throw up the flow chart? I think I was beginning to understand it.
Okay.
Okay, so we need C9. So the first step, C9 beating MIBR. Probably
That's
not going to
possible.
happen.
No, what do you mean probably not going to happen?
Dude, no
C9's
Cloud9. Dude, they
C9's
are.
beating
this is
MIBR.
the most likely, probably.
Okay, most likely. So G2 wins, NRG loses. You can see that happening. Oh wait, that's a bad thing.
No, yeah,
G2
you want
quals.
Loud to win, right?
So you want G2? No. Oh wait. So
Wait,
you want?
Wait,
Where
so
are we?
we need
Where the
neither.
fuck? How
So
do we get
G2,
there?
both G2 and NRG cannot win a map.
G2
Yeah,
NRG
G2
both
and G
lose
both lose
0-2.
Yes.
And so not only do you need G2. Okay, so you need.
All three of those games needs to be 2-0s.
Hey, that's kind of possible.
It is possible. 100
Yeah.
Thieves has looked way better than NRG.
Are we sure
which
this is only
shocking to
1%?
say.
I'll give him at least 3%
But
for this.
it's percent of permutations, not percent chance.
Oh, okay.
So this is like
Dude,
the
it's-
multiverse in 1.75% of the situations
yeah,
this
yeah, I get
happens.
you.
It's not a measure of probability.
It's
Actually, might even give him a
Sen
5 here.
fans, give it up. It's done.
Oh,
it's
I know.
over.
Dude,
I was-
I mean, the way
don't
I
think so
see it,
anymore. I'm on
the way
board
I
now.
see it is it's 50-50. Either they make it or they don't.
What?
On a
Yeah.
completely
50-50.
tangential side note that's not related to this at all, I see Wingman in the back of my background, Mimi's background. Fuck Gecko, I'm with you, Sliggy.
Yeah, this is what I'm saying.
Yo,
I need
that's what
more
I'm saying.
people on my
He
side.
is
That's-
fucking up these strats left and right. Like, I
God.
see it. I see
What
it.
are we talking about?
I don't know. Okay, we can
Wingman.
get back on Americas, but I had to
There's
say
no-
it. I had to
No,
say
yeah.
it.
Wait, don't you have
You
Hey,
Wingman
guys,
Wingman
the
back there
host,
as
would you
well?
like to put us back on the rails?
Wait, what is that back there? That does look a little bit like
That is a
Wingman.
It
Wingman.
is a
in your back.
wingman. Yeah, it is a
Wow.
wingman.
Dude,
Yeah.
but Sean's actually gonna eat that later.
Okay, yeah.
It's a little snack you save. Okay, Sen
Notice how he's
can technically
off-center.
make it, but let's talk about the implications. It's highly unlikely Sentinels make playoffs. What are we walking away with? How far are this team's stocks dropping in our heads if they get grouped here?
I don't think too hard. They've got the cope with the terrible format of their group, which means that honestly, they probably should have made playoffs out of like our top teams. You think about top teams in Americas, right? Like send a top 6 team, right?
And
But they just didn't
just for
get the-
context, quick before you continue, Bren. If Kurt, you can pull up Sentinels matches. They lost 0-2 to Lev. They lost 1-2 to EG in the best form we've ever seen EG in, and they
Mhm.
lost to Loud right when they hit form.
Yep.
Continue.
I think they're still a really good team. I think they've just unfortunately ended up tackling teams when they're like reaching their peak, as they are also having to overcome the lack of rest from Madrid, the lack of time to adjust strats and evolve past the point of winning. Which, listen, it's very difficult. Once you reach the top, you have a target on your back. Everybody's going to be watching your games. Everybody has the most amount of footage on you compared to any other opponent. It's an uphill struggle. That's why you don't see consistency in Valorant. You can partition some of the blame to the fact that the game is constantly evolving and changing, and it's very difficult to find consistency there. But that's the other problem with it, is that just if you are winning, you're suffering from success, where everybody is going to have a perfect formula if they just put in the time to try and upset you on a few maps. And even past that point, it's just difficult to stay on top. I think this break is going to be quite useful, to be honest. If they don't make playoffs, I'm full cope for Sen. I think that they'll hopefully take it with a bit of rest period, but also I have no doubts in my mind they'll just be coming in fully charged up for stage 2.
I'm pretty much on board with this. I feel like even if they don't make playoffs, as long as it's kind of like Lev was that. Like, you remember last year, it's like, as long as they take that break, I think they're all good. And I think the one thing we've got to remember is this team's been going harder earlier than everyone else, right? Off season, they had to prove that Zalsis fitted into the team, that they could get results with him, just to try and prove to everyone and themselves that it should be Zalsis and not Pancada. So they're the ones that they're like 3 months earlier than everyone else, and they're really starting to hit the slump of actual burnout at the moment. So I think that's what we got to remember. They've been going so much harder, so much earlier on, and a break should do them good. And like I've been saying all the time, man, missing out on Shanghai, not too bad. If you can get 3 points, like they'll be 3-3, right? If they beat Furia, so they'll still be pretty much 6th on the board anyway. So they should be able to get to the playoffs in champs.
And
if
remember,
they
they
have a
also
pretty
have
good run.
the big lead on champs points from winning kickoff and winning that, plus winning the matches they've won. Even in a worst case scenario, there's still a high likelihood that they're the points team from Americas.
Yeah, they're basically praying whoever wins Americas doesn't win Shanghai. Like,
So
they don't want the double stack of points.
Yeah, so I was saying this narrative yesterday on stream, and like chat was kind of fucking me up and like made me think Sentinels, because it seemed like they were a lock to make champions initially based on all those points, but then someone was like, oh no, the top 3 placings from like the next stage, those get automatic bursts, and then the 4 spot is points.
Correct.
So like they could really get fucked. Like
no, they could.
Like that. It was a lock, but now we're in a scenario where like if one of these Americas teams, like say Crew wins the Americas region, they don't need to win Shanghai, you know, like, and then theoretically Crew isn't one of those top 3 teams that qualifies. They'll have more points than Sen. And the second thing you have to keep in mind is next stage, they play within the group, and the matches will only get way harder for Sen. They're going to be going up against NRG, G2, Cloud9, and Crew next stage. So, yeah, they'll have more time to prep, more time to like get things back in their favor. And I definitely think they're a great team and they can do that. But they certainly lost a little bit of luster when it comes to like their micro plays. Not overall like macro, but how the players are like moving around in duos.
I would agree with that.
And just like communication
sloppy,
plays.
I think, in a lot of their matches.
I think that what brought them through in the run in Madrid, their strats were always good, but that was never the make or break. I feel like the make or break was like a lot of individual form stuff. Saucy, super consistent in clutches. The like tens in second. A lot of the stuff we talked about with Crew, with like proactivity in the mid round, with like a duo taking risks sometimes and putting that stuff up. That was those guys. And no one's really been able to maintain that form. And I'm with you guys in that I don't blame the players. I just think that this format is so brutal, so taxing on anyone to come back and immediately have to do that, spend so much time scrimming while your opponents have been able to rest, have had basically a month off to prep and prepare. It's hard. And compared to kickoff, the field in Americas has leveled up so much. Loud in the last little bit of this stage has gotten much better. I mean, EG has gotten so much better. Leviathan has had a massive, like, all these teams around them are having massive step-ups while they're struggling to stay on top, and they're the team who has the most of their VODs out there. It's just a brutal situation to be in. Like, you watch Kaplan's coach cam compared to, like, the start of their run to now, and it reminds me of the, like, President Barack Obama 2008 versus 2016 images of just, like, a man should not be able to have that much of their life taken from them. Like, it's just brutal, because you listen to every interview with him, and he's like, I was up until 3 a.m. I was up until, like, being on a top team, the turnaround times you have, the prep time, everything. It is like the most incredibly taxing thing you could take, and it's clearly taken its toll on this team. But if they miss Shanghai, I think that they miss Shanghai and it's good for them is a real fucking cope, and they're gonna come back and be a real contender for champs. Well,
next topic.
Let's move on. Sen City. It's not happening, guys. Stop believing. The worst thing you can do is believe. Don't get your hopes up. A team that hopes are high on, though, is NRG. They've upset Sentinels and owned their season, and they've also just owned NRG. Fellas, EG, what?
You said NRG at the
You
start.
ended up by saying a team people are high up on is NRG.
Oh, I meant EG.
EG, yeah.
FNS took over her body.
People are low on energy, fellas. We're talking about EG, of course, the team who's just pulled off 2 massive wins back to back. Is 2023 happening again?
Dude, I love this EG squad right now. I was holding out hope for so long that they would be able to make that turnaround at some point, and just as I stopped predding them, they started winning. Just as I stopped predding them, and I think it's a combination of there being no hope for the stage, like just everything's like gone to shit. They were like, well, we're probably not going to make playoffs, whatever. But then it just all started clicking, which, I mean, it made me think that maybe it was just I don't know, too high of expectations. Just maybe taking the previous org's accomplishments and seeing like if they could meet them again, because people are kind of attributing it 1-to-1, which it really shouldn't be for like this iteration of EG versus the old one. But this time in that same game, oh my god, it was clicking. And against NRG too, like NRG really showing that they are still struggling with various aspects of their game, which I'm sure we'll talk about. But I mean, full credit to EG. I think that they have just all come alive, because you saw glimpses of it. Like Derek is an amazing player in the clutch, and we saw moments of that were like saving them in rounds early on in the stage 1. But it wasn't coming together with the rest of the team. And now all of a sudden you've got Apoth, who's still playing like that textbook trademark style of Sentinel that EG, I think that Potter's really trying to push for, where he's just taking risks constantly. They're playing Cypher on maps so that he can aggressively lurk and take space and try and take those fights and like create those openings. And Jorgamo is now playing with consistency as well. It's all coming together at the right time here for EG to make me, I don't know, I'm a believer. I hope they end up qualifying for playoffs, really, because I just want to see how far they can actually go. I want them to get to Shanghai.
They're like one of the most enjoyable teams to watch for me at the moment. Like some of the anti and their overall macro to play against who they're playing against is so sick, dude. They're winning against NRG when they lost double pistol. Like some of the anti is incredibly good. I mean, like I'm watching that Sunset game. I think it was 11. Was it 11-11 with the timeout when they were going to do the fracture
aftershock round? Oh
Kurt,
my god!
Kurt, that's the last clip I just sent you. Kurt, that's the last clip. Just play it. Yeah. It's so insane.
So it's like they've been struggling to get over towards B the whole time because they've been doing this smoke, which is honestly NRG was struggling the whole time. And then Potter knew that they were going to do the fish through it, because so I even went back through the demos. So they fish all 4 out of 5 times over towards B, and there's like a little bit of a read I imagine she had, but at the same time they've been struggling to get over towards B, so she calls a pause at 11-11, realizes they're going to fish ult through this, and then they tether and explode through. And it's either a straight up anti-strat, or maybe they've been using it against certain teams that have been doing like maybe when they play aggro over towards B, maybe there's like a Sova drone that goes out and they use it to kill the Sova, something like this. But it was just such a sick time to bring it out. The overall macro and like a lot of the rounds of how NRG likes to play is just a very good understanding. And the more and more I watch Potter in just different teams, like I always judge coaches, you normally need 2 different teams, because you never know like entirely who's like involved in it and who is like the person doing a lot of the legwork. And I just think Potter's unbelievable. From what I'm seeing, I just think she's unbelievable, deserves the most praise. And in my books, just securing herself is pretty much the #1 coach that I'm watching.
Fuck yes, dude. Fuck yes. I'm so glad you said that. Because I agree. I think she is the best coach. Yeah. And there's like no argument. There's no fucking argument.
I feel like the fact that people would doubt that after last year is like asinine to me.
But you don't know
they gave her like
the
3 weeks before passing judgment again. It's ridiculous.
Dude, Sliggy, how hard is it and how deflated would you be to do what she did last season and have to do it all over again from scratch?
Just all your star players are gone. You're like, oh, okay, I have to do it literally all again. I did the unthinkable and I'm going to do it again.
Yeah, I might be so depressed that like I phone in the first like 3 weeks, but she didn't even do that. Like everything is like really well thought out. And if you look at the veto against NRG, you can see like they ban Breeze, right? What does NRG pick? They pick Breeze and Ascent. So she bullies them into picking Ascent. She knows it. She knows it's fucking coming. NRG win both pistols and EG just shit on them. They make a slight comp change. They go Cypher to Killjoy. So she knows NRG is going to pick Ascent. She knows they're going to prep for it, and she makes a slight change to the way they approach the map. Yeah, that is an insane counter already. Then she goes into the second pick. She picks Lotus, which is a map NRG has yet to show. They've shown weakness. They used to first ban it. They'd been second banning it. They'd never picked it. It was definitely a weak point in their map pool, and it was worth a shot there. She was going anti-first map, free rolling second map going into the weak part of NRG, and then third map she had Sunset to anti again on. And bro, like Kurt, cue up the 2 clips out of the NRG timeouts. What? So these are the Ascent rounds. NRG called 2 timeouts in the first half of Ascent. They won 0 gun rounds. 0. Like it was, they were up 2-0 and then EG blanked them. And it's because Potter knew exactly how NRG like playing. And
is this
out
the
of
fast strats, right?
Yes, out of the timeouts, NRG calls fast sight hits. And I clearly know that like based on how Potter called out of these, she knows that in low buy scenarios, out of timeouts, Chet will give them a set play. And yeah, so there's the knife at B main and there's the A stack on the second one. So play them both, Kurt. Just watch these reads. Like, these are crazy reads.
Because that was the first time where the KO had started B as well out of all of those rounds.
They had never knifed there before that round.
So the KO also has knife, like ult though. So the KO is playing center of the map with knife and ult. So like he can shut down any hit. Like this is a very well thought through anti-strat that has layers across like many different areas of the round. Like it's truly beautiful. Like they broke the B hit early here. You can skip the rest, Kurt, because it's honestly like energy is just fucking so confused at that point. They don't even know how to approach it. And then after the next one, there's an A stack, and I think like Demon, or I'm sorry, not Jog is leaning Heaven as like a third player. Like you can see, like they're ready for this shit, bro. Look, they're ready for a B hit and an A hit. That's all they're ready for right now. Like they were ready for both of them. It's just hard counter after hard counter after hard counter.
This was the same game as well. Like third round, they worked out the default. Is this the game where it's third round they worked out the default and pushed the Omen solo, and then the next round they pushed the Killjoy solo on like third and fourth. Dude, they just had the best reads. It was literally done.
The way on both these maps that they control, on both this and Sunset, that they were like, but especially on Ascent, that they on their defensive side were like pressuring B main control. Energy was like never able to re-clear that space because they kept on picking these perfect timings to get a forward entrenched player, and then are rotating strong side into A, and every round Energy going for these late hits is just getting absolutely dominated. They were flushing out, they know that Energy has Marved, who's pretty much every round going to be lurking on one of those extremities, aggro on this map because that's what he loves doing, and they did such a good job of proactively shutting down that space. On top of these annies on the timeouts, and on top of that, the fucking player performance is ridiculous right now from this team. When you talked about like, if you were a coach in Potter's situation, there was a world where you would feel like just so deflated, you'd be like phoning it in, you wouldn't be able to find the motivation. I thought that's what was going to happen with Jaw. He was the only one left on the team. All his boys around him left. Everyone's like, oh, this team's not going to be good. This team is going to be bad. And his performance the first few weeks was like the worst we've ever seen from him. I was really afraid that, like just speculating, that he was losing motivation or something and wasn't going to be able to re-hit that form. But EG work out so many of their issues. They come into their last two matches with fantastic game plans, and his confidence is again out of this world, and he's playing to the level he was playing when they won champions. And he's playing primary duelist every map. We never really got to see his Jet before, but he's such a good Jet player. His opping, something we hadn't gotten to see a lot of last year because he was on a team with Demon 1, was great. His Raze play is ridiculous. We talk about Crew with having a star player who can play Raze and Jet at an incredibly high level. That's rare, and Jaw is exactly that to a T. This guy is so good for this team right now, and I mean, we were already talking about this clip, but the way they close that map is sublime from him.
This is ice cold.
The way he gets up, like he's not even like popping off either. Just like, yup, that's.
And also imagine you're one of these teammates. Okay, another like just hyping up Potter. I don't know if you guys saw the clip they aired at halftime where Potter
the
and
Shaq
put
one?
out on Dan's. Yeah, the Shaq clip.
Yeah.
I don't know if we can pull that up, Kurt. The Potter Shaq clip. Dan Dryad tweeted it, but basically, Potter is telling her players, are you a little guy, or are you up there and can you compete with Shaq? Are you on that level? Like, she is just instilled into these players the mentality that we are not an underdog. We are not like here trying to upset, which is such an easy mentality to slip into as an underdog team. I think it can even be good sometimes. But no, we're champions. Your teammate just won. We have done this before. If you believe in my system, if you fully commit and fully buy in, we are Shaq. We're right up there with him. We just have to believe. We have to believe that we're 8 feet tall. And they're believing it. They're 8 feet tall. All of a sudden, it's incredible what she has pulled off now with two young teams.
She's convinced her players that, like, you know, Demon 1 isn't Demon 1. Demon 1 is Jet. Demon 1 is Raze. Like, it is an agent. It's not a fucking mythical creature. It's not a person that is capable of like things that, you know, like you're playing against characters in a game, right? Like, you know the limitations of these characters. Don't shrink in the moment because the name on the other side of the server has done some shit in a prior game. Like, that's silly. It's silly to play the game that way. When teams play like, oh, Osboss is on the other team, they fucking lose. You can't play that way.
Yeah. Kurt has the clip if we can watch this one through with audio.
I had a lot of one-on-ones after we got destroyed by crew with each of the players, and in my conversations with them, I asked them, if we were playing basketball right now and Shaq was on the other side, it's Shaq over there, do you see yourself as like a tiny kid on the court trying to play basketball versus Shaq, or are you a huge motherfucker like Shaq is, right? And they all said they were like a small, you know, they were scrappy, David and Goliath, but they were gonna come back and everyone's gonna respect them for fighting again, right? Even though they're small. And I said, I don't see you like that. I don't think anyone else sees you like that. You're Shaq, you're just as big as this motherfucker.
Wow.
He's just been in the league for a little bit longer, right? So you have just as many tools as these guys. And that's been the thing for this squad is they're so talented, all of them, so talented, but just the confidence. I had a
It's
I
so
love
cool.
that clip.
Yeah, it's so
I love
cool.
that
How
clip.
is she so cool,
Great.
dude?
Yeah.
How is she
Yeah.
so cool? She's such a nice, lovely person, and also just so incredibly talented at her job. It's insane.
What are the goat?
Yeah.
Pretty
Just
much.
the goat. Also making just the Shaq and height analogies just in front of Dan. And Dan's just like,
Yeah, you
yep.
lot brought that up on the broadcast, man. I was
Dude,
cracking
Josh-
up.
Dude, Josh, we
Josh
were
did it,
dying.
yeah.
We were like,
I didn't even think about it.
God.
It's crazy.
Yeah, just a 2 foot height difference as well. I mean, Dan's catching strays again, but oh god, that cracked me up.
But
yeah.
I mean, what we're talking, just
They goated.
another quick credit to Dan. She really does great work with the
Yeah.
interview. We don't get to see him a lot as an English-speaking audience who doesn't watch that stream, but she gets a lot of insight out of players, and she'll oftentimes post her stuff translated to English on her Twitter. So you should follow her if you want like additional interview content beyond what you get
Hold
from
up.
the press and from the NA broadcast.
Okay, too much pause. Too much. I need to complain. I need to fucking
Negativity,
complain.
please, Sean.
I need to fucking complain. Okay, NRG. Dude, Kurt, play that fucking... God, they are terrible. They're fucking terrible, dude. Enough EG Glaze into the fucking... TMV has a 46-minute video
I
that'll
have
do
a-
way better than anything I could say.
I have
Dude,
a
their
special
attack
video
sides.
from him real quick that he wanted me to run, so I'm gonna run that.
Oh, great.
Okay.
Okay,
Let's
yeah.
see it.
Play
Perfect.
that. Yeah.
Perfect.
What's up, Plat Nation? It's your boy
we can't
TMV,
hear it.
and
I
I'm
can't
here
hear
to
it.
talk about NRG.
All right, if you guys can't hear it, I will. Shoot, we can't run it if you guys can't
Wait,
hear it.
I'll go in the stream. I'll go in the stream.
Go
I'll
in the stream. Go to
Go
the
in the
stream.
stream.
Everybody go to the
Go
stream.
in the stream.
I
I'm opening
know
up
how
the
to
stream.
fix this, but I can't fix it quickly.
Yeah, it's good.
But the audio.
Wait, are we live on Twitch?
We're live on YouTube.
Go to YouTube.
I'm here.
Okay, go.
This is gonna be the most delayed reaction of all time, but that makes it even better. All right. Shout out to
Yeah, I'm ready.
TMV and shout out to me for
Play
running
it.
out of stream.
Play it.
What's
play
up,
it,
Plat
I'm ready.
Nation? It's your boy TMV, and I'm here to talk about NRG. Because yesterday I made a 46-minute long video about their struggles on the attack side. But I know for the younger generation like Bren, Mimi, they've got brain rot. They can't pay attention that long. So I thought I'd summarize it for them in a way that they might relate to.
Feeling the heat has been turned up. Hard now display. Jorgemont with the bucket in his hand. He's even touched the flash. APM off the bloody charts from this guy. And now wants to pave the way. Committing one of the blades. We're moving away from that. They're flying through and forwards. This is a sight that's going to be great now for them as they open that plan down. And it's in your own hands.
Yeah. Yeah, that's relatable. That's very relatable. I'm so glad he made that.
I relate to that deeply.
I relate to that. The car in a
Energy
car.
bad.
Dude, even though he misused the meme, I appreciate the effort to connect with the youth.
Wait, why did he
Yeah.
misuse it?
He misused it. You're supposed to make the comparison to like an actual race car. Usually it's Lightning McQueen, and then you show the car in a car, and then it plays the song. But it's fine. It's okay. He tried.
I
he
thought he
tried his
did great.
best.
I thought he did
tried.
great,
I
and I
he enjoyed the
related to it.
video. It was
Yeah, that
good. I enjoyed
That was
it.
good.
Is there anything else to add besides
Dude.
energy bad?
Wait, are we talking energy?
Sean
We gotta
got
watch
some
that.
clips.
We gotta watch
Only
these
5
fucking
minutes.
rounds, dude.
Dude,
Watch round
Sean,
6.
rounds.
Sean, run us through it.
Dude, TMV's reaction in the video, the 46-minute video to this round is actually immaculate because this is what I was doing. Round
Wait, is this
6
the
is-
Lotus one?
Yes.
Holy
The
shit.
Marv
this
double
is
tripling?
crazy.
The Marv double
Oh my god, the
Yeah,
one where he's...
yeah.
Oh, I remember this.
Bro, What are they doing? They have a Poppy comp where they like shouldn't be getting like slow default control. This is one of the few rounds where Victor didn't just waste his double satchels off the bat. Like I was losing my goddamn mind, dude. Double satchel, fault line, gecko flash, like to open every round into quietness for like a minute. We're controlling 2 lanes on a 3-lane map, and we hardly ever make presence on the 3rd one unless we're gonna go there. Here, they make so much pressure here. They use one of the brim smokes. They got 2 left. What are they gonna do?
I remember being confused about this when I was casting.
Yeah.
Dude, I did the same thing. I was at 30 seconds, and I was like, I can see the mini map, and I have no idea what the hell's going on.
Bro,
I was like, I don't know where they're gonna go.
Bro,
I don't know what they're gonna do.
They get fade ulted. EG's like, why the fuck are there 2 people
But,
alone?
bro,
What's
it hits
happening?
2. Like it hits 2. You can make a call off of that. You can probably pop C with 3 of you.
Yeah.
And they just don't do anything.
No, they don't do any of that. No, why would they take advantage of numbers somewhere? No, fuck that. No, they're going to actually open the C door, Sliggy, which then pulls everyone into B because you're long, you're C mound. Where are you going to go? You're going to go, oh, you're going to go B. You're going to go B. But Marv is lurking through C, even though there's a Cypher cam there. They actually knew he was here. He has 2 trips. He has 2 trips. Why does he have 2 trips? What is he doing, dude? Like, bro, we're in a solo Bren comp. The Cypher with cages. Pretty much the second controller, if you're going to run a slow strat, is literally just on 4K lurking. I'm just...
Dude, I feel like the contrast to this and when EG run the Cypher on this map, and they're so good at how they're using the cage util on their attacking side to like condition B pops, or even timing their pops with the cages. It's like, it's night and day in utilization.
Should I give you a bit of hope? There's a Cypher update now, so they're actually be told if the camera's watching them. And I feel like these guys need all the help they can get, man. So that's a big win for NRG.
Dude, their defense sides look good though for NRG. They do look like when they don't have to make active decisions about working a map.
There's the asterisk we were looking for. Go ahead, that work.
Defense sides do look good.
Yeah, here we go.
They have a major problem, which I think is just a reality of Ethan stepping into the IGL role, which is he doesn't know how to efficiently call the attack sides. And I don't really know what the solve for that is, but for me, it would just be looking at the VODs and being like, listening to the comms, what the hell were we doing here? Like, did we have a goal in mind? Were we trying to pressure C and go back to it later after pressuring A little bit? And like, what was the backup plan in mind? And thinking about those layers to it. It's something that's going to be probably a long time to correct and fix.
Yeah. I mean, in a pool with Lotus and Sunset, they averaged 4 attack rounds won in the series.
And those maps are
CG.
very, like, those maps are very.
And I get it on
Ascent.
Ascent is tough to call an attack side, but like
Ascent's hard as well.
Like Lotus and Sunset, that is losing us games.
Arguably, they've got maps that should be working out for them. I think the macro on Icebox attack is very simple. Like that does not require a lot of heavy prep ahead of time. You can get away with that. You can get away with just skilling it sometimes.
We got some Brits here, Mimi. Everyone get the cups out. I'm going to pour some tea. Ready?
Okay.
Here we go.
Okay.
All right. So this is like a very common thing in esports. I've seen this twice now when an NA team wins a big event on NA soil. I've been there as like broadcast talent and I talked to them in the after party. And both of them, the players were fucking sad about something on their team and some kind of dynamic, and they perceived how they won in an incorrect way in my eyes. I talked to some of those EG players in the after party, and it reminded me so much of talking to Cloud9 after the Boston win. And it's like, they don't even know why Potter was so important, like why the change of paces were so important. They just were like, this thing was great. And yes, that thing was great. Like a lot of what NRG does is great, but they're missing so much that made EG great. The set plays, the fucking ult plays, the little micro plays, the comp changes, like all of the little things that Potter brought to EG, NRG doesn't have. And it makes them look fucking awful. But initially, NRG looked unstoppable. Before anyone realized any of this shit, before they realized they were missing a lot of the stuff that made EG good in the long run, like in the kickoff games, they were blowing people out on like Breeze, Ascent, you know, these jet maps. They were even running jet on Sunset. But the shelf life on that play style quickly ran out. And now they're just running this like real fucking bland vanilla style where they thought they could just manipulate rotations and play slow forever. They just thought that like they could do that. And they are learning the hard way that like that is not how you play fucking Valorant. Like you had the wrong read. You had the wrong read. You didn't give the head coach enough credit. And you didn't understand what actually got you those wins back in the day. But that doesn't mean they don't have great players and they can't change that. That's where energy is in my eyes.
No, I think you kind of nailed it, honestly. I pretty much second a lot of that. I feel like they only like I feel like they're in a similar point to K Corp, where it's like if they lean into like this heavier new play style of just different comps and people aren't used to what they're doing, that's probably how they should be leaning, because they can't really mid-round, and I don't think they can learn it fast. So I think they should copy what K-Corp's doing. New comps might be like take teams like 2 weeks to essentially work out what you're doing, and then you have like more time to change it up. I think that's the only way this team looks good, because the stuff that they have to do is the hard stuff, and it's not like one of those things where it's like, oh, hour fix for this team. It's not an hour.
This is a long.
Yeah, this is all
stuff.
of the hard shit. So it's like
So we're talking like 1 month in a room, not an hour in a room.
I'm not even
1
sure that
month
would
in a
do it.
room.
Yeah, it's
Dude,
a lot.
It's so difficult.
I'm
What
not sure that
Sliggy's
would do it.
saying is like they need band-aid fixes in the short term with like fully fledged like game plans, kind of like what I was doing for like 100 Thieves, right? Like you need to band-aid a lot of this shit. If your players can't make those plays by themselves, you need to have full control and in a rigid system for them to win. And that's terrible. Like that's not what I thought energy would be. That's just not.
Sure. The interesting question is, I feel like EG was a lot like the way Potter coaches, I think is a lot more like rigid and control based. I wonder if there's a big like adaptation time there for Ethan and Demon One moving to this system. Do you think?
The difference here is what I've always said in a system, and the reason why like back in the day on 100 Thieves, Seller had all those issues with me being rigid is you have to start rigid. If you start loose, you're where energy is. You're fucked. You don't know what's wrong. You don't know what to fix. And you just got to put the handcuffs on everything. And then all of a sudden, these players that made all these loose plays and won you the games, they're like, they can't even decide what's right and wrong because you've been playing this loose style. But if you start very rigid, you can then just kind of like peel off like a little of the restraints little by little as the players learn more about rotations and the fundamental ways to play with each other and how the duo pairs work around the map. You know, like that is definitely the way you should approach it. And NRG went the opposite way, and they're paying the price right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can kind of feel that in the way that, I mean, they do post-match interviews or post-map interviews as well with Chet, and he's trying to diagnose the problems of NRG when they lose maps.
You mean like the coach interviews they do?
Yeah, the coach
after
interviews, and it's. I know as a coach you don't want to reveal too much, right? But also, I think it can be very difficult as well to try and diagnose when you're only seeing one half of the puzzle, like you're only watching your team's POV off the back of a map. So when we watch the VODs, we have all the information to work with. But I think, yeah, when they diagnose their issues as like we just weren't hitting our shots on that day, that's not consistent. Like when I'm seeing like blatant lack of ideas into the mid rounding, when the first step of your plan on an attack side round goes wrong, and you don't know how to pivot into another direction because you haven't even thought about putting somebody into that position, and they might be able to hold that space so that you can go back into it later. That's my biggest issue with them is that they only have 2 gear shifts, and it's very slow defaults that don't really get much done in terms of like actions. If you're going to pack a lot of time in those 1 minute 45, you don't have a lot of time to work with. You've got to be really tight with it, and you've got to have structure there. Or if you're trying to go really fast, what's your game plan when it fails? Because that's the other thing. They go incredibly quick at tempo. They get stalled out by some util that's basic, that's been done for 2 years now on Ascent, right? As the example, they try and go into fast hits, they get stalled out. And credit to the teams that can work that out, obviously on the back end of timeouts like we were given to EG, but they're missing that middle element of just either pre-planning into the attack side rounds or just that efficiency, and they rely so much on players taking the initiative. And if Marv's not getting like lurk timings and opening up the map for them, it gets chalked. It gets chalked immediately.
My cope, they lose to 100 Thieves. They don't make playoffs. They're not making Shanghai. They have time to retool. And I think these are the kind of players that are going to be so fucking disappointed if they don't make an international event, if they like basically fail in this stage 1, that I am hopeful that they'll have time to retool. But there is a lot of problems. But we're 3 hours and 36 minutes into the podcast.
Yeah, it might be time to go into Preds.
Let's move into Preds.
Yeah.
And our first one is a nice segue. It's NRG, 100 Thieves.
You caught me slacking me.
I'm ready for this. Get ready for the screenshot, fellas. It's coming.
Asleep.
Just 1 second here. Oh, EMEA. Wait.
What button do I press again?
Keep holding the thumbs up.
Sluggy, you're an instigator.
Dude, I'm not. That's what I'm saying,
What are you
bro.
doing?
That's what I'm saying. They can't. They can't. None of these games are real. They can't look
For
this bad.
context,
Wait,
for context,
they can't look this bad.
wait, audio listeners, all 3 of us except Sliggy picked NRG or picked 100 Thieves. Sliggy picked NRG.
Why?
You can't look
Why?
this. You can't. You got 4 coaches. You got some of the best players in the world. I refuse to believe what I'm seeing. NRG winning. I got nothing other
You
than
can't
that.
get through it with a straight face.
What? I'm predicting them. They're gonna win this one. New comps. New
All right, say it
NRG,
again without
they're gonna look
laughing.
good.
You're 0 for 2 right
New
now.
comps. New NRG.
You're smiling.
I'm allowed to smile.
New comps, new energy. They should just fucking clip that and make it their slogan.
That's not a.
Yeah.
That's
That's
not
not
how
real.
they win.
Better
That's how they win.
ingredients, better pizza, Papa John's. New comps, new ideas, energy.
Dude, but like realistically, 5 players, 4 coaches, guys. It can't look like this. What the hell's going on? Like, can we
But
all
it
be
ca-
serious
but
for a
it
while?
can,
What is everyone doing?
Oh, but it
Yeah.
can.
It
There,
can,
there
trust
is
me.
enough fixes that people can do this. One coach can just come up with protocols. This person means this. This map control denied means this. We can do that. We can help out the calling. We've
honestly-
got 4 coaches. I need to see something because it can't be this bad with the numbers and the people that we're seeing there. It shouldn't ever happen like this.
Hearing so
People,
much.
the community is
I'm-
calling for NRG's coaching staff's head. They want Chet fired. I want a new chef. That chef guy, that NRG chef guy.
You want him involved?
We're making him the scapegoat. We're
Yeah.
making him the scapegoat. We need, honestly, they don't deserve fine, fresh cooked meals until they're fucking winners. Give them, dude.
Stuff them with sodium. Give
They
them
don't get a
sodium.
car anymore. They're
Yeah.
walking to Ralph's and they're cooking for themselves.
They're buying
until they
ultra
start to win.
processed foods until their
Blue
guts
Lock
hate them.
type beat.
Yes.
Just if you win, you get steak. You get beautiful fresh food.
Yes,
If
exactly.
you lose, you get gruel.
Exactly. You get no. You get what was like Owner and Leviathan, the
You
meal
Owner
planning that they
treatment.
had, where it was
Hot
like
shower.
a
5 a.m.
perfectly
shower.
portioned like, yeah, they need the 5 a.m. cold shower. And they need the unseasoned chicken breast and the bland mashed potatoes. It could fix them. Nope, this is too fancy. This is
shouldn't
too
get
nice.
this.
Look at what they're getting. Look at what they're
Yeah,
getting.
that's
When they're
nuts.
winners, they can have this.
How can none of you are bringing out points of why 100 Thieves are going to win?
Because they're gonna win. I don't need to make
I've
a
heard
point.
nothing. Mine's
Don't
all
need to make a
convincing
point.
so far.
100 Thieves are gonna
Nothing.
win, but if I see another fucking 5v5 post plant on the A side of Split that they just don't get a single kill, I'm gonna lose it. I'm gonna lose. Like they'll win the game though. They'll win.
Sean, when I was watching your coach stream, you were talking a lot about the Asuna narrative. What's
Oh, God.
what's the narrative?
How dare you?
What's the narrative?
How dare you? In that third map, dude, it was crazy. I basically said before the map started, I think the narrative here is it's gonna if Asuna has a better game than Kesnet or even an even game, then 100 Thieves will win. And the narrative literally held true every single round. So if like they washed out, 100 Thieves won. If Kesnet had a better round than Asuna, Crew won. And if Asuna had a better round than Kesnet, 100 Thieves won. The game ended 13-8. So you can kind of guess who had a better game just based on the score. But I swear to God, you can play it out round by round and it holds. I don't know how the narrative held for a whole game though. That was pretty crazy. You saw that, Mimi?
I did. I was watching the main broadcast, but then I watched your stream for the last map, and I just wanted the narrative explained.
He's really good. Kesnet's really good. It's hard to diff him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he is really good. But honestly, 100 Thieves, I think they've steadily improved throughout this run. I think even if the narrative was true, Asuna's been getting more consistent. I think they have some really good ideas for their mid round. I like the way that Busio's calling with this team. I think their bind is looking pretty solid. Dude, why am I'm grasping it? We've
Dude,
been
they-
podcasting
that's
for
good.
3 hours and
Dude, they
40
You
look-
don't,
minutes.
need, you don't need much. I don't
Yeah,
think. You don't
they
need much.
look really good. If there was
I
like
think they're really
a if they didn't lose double pistol and split, that crew game's pretty close.
Oh, I remember my point as well. EU has been sick for this team. I think he's been such an important addition to, like, you watch him play, he's yapping like crazy. I think adding another good voice and taking some of that pressure off of Asuna. And I think he's been super consistent when he's playing on the initiator, which I've liked to watch. You guys were... This is now the time I want to bring back up the Gecko hate, because the split Gecko for
Yeah.
100 Thieves, I feel like it gets, like, such little value.
Yeah.
I've been a big Gecko supporter on a lot of maps, but I'm just not sold on this split comp, especially with when they're getting... I just don't think Gecko is very good at retaking on split, especially on B site. I think he struggles so much to hit the right angles. Honestly, in a similar argument to why Sova hasn't played much on this map. It's like Fade, and I don't see the vision the way I see it on their other maps.
I think I kind of agree with that because I like the fade, but I think that something didn't feel great with it. So maybe it is the Gecko.
Yeah, I think it is. They're running like a no Senti comp. They're already going a little bit like weird by going Astra instead of Omen in the double controller. They have no Senti, so they're relying a lot on rotations and stuff. And honestly, like that sketches me out with the 100 Thieves players. That it just sketches me out. Every time I watch them play that style on split, they get kind of abused on the rotations. A team like Crew, I would just favor them against that comp for 100 Thieves. And yeah, I just don't see a lot of value out of Gecko. Like they're putting a lot of the double initiator at A, and they're just not very powerful. Like Gecko can have like some power, but it's the same thing when I watched like that comp yesterday, I think with it was like Sova Gecko on Sunset versus like Breach Gecko. The Breach just shit on it, all the initiators. Like the Breach just overpowers it all. It's, you know, I feel like that Gecko can get overpowered in these double initiator comps if he's not run with the right other agent.
I feel like the comparison too for like, I feel like we've seen Breach stun. You can just set up so many plays on this map. You look at, I mean, I was going to use Loud as an example. Their split was, but I think you can just set up so much more variety that I'm not totally sold on the Gecko stuff and what value he provides. But I still think 100 Thieves will win, because if you're extrapolating to their whole map pool, I think the players have been in great form. I think this is the best we've ever seen 100 Thieves at actually having flexibility in the mid-round and being able to adapt while not letting the slop set in too much, which is such an upgrade from previous additions to this team. Bren, do you have any thoughts on 100 Thieves, or should we move on?
No, you guys are hitting. I mean, we're almost 4 hours deep, so I'm just trying to.
I mean, at this point, I'm trying to hit 4 hours. We have 16 more minutes. We've
Dude,
got
I want to be able to
you
get
guys are saying
lunch
good
from
points.
Riot
Let's
so I can eat
let's
today.
try and wrap this up so that I can rest. I've been up since 8 a.m. watching
Dude,
VODs.
rip the 4-hour
Rep the
episode.
Preds.
Crew Lev.
Ooh,
I meant to
okay.
pred Lev, and I would like to change to Lev.
I mean, dude.
Oh
fucking, I'll
shoot!
stand
I
alone with
switched
Crew.
it twice. Then my bad.
You're good.
I'm happy.
But
I'm
it
happy
is
with
Lev
the Crew.
Crew. 3 of us went Lev, me, Sean, and Sliggy, and Bren went Crew. I think we already made the case for Lev winning this game in the previous segment of like, this is the humbling for Crew. But I want to see the cope for Crew.
Don't care if it's the humbling for Crew. I think Crew is still going to play with confidence. I think that they're going to. The thing is, you've got two teams that are very proactive that are playing against each other. At least this new iteration of Lev, they're actually a lot of the times on the same page when they're calling up these little micro plays when you watch them. I think it'll be a banger match, to be honest. Listen, Crew.
It's gonna be banger.
I think it's gonna be a banger match. There's definite chances for Lev to win. I still think Crew are goated though. There's
Kurt, what's
just
the
the
match
style
of the
that they're
week?
playing.
This has to be match of the
Is
week.
this the match of the
I'm gonna
week?
make
I
Send
think this is
Fury
the
of
match
Friday
of the
night.
week.
Send Fury of Friday night goes
Oh,
crazy.
that's true. Yeah, I forgot about that.
We could
Be
do
quiet.
that.
Don't talking, please. No, this is definitely the match of the week. And for the little Timmies out there in the audience, last week you guys had to pick for the match of the week between Crew and 100 Thieves. You voted 100 Thieves with 56% of the votes,
Oh,
and
Timmy.
you were not correct.
Timmy.
6-4 still.
You're losing your
Still
lead.
pretty good.
It is
They've
still
been
pretty
ahead
good,
for
but
a
it's-
long time.
They're losing it.
Yeah.
They're losing the magic.
But Timmy, make sure you subscribe to the channel so you get the notification for the community poll and vote between Crew and Lev. Don't fucking get it wrong.
Whoa. It's
whoa.
okay.
The other
So
Timmies
chill.
need you.
So chill. What's the next spread? What do we do?
What did we
Where
just
are we?
do? Crew Lev.
True love, yeah.
Lev is probably favored, but Crew's on a run. It's match of the week. Cloud9 MIBR.
There you go. we all just knew. I mean, the trouble is, I feel like as shit as MIBR have been looking, Cloud9, they are just the barons of mud. They're shipping around clay all over the fucking place. They got all types of red dirt kicking back there, man. They are so happy to grab a team by the ankles and just get down and dirty, man. They really are.
Wait.
I'm not kidding. You watch them play, and there's some aspects of the game that are just so good. Like I thought that their retake protocols on Lotus on one of the matches they played was fantastic, and I'm like, wow, they're setting themselves up. This is like something that you can really build upon as a winning element for your game plans. And then I just watched them like fumble rounds, like fucking choking leads, like losing advantages.
The Ascent versus Furia was ridiculous.
God almighty. And how can we have this much faith in Cloud9 here is what I'm saying.
Because MIBR haven't been looking good. They're good at kickoff, and then we haven't seen that ever since.
Bren, I'm going to drop some numbers for you here.
Okay.
8. That's the number of maps MIBR has played. 48. That's the number of rounds they've won. In 8 maps, they've won 48 rounds. That's awful,
pretty much the end of this one.
I cannot pick this team. Like they could play.
I'm picking this team. I'm picking MIBR.
No, you're not. You're not picking MIBR.
I'm picking MIBR.
Bren, I know we've been podcasting for 4 hours, but you cannot pick MIBR.
I'm picking the Pred.
No, don't, Kurt. Don't let him.
I'm picking the Pred.
Back away.
No. I'm doing it. I'm committing to it.
Honestly, I respect it.
I can't.
I'm gonna need a 23andMe done on this man. He has to be fucking Brazilian. He has to be. He fucking has to be.
I'm so fucking made in Brazil. It's unbelievable. I'm so made in Brazil. What do they say in Brazil? Obrigado. I'm fucking so Brazilian right now. I'm speaking Portuguese left, right, and center. Dude, I just listen. Cloud9, they are the better team. They should be winning this. MIBR have been shitting the bed, but that's exactly why MIBR are gonna win. I'm telling you, man, it's gonna fucking happen.
I feel like the only counterpoint you need is MIBR haven't won a map. They haven't won.
Not one.
I don't care. When you've lost all hope, that's when the light at the end of the tunnel shines.
Yeah,
that's the most
that's what I'm saying.
Have
I should use that for my NRG thing.
Have they gotten like double digits ever? Let's see. They got 9 once. They got 9 against NRG. They got 9 against G2 and 9 against NRG. And you're picking them to win us. They've never got 10 rounds, Bren. This is insane. This is insane.
I mean...
Bro, all I'm saying is when it comes to like a week's time and we're getting atted on Twitter with Bren's little face smiling.
I'm blocking Bren if he adds me on Twitter with an MIBR post.
Wait, if you add their... Oh, they got a map in their first series. I was like, if you add their rounds from both of their maps in the series, could they get a map? Do you know what I mean?
I think...
They only got one map.
Dude, I'm telling you.
That's crazy.
There's something is going to come together here.
That's actually
going to come together.
If you add
something's going to come together.
Their series, they still only have one map. That's ridiculous. Holy
what the hell
shit.
are the odds? What the Cloud9 like a lock yet? Like, is this like a map that they? So the scenario where MIBR win is if Cloud9 are put in a position where all the pressure is on them and they need
Kurt,
to
will you pull up
win
the graphic I sent you?
versus MIBR.
Oh God.
And if MIBR don't have any pressure in this game, they are fucking winning. They're fucking winning. I'm going with the choker narrative. That's what I'm going with. They have a 93.73% chance. It's over. My Pred's going to be wrong. But I'm still sticking with MIBR. That was the only thing I was fucking banking on.
They are out. They want to go home. They want to see their wife. They want to see their kids. They want to fucking rest. They've been away from home. They're tired. They've had a terrible season. They just want to go home, chill out for a bit, and then come back rejuvenated and scrim and be better in the second series. They have no motivation to like pop off this series. Cloud9 have everything. They have every motivator they need.
What's the 3% chance that they don't make playoffs?
Remember, it's not a % chance. It's 3% of scenarios.
Yeah.
Is that Sen making it?
Yes. If Sen makes it, they might not.
Oh my god, I remember now. It's all coming back to me. I like blocked it all out. The MIBR G2 series, dude. They actually won the First Bloods in that series. That is a hard concept to grasp when they got blown out like that. But their opening rounds weren't awful in that series. The decisions they made after that, though, holy fuck. It was crazy what I was seeing out there.
What if I were to tell you guys that if MIBR 2-0 and then G2 and NRG both win, C9 don't make playoffs?
Okay.
What
And I would tell you that, like, that's
you
why
are
it doesn't
dragging
matter,
this
bro.
so
I'm,
long.
yeah, let's go. You guys are the ones that wanted to end this.
Yeah, let's go.
Wait, 9 more minutes, Acorn! 9 more minutes, Acorn!
Dude, you're the one that colored an entire table
No.
red.
What are we doing? What have we all done this?
No, look at our faces. We weren't ready.
We were ready.
Guys, what are we doing? So I need someone to switch. I know we want to wrap this up.
Loud is winning this game.
Loud are looking good.
Louder definitely
They
was in
look
this game
so...
because of this.
No, they're not losing this game.
They're so fucking
Hey, Sean,
back.
switch. Come, Sean.
No.
Sean, they
G2
just
looks so
G2
good,
just
bro.
fixed their they just fixed their bind. You should switch.
Oh man, they look so good. Actually, I can't believe we're fucking doing this to Loud.
Dude, my favorite thing about it is Sliggy having this pre-recorded content so we can't swap his press. He's just convincing people
Bruh,
to swap
I shouldn't have
theirs.
recorded it before. I would have changed so many. I would have changed so many. Sean, I need you to switch. Come on.
I don't know, man. I want to, but like,
The
I can't go
Rays now
against
on bind.
Loud.
Their only bad map. Loud's
Loud-
back.
Loud not qualifying to playoffs because of Icy, like on his first year.
Dude, I swear to God, this is the battle of underperforming duelists.
I don't
And-
think QCK is that underperforming. I think
No,
that's
no, no,
system, yeah.
And I agree. Both of them have had good games throughout the stage, but I honestly think this is the time where QCK and Loud continue to remember who they are. They just beat Sentinels. They have every
fucking
motivator
winning.
to do well and pop off. They're so fucking back. There is 0% chance
They're
they
winning.
lose this series. They're winning.
They're winning. They're
They're
so
winning
back.
and they're
There's
making
no doubt
playoffs.
every time you try and throw in a bit of doubt into the mix with Loud, they come back. They come back
Honestly,
and they
the more
they
you
fucking
doubt them, the
show you up.
stronger they get.
Yep, that's true. That's why we're all prating them and not
That's what I was
down.
going to say. As well.
Wait, but also I want EG to make playoffs, and if G2 win, then EG make
All
playoffs.
right.
Like this is
Yeah,
the
you should
simplest
switch.
permutation. EG win or G2 win, EG make playoffs. Loud win, Loud make playoffs. Like this is. Am I getting sold?
I can't even believe that Loud's the only
We're past the
Brazilian team
pride.
with a win, by the way. That actually makes me upset. The team,
Kurt
the
wants to
region
get
has too
lunch.
many good players.
Are we done?
Yeah, it is crazy. You're the
Did we get all the
host.
games? Yeah, did we
Well,
get all
I'm
the
just,
games?
I'm
She
just
is
vibe
just.
checking. I
She
mean,
wants to see the 4 hours thing. And
I
is just
wanna
making
see the 4
everyone
hours.
You wanna see the
suffer.
4 hour
I don't
mark?
see the
I'm
point.
actually motivated
Let's
to
just
see
make
the
the
4 hour
content
mark.
good.
Oh, that's a good idea.
That's
actually.
true.
That is, you know what? Great idea. The last segment of the podcast. It's Wyatt's Weekly. I'm going to filibuster this.
I know this isn't who you were expecting, but I thought I'd drop by. This one's better. It's the Guards Very Good Great Gamer Award.
Get this fucking org out of here. Get him
Get
out of here
Yeah.
anymore.
They
Get
wrecked
him
us.
out of here.
When was
Dude,
that
this is-
Get that
recorded?
fucking dude
This
out of
is
here.
G2's Great Gamer Award. No, don't give us money. The award this week. There's a lot of great candidates. Do you guys have any candidates, Sean, Sliggy?
I don't know, but whenever
don't
you do
know.
that with your fingers, I'm immediately like on edge. What are you thinking right now?
I'm thinking. I'm just hearing if the floor has any other.
I got
suggestions.
Stop,
nothing.
please
Take
stop. It gives me anxiety every time Mimi does that. She's about to fucking troll us with a bit.
I'm not gonna troll with the bit. Instead, I'm gonna give this award, this Wyatt's Weekly award, to someone who deserves it. And it's not Sean Garris drinking water. It's Klaus. Klaus has been through the shit on this team. This man was there from the bottom to the top. He was there at the Champs 2021 run. He stopped IGLing for this team. They were down. They lost every game. And then they came back and had a great run in LCQ. And now they are performing. They are looking like a top 2 team in Americas. They have a goddamn real chance of making it to Shanghai. And this guy back in the leader has been calling masterclasses. We already talked so much about this, but the mid-rounding has been on point. His personal performance as well. He was like what's the Brazilian award called? Like the Bagredo or whatever, like the catfish of the week for the worst player in Americas. It's something like that. I'm so sorry to the Brazilian fans, but he was winning that shit constantly last year. He was underperforming so consistently, and now this year, I think he did. And now this year, he's owning. The guy is playing so well individually. He's such a great leader for this team. And Crew is just in the best form we've seen from them. He's got to be the award winner.
Good shout.
I have no opinions
I agree.
at all.
No thoughts?
Great job, Klaus.
Maybe
Great
like
job,
an
Klaus.
EMEA player also. What got a good win, right?
Yeah.
No, I don't care.
No.
You don't care?
Yeah, I don't care. All right, we didn't
America's
hit 4
focus.
hours, but
Good.
this was a deranged
No
podcast.
podcast episode
Should be-
of ours should
yeah,
ever be
should be
hitting
this
4
long.
hours, BB. That's
We're
not a
hitting
good thing.
5 next time,
That's not a good
fellas.
thing.
I'm so tired. Thank you so much for watching. Plat Chat VALORANT episode 176.